In an imaginary world ruled by the waters of fate, people begin to wonder whether destiny is something that truly guides their lives, or if choices can lead to different outcomes. Some believe fate is fixed, while others think decisions can change everything. One day, monsters appeared in the world, plunging the land into chaos and causing people to panic and lose hope. Some fell to the ground in fear, while others ran for their lives, chased by terrifying creatures. During one escape, a small group of humans found themselves trapped at the edge of a cliff. With nowhere else to go, they hid behind a few rocks scattered across the plain. One young girl prayed in despair, hoping the monster would not find her. But when one of her tears hit her chest, a creature appeared, drawn by the faint sound. She begged for mercy, but the monster had no sympathy and did what monsters do. Nearby, a boy with green eyes watched from behind another rock. He wondered if this place was really the Phantom Star, and realized the beginner's test was harder than expected. He thought he only needed to survive for 5 minutes to complete his job change, but seeing how the others were ordinary people, he doubted anyone could last even 1 minute. The boy's name was John Kai, and he was taking a beginner's test on a planet called Phantom Star, a massive celestial body that suddenly appeared near Earth 50 years ago. Its arrival caused no gravitational disaster. But soon after, animals and plants on Earth mutated into terrible creatures called celestial monsters. Humanity could not fight them with its current technology and faced near extinction. Amid the panic, humans discovered teleportation gates appearing across Earth. Those who entered them were transported to Phantom Star in digital form. There, people found a hyper-realistic virtual world where they could choose professions, gain equipment and skills, and grow stronger, like characters in a game. Over time, they learned that when a person reached a certain level on Phantom Star, their power could return with them to Earth, allowing them to fight celestial monsters in real life. These people who entered the other world to gain power were called explorers. John Kai was one of them, but during this brutal beginner's test, all his companions were slaughtered by the test monster, leaving him alone. Cornered at the cliff's edge, he felt hopeless. He thought about his family, his sister who had worked hard to support him, and his older brother suffering from kidney failure, who needed money for surgery. John regretted that he might die here, failing them and wasting all their efforts. As the monster approached, John refused to die without a fight. Instead of waiting for death, he ran. Though injured, he barely avoided the creature's fatal blow. With no other choice, he made a desperate decision and leapt off the cliff. He believed that surviving the fall was more likely than surviving the monster's next attack. At that moment, a notification sound echoed. A system message appeared, praising his decision as a rare player action and announcing that he had triggered a 1 in a million chance to unlock a hidden profession. The transfer was successful. John Kai had obtained a secret and honorable new job. After a long fall, John landed among tree branches that softened his impact. He survived. When he woke up beside a river flowing south, he was surprised to find that all his injuries had healed. A system window appeared before him, showing a rift in space and time. From it emerged a girl-like figure who represented the system's intelligence and informed him that since his job transfer had succeeded, his attributes had been updated. He had essentially been revived with full health, and when John asked if she was the artificial intelligence that ran the system, she ignored the question and began listing his new talents. His first talent was Double, which doubled all rewards or punishments, with a 1% chance of multiplying them tenfold. Since he triggered the talent immediately, he gained another one called Super Critical, which increased attack damage 200 times but had only a 1% success rate. When John checked his status window, he saw his 4 main attributes totaled 36 points, nearly twice what most beginners had after a job change. He realized this boost came from his double talent, meaning he would level up twice as fast as normal players. The super critical talent also amazed him. Even though the chance of success was small, its potential damage was enormous. Looking around, John noticed a weapon stuck in the riverbed, one often used by monsters. He decided to retrieve it. At first, he had only wanted to complete the test and earn some money for his brother's surgery, but now that he had a hidden profession, he saw greater possibilities. Still, this was just the first step. To pass the beginner's test, every player needed to reach the city of Shino within 7 days. The area was filled with monsters, and dying meant being sent back to Earth, a setback only the rich could afford, since re-entering Phantom Star cost a lot. Just then, a loud roar echoed from the forest. John hid behind a tree, recognizing the sound. A huge serpent was attacking a terrified young man who fought with his eyes closed, throwing clumsy punches surrounded by faint energy. It was Yuan Zhu, John's old friend. Realizing the danger, John shouted to him not to be afraid and rushed out to help. When Yuan saw John, he panicked, urging him to run away because the snakes were too poisonous and fast for beginners. But John attacked with precision, throwing his weapon and killing one of the serpents instantly. Yuan was shocked by his friend's strength. John had planned his move carefully, using Yuan as a distraction to strike from behind. The remaining snakes turned on him, baring their fangs. Yuan warned him about their superior speed, but John dodged easily, showing incredible agility after his system upgrade. Yuan watched in disbelief as his friend moved faster than humanly possible. John realized his boosted attributes made him as strong as a level 2 player, while the snakes were only level 1. He tightened his grip on his weapon and asked Yuan to keep the creatures distracted. After a brief but intense fight, all the snakes were dead. Yuan hugged John in relief, praising his skills, but John brushed it off, saying he had only been lucky to complete his job change and gain the player profession. Yuan didn't quite understand, but proudly said that his own profession, martial artist, was also decent, ranked 5th in the Divine Glory realm. On Phantom Star, job quality depended on the materials purchased before entering. The wealthy could afford high-tier professions like paladin or assassin, while the poor were often stuck with weak roles like beggar or drunkard. John teased Yuan, asking if he had borrowed money from a loan shark to afford his class, but Yuan avoided the question. They decided to sell the materials from the snakes later, since monster parts and equipment could be converted into tradable cards. Soon after, they noticed a young girl wandering through the forest. She introduced herself as Sui and asked to join their team for safety. John refused at first, explaining they could barely protect themselves. But Sui pleaded, saying she was a healer who could cure poison and even use venom to strengthen their weapons. Remembering his near-death experience, John realized her class could be vital and agreed to let her join. Yuan whispered that John probably just wanted to impress the girl, which made John roll his eyes. Meanwhile, on Earth, in the city of D in the Divine Glory Kingdom, researchers monitored the Phantom Star's portals. A scientist commented on how advanced the explorers' wrist devices had become, able to track players in real time. A woman named Su Lannan, Sui's older sister, asked how the new players, especially her sister, were doing. The scientist replied that most beginners had already been eliminated, but her sister had formed a team with 2 others. Lannan sighed, worried, since larger groups tended to attract stronger monsters. A few minutes later, the scientists detected 2 human-faced monsters approaching the area. Lannan grew pale. She knew such creatures could wipe out all the beginners, and her sister stood no chance against them. Death on Phantom Star did not kill players in real life, but the experience felt painfully real, often leaving deep psychological scars. Lannan feared she would soon need to send her sister for therapy. Then something unexpected happened. The scientist announced that her sister was still alive, and both monsters had been killed. Lannan was speechless. Moments earlier, in the virtual world, the 2 monsters had appeared before John's group. Everyone fled in terror, knowing the creatures were far too strong. John realized his friends were slower than him and would soon be caught. He told Yuan and Sui to keep running, while he stayed behind to hold off the monsters. Yuan begged him not to, but John insisted someone had to buy time for the others. He stabbed one of the monsters straight through the chest, making it roar in pain. For a second, he thought he had won, but then the creature struck him hard, sending him crashing into a rock. It was clear that the monster's endurance was far beyond his strength. As John struggled to get up, Sui began to cry and called Yuan for help, but he was frozen in fear. Meanwhile, in the real world, Yuan's mother served tea to a visitor who had helped her son join Phantom Star. She admitted that Yuan was strong but timid and would probably run if he ever faced a monster. The visitor agreed but noted that despite his fear, Yuan always helped others in danger. Back in the fight, Yuan heard Sui's cries and remembered John's sacrifice. Shaking with fear, he finally charged at the monsters, his fists glowing with energy. He shouted that if they were brothers, they would live and die together. With newfound courage, Yuan struck the human-faced monster with a powerful blow straight to its chest. John wonders if Yuan can really defeat such a powerful enemy with only one strike. He realizes that even if Yuan cannot deal high damage yet, the control and pressure of a martial artist are truly impressive and deserving of their high rank. It is not only Yuan who is helping. Sui also steps in to heal John's injuries from the monster's attack. John is surprised and asks why she is still there when she does not have a combat class. Sui, embarrassed but firm, says that a healer must heal the wounded and cannot run, even if she is scared. She explains that her father died during a previous monster wave because there was no healer to support him. He kept fighting until he fell. She does not want to repeat that mistake by abandoning her teammates. After a short time under her healing ability, John feels his body recovering completely. He stands up with excitement and praises Sui for her courage. But Sui says the three of them together still are not doing enough damage to kill even one human-faced monster. John then remembers what Sui said earlier about using snake venom to strengthen weapons. He reminds her of this and drags over a snake corpse. He asks if she can heal Yuan and coat his weapon with venom at the same time. Sui says she is not sure she can do both at once, but she will try her hardest. John understands that this is their only chance to win. He knows he himself cannot endure a direct fight with a human-faced monster for long, but Yuan can block the monster due to his martial artist abilities. Yuan's damage alone is not enough to kill the monster, but Sui can boost him. So the three of them together form a full battle group, Yuan as the shield, Sui as the healer and support, and John as the damage. After some time working, Sui finishes extracting the venom from the snakes and applies it to the tip of John's weapon. John moves forward toward the monster again, knowing his normal power is not very high, but the venom may turn the fight. On the way, he asks Yuan to pin down and restrain one of the human-faced monsters so that he can strike. Yuan understands immediately and continues to act as the team's shield. John realizes that as long as the three of them fight like a real unit, and each person does their job in sync with the others, even a so-called beginner killer like a human-faced monster can be hunted by new players. John then leaps at the monster and attacks with his venom-tipped weapon, striking a vital spot. The impact explodes with force through the forest, and the sound echoes everywhere. The system informs him that he has killed a level 2 human-faced monster. The others stare in shock. Their plan actually worked. After the shock fades, relief and happiness spread through the group. The remaining human-faced monster starts shaking with fear after watching its partner die, realizing that the same thing might happen to it. John prepares to fight again, thinking to himself that teamwork really works and that even though another monster remains, they can take it down if they stay organized. The creature is afraid but still charges forward, driven by pure animal instinct, as their formation activates again with near-perfect timing. Back in the monitoring room on Earth, Sui's older sister is angry and confused, as the data from the explorers' wrist devices shows that a team of beginners just killed 2 human-faced monsters, even though a single one of those creatures could destroy an entire group of new players. The scientist watching the feed says that based on the readings from Sui's watch, she does not have the power to kill such monsters, and the other 2 members of her team do not show high damage output since they are still only level 1. That means the killer must be the explorer named John Kai, who is in Sui's group, but when they try to read his class, his profession does not appear in the system. Sui's sister, Su Lannan, thinks this should not be possible, and believes that someone who can kill 2 human-faced monsters must have an amazing profession, making her wonder who this boy really is. Back on Phantom Star, the system notifies the team that they can collect the monster corpses. All 3 of them collapse on the ground, totally exhausted, as Yuan praises John for his quick thinking. Sui points out that now that they know they can beat human-faced monsters, they should be able to complete the tests safely. But John says they do not need to rush to the final destination, explaining that there is still plenty of time to reach the city of Shino, the goal of the beginner test, and tells them to relax and rest. They are confused, so he explains further. He says that after the test ends, ranking points are counted, and rewards go to those with the highest points. The equipment given by the military to the top players is extremely useful and helps beginners survive later. Since they can now hunt monsters and turn them into points, they should aim for the highest ranking instead of only running for the finish. He then asks his teammates if they are willing to hunt more monsters with him to farm points and get better rewards in the end. They are unsure at first, but a few hours later, Yuan is standing in the forest acting as bait. Surrounded by snakes, he is shaking so badly that he almost cries and asks if he will be the first one to die. From high up in a tree, John tells him to be brave, reminding Yuan that he is a martial artist who can take hits and fight. From another spot, he reminds them that they also have Sui, a healer, who can support them if anything happens. When the snakes move in to attack Yuan, John jumps down. He charges in to help before Yuan is overwhelmed. The system reports that John has killed 3 level 1 land snakes, raising his experience to 10 points out of the 100 he needs. John thinks quickly about the rules he read earlier. Only the person who deals the killing blow gains experience from the monster. Since he is currently the only one who can safely kill enemies, they all agreed to let him gather experience first. If he levels up faster, he will be able to protect them more easily. That is the plan. One day passes as the group keeps fighting non-stop. After enough battles, the system congratulates John for reaching level 2, and since his talent doubles his gains, his growth is even faster. He is pleased that after only one day of hunting land snakes, he has already reached level 2. Sui congratulates him, and Yuan asks how his stats changed after leveling up. John answers that he received 20 attribute points and now has 56 in total, though he admits it does not sound like much to him. Sui and Yuan are stunned, realizing that this number is far from normal. Yuan says that leveling up increases physical strength, agility, and mental power, but normal people only get 10 attribute points per level. Sui adds that 56 total points is something close to a level 4 explorer, and John is only level 2. John explains that this is part of his class, which can double his rewards but also double any punishment. Even though his teammates do not fully understand, Sui can tell it is an extremely powerful profession, while Yuan suddenly feels discouraged because, compared to John, his own martial artist class now seems less impressive. At that moment, a rift opens in front of them again, and the system appears in the form of a girl who explains that when a player reaches level 2, they normally unlock one skill, but because of John's special talent, he will receive 2 skills instead. John is thrilled, realizing that he will now have 2 profession skills. The system explains the first ability, called Phantom Hand Flying Cards, which gives any thrown item a 20% armor-piercing effect, or 200% if the item is a card, though the mental energy cost is doubled. Then the system explains the second ability, called Phantom Eye, which increases his vision range and tracking ability by 50%, but doubles his mental energy use while active, and it can also be upgraded. Both of these are long-range abilities, and John realizes that his profession is likely focused on ranged attacks, which makes him happy, so he tells his team that with these new skills, they should go after stronger monsters for more experience. Yuan, meanwhile, starts to feel just a little jealous. 2 days later, in the monitoring room on Earth, the chief researcher is speaking with an instructor. She reports that even after 2 full days, Sui's team is still alive. Su Lannon comments that the group's survival means John must still have plenty of power left. Suddenly, soldiers rush into the room. A guard announces that the beginner test area is about to get more dangerous. The higher authorities have detected that Country L has sent invaders into their nation's beginner zone, describing it as a rare, large-scale invasion. The Supreme Commander of the Central River City District, Wei Wying, arrives and orders immediate preparation for this situation. Su Lannon, worried, asks if a mass invasion is really happening. Wei Wying confirms that even if the report later turns out to be false, they will not lower their guard. The explanation horrifies Lannon, who knows exactly what these invaders do. The invaders are trained players from Country L, who enter other nations' beginner zones to hunt and murder new players. The rules of the Phantom Star beginner test state that advanced players are not allowed to enter and help their own rookies, so normally the test is meant to be fair and solo. But Country L has a special profession that allows its own natives to break this rule and enter other countries' novice zones as attackers. These invaders torture and kill foreign beginners in brutal ways to traumatize them. Many become too afraid to ever enter Phantom Star again, which lowers the number of future strong players in rival countries. Su Lannon slams her fist down in anger. She says her little sister does not have the mental strength to endure that kind of cruelty. Wei Wying orders psychological support preparations for all remaining beginners, since the invasion has already begun, and the mood in the room turns dark as many now believe there may be no survivors in this test. Back on Phantom Star, John's group walks through the forest, calm for the moment and looking for more monsters to gain experience. Suddenly, John senses something hiding in the bushes behind them and quickly stops, raising his weapon. Yuan asks what he is doing, because they already passed that spot earlier and saw nothing. John answers with a serious face that the real threat is coming from farther away than they first thought. John throws his spear with full force toward the area where he sensed movement. The spear flies a long distance, smashes through branches, and finally hits something. John announces that he hit a target and runs forward, telling the others to come see. Yuan mutters that John must be imagining things, but he still follows, along with Sui. Even though it is nighttime and the forest is dark, they find that John's throw killed a level 2 short spine wild boar. Yuan is shocked, unable to believe that John landed a killing shot from that far away on a level 2 beast. John stays calm and tells them not to panic, explaining that this is just his new ability in action. The system then asks if John wants to collect the boar's remains, nodding that the animal's spines can be turned into weapons. John agrees immediately. He thinks to himself that Phantom Hand has already increased the power of his thrown attacks, while Phantom Eye lets him see in detail at long range, almost like slow motion and a scope combined. This is why he can now throw with deadly accuracy from so far away. John tells his teammates that he only needs one more experience point to reach level 3, and that they should find one more target. But before they can move, mocking laughter comes from the river nearby. A voice calls out and comments that the team is very lucky. Men rise from the water, a group of invaders who act as if they are there for entertainment rather than survival, casually talking about playing around with the bodies of new players. John steps forward and demands to know who they are, while Sui becomes frightened. One of the strangers tells them not to be scared, and calmly says that they are not bad people. The leader draws his weapon and says that all he wants to do is skin the beginners, hang them up to drain their blood, or maybe peel John first and lure human-faced monsters to eat the others alive. Another invader climbs up from the water and adds that their superiors only have a single goal this time. John is visibly shaken, but the leader keeps smiling with an evil look. He explains that the goal of their superiors is to make sure that every beginner from Glory City fails the test. Sui suddenly realizes that these men are the invaders from Country L who break into Phantom Star's beginner zones to kill new players from other regions. Her words terrify both John and Yuan. Sui then warns that all of these attackers are level 3 or higher. She also senses that the strongest one is level 5. John feels his confidence drop. Even facing several trained enemies is bad enough, but with one of them being level 5, John knows his current strength might let him handle a level 4 explorer, yet a level 5 opponent would mean certain death unless he levels up. The invader leader orders his men to start the massacre. John immediately yells to his teammates to run with him, telling them to split up as part of his plan to survive. The leader laughs at how fast the beginners run and asks if everyone from Shino City is this cowardly. He then orders 2 assassins to chase the one running alone, who is John, while telling the other 2 to stay behind and handle the rest of the group. The 2 assassins who go after John are both level 3. They sprint after him through the forest and comment that he runs well, but they are already close to catching him. Then suddenly, John vanishes from their sight. The assassins are confused and stop. One of them grins and says that if the kid wants to play hide and seek, he will just cut off the kid's feet when he finds him. At that exact moment, John's weapon shoots out from the bushes and flies straight at the more confident assassin. Seeing the incoming blade, the assassin laughs and assumes he can block an attack from a beginner. But the spear pierces his chest with huge force and sends him crashing through trees. The second assassin stares in shock. He runs toward his partner, asking if he is all right, only to realize he is already dead. John steps out from behind the trees. Holding 3 more throwing weapons between his fingers, he taunts the survivor and asks if this is really all the strength an invader has. The last assassin activates his wrist device, identifies John as a beginner from Shino, and demands to know how a level 2 player just killed his level 3 partner. Then he sees John's data, showing that John has 60 attribute points despite only being level 2. The assassin is stunned, but John is in no mood to talk, throwing his projectiles without mercy as they strike the remaining assassin's body. The attacker drops to his knees, groaning in pain in front of the boy he was supposed to kill. John thinks the fight went well. His stats are already equal to those of a level 4 explorer, so defeating a level 3 invader is not hard. He also remembers his real plan. Telling the team to split up was not just panic, but a way to lure a smaller part of the enemy away so he could kill them one by one. He also remembers something he learned on Earth. When an explorer dies, you can take their wrist device and claim their experience. The system now confirms that John has killed 2 level 3 explorers. Each one is worth 100 experience points. John immediately agrees to absorb the experience from both of them. After taking 100 points from each assassin, John finally reaches level 3, and the system congratulates him for leveling up. Now that he has reached level 3, the explorer's stats rise sharply, and he is already halfway to leveling up again, with a total of 76 attribute points, higher than the average for a level 5 player, which is around 60. He loots the fallen invaders. He takes one enemy's watch and pulls his weapon back out of the other enemy's body. With his new strength, he is ready to return and save his friends. While John was handling his enemies, the rest of the team was struggling. Yuan and Sui were being pushed to their limit. One of the invaders commented that he did not expect to meet real high-grade classes like a martial artist and a healer in a small beginner zone like this. Seeing such good professions on two harmless-looking new players, the invaders decide to torture them to death. Sui keeps healing Yuan as hard as she can, begging to know if the team leader will really come back. Yuan, badly wounded, tries to calm her, saying that John will definitely return and explaining that even if John is the type to run when girls chase him, he always shows up when his friends or family are in danger. No matter how bad it looks, he will come back. The invaders finish playing around and announce that they are about to skin the two beginners alive. Before they can begin, John bursts out of the trees like a true hero. Without hesitation, he fires several sharpened wild boar spines. The strikes are fast and deadly. Several of the enemies are killed instantly. Yuan lights up with happiness, knowing in his heart that John would return. The surviving invader captain panics. He shouts into the empty forest, demanding to know who is attacking them. He cannot even see the source and wonders if the city of Shino somehow sent a special profession into the beginner zone. He realizes the situation is now dangerous for him and decides to run before the attacker shows himself. Sui notices that the enemy captain is trying to escape like a coward. But John is not going to let him go. He saw what the captain did to Yuan, and he refuses to forgive it. John takes the spear he got from the human-faced monster and hurls it. The spear strikes the fleeing captain in the back with brutal force. The man groans, crashes forward, and dies face down. With all of the invaders killed, John runs over and asks Sui if she is all right, and she sees that he really did come back. But there is no time to relax, as Yuan is in very bad shape, and Sui explains in panic that she can no longer heal him. His injuries are too severe. Yuan coughs and speaks weakly, saying that he knew John would come back, but this time he will not be able to go with him any farther. Then he falls to the ground. Yuan lies on the ground, barely hanging on, and with the last of his strength, he thanks them for everything they have been through together, saying that what they shared will become a great memory. His eyes begin to close as he tells them to continue forward without him and do their best to pass the judgment trial. Sui breaks down in tears, blaming herself and believing that part of the reason Yuan is dying is because she was not strong enough to protect him. John lowers his head, calls Yuan's name, and then, without hesitation, drags one of the still living invaders over and drops the body in Yuan's lap. He calmly explains that he left 6 invaders alive on purpose, each one wounded but not dead, so his teammates could get the finishing blow, level up from it, and recover. Sui remembers how the system works. When you kill an explorer in Phantom Star, you gain experience and your body returns to a healthy state, while Yuan realizes he may have just made a dramatic farewell speech for nothing and feels embarrassed. John, seeing that his battle brother was being dramatic on purpose, smiles. He tells the group they can now take revenge on the invaders, saying the enemy's survival now depends entirely on the team, and that the team is free to show them what true justice looks like. The captured invader realizes what is about to happen to him and goes pale with fear. The team says that what is about to happen is called karma, the proper greeting to give to visitors like these. Meanwhile, in Country L, in the Data Research Institute and the Stealth Operations Department, chaos breaks out. One by one, all the invaders wake up in the real world after dying in Phantom Star, remembering being wiped out by a beginner from Shino. The higher officer in Country L demands to know what happened. He asks how their elite invaders could have been destroyed and wonders if the enemy country now has a profession that can counter them. At the same time, in the kingdom of Shino, a scientist informs an instructor that the news is bad. He says that Sui made contact with the invaders. When Su Lannon hears this, she panics, knowing that her younger sister is not prepared for something like that. The Supreme Commander says that, sadly, no beginner has ever escaped from the invaders before, and that they need to prepare psychological support. But the scientist quickly says that is not actually the problem. He looks at the main screen and explains that, according to the system data, Sui not only survived but also leveled up. Everyone in the room is shocked, unable to understand it. The commander asks how a new player could level up after being found by those killers, guessing that maybe the invaders helped them hunt monsters, but the scientist rejects that idea. The only answer left is that Sway's group killed the invaders. The commander is so stunned, he drops his glass of water and jumps to his feet. He demands the full data on Sway's team. The researcher quickly pulls up the status of each teammate and confirms that all of them have reached at least level 3. The commander is thrilled, pointing out that it would be impossible to reach level 3 so quickly unless they had defeated the invaders. Su Lanin is still unsure, saying that her sister is only a healer and that Yuan is a martial artist who cannot deal huge damage. That means only one possibility remains. John Kai must have killed all the invaders himself, yet the military still cannot read his full level or profession. The scientist then reveals that he has discovered why the system cannot identify John's data. John is wearing an old-style watch, and although everyone who enters Phantom Star needs a watch to track their status, his device is an old-generation model that no longer connects to the network. The military stopped supporting that model more than 10 years ago. The instructor is angry that someone is using such outdated original gear, while the commander, Wei Wying, finds the situation very interesting. He orders the researcher to gather all possible real-life information on John. Back on Phantom Star, Yuan is amazed by the way his body was restored to normal after leveling up. Sui is also excited to feel her own physical strength jump. Yuan says he gained a skill from his martial artist class that lets him strike nearby enemies with force, while Sui says she gained a healer skill called the Doctor's Heart, which makes her healing ability much stronger than before. John thinks that everything is going as he expected, nodding that healer classes may not be flashy, but are extremely practical in real combat. Yuan then asks John if he is now strong enough to finish off all the remaining invaders, since John should now be a higher level than him. They cannot believe he reached level 4 so quickly, and when they see his total attribute points, now 96, they realize he is as strong as a level 8 explorer. John calmly explains that he is already level 4, leaving both of them shocked. John explains that while he was escaping, he killed the 2 invaders who chased him, which brought him to level 3, and after he returned and they fought together, he leveled up again. Yuan groans with frustration, saying it is unfair that their leader is still stronger than him, and Sui then asks what they should do next. John tells them that he heard the captain mention the invaders they fought were Team 2, which means Team 1 is still out there, and their next goal is to hunt down that team. Half a day later, in another part of the beginner zone, several enemy soldiers from Team 1 are walking through the forest, laughing and talking. They mock the news that Team 2 was wiped out by beginners, joking that Team 2 should retire in shame. The captain warns them not to get careless, saying that when the commander mentioned the threat, he sounded serious. One of the invaders laughs and asks why they should worry, saying the beginner zone has a level cap of 5, and their group is full of level 5 players. Hidden behind a fallen tree nearby, John and his team prepare their ambush, counting 9 level 5 enemies ahead as the group grows nervous. John tells them not to panic, saying that even if he cannot kill the enemies instantly, he can still hurt them. But he adds that if they do nothing, the invaders will just hunt other beginners, so waiting is not an option, they have to strike first. The enemy captain spots movement at the edge of the forest. He sees John rushing in with a spear. The invaders quickly realize that he is only a level 4 novice, and one of them is impressed that a player at that level has survived this long in such a dangerous zone. The captain grins, calling it a lucky find, and orders his men to kill John so they can count it as a military accomplishment. The invaders chase John. This puts him in an even worse spot than before, because now the group is large and organized. John's team sticks to their plan, aiming to lure the enemies into position so Yuan can use his new skill to knock them all off balance and let the group finish them. The problem is that this enemy squad is too big, and if any of them survive the first hit and escape, they could warn the others. Still, John's group comes up with a version of the plan that can wipe all of them at once. John charges forward, gathering electric energy around his body as his aura grows stronger and more dangerous, knowing he might have to spill blood just to make them commit to chasing him. The movement enrages some of the invaders and confuses others. They cannot believe that a beginner is charging them head-on instead of running. Seconds before contact, one of the invaders laughs at John and walks straight at him. He swings his weapon and slashes John's arm, ordering him to get out of the way, but John takes the hit without blocking and keeps running. He thinks to himself that he is still not close enough. The invaders surround him tighter and tighter, but he still needs them even closer for the trap to work. He keeps running past them and dodging their strikes just to pull them in deeper. Their captain grows annoyed and demands to know why his men cannot stop one level 4 kid. He says that all of them are level 5 and that it should be impossible for a lower-ranked player to avoid every attack like this. One of the invaders checks his watch. The first scan was too fast to get full information, so he now scans with a higher-grade watch. He frowns and reports that, although he cannot read John's total stats, he can see that John's agility is around 30 points. The captain is stunned, realizing that number should not be possible. Another invader argues that this must be a mistake, since his own agility at level 5 is under 20 points, and there is no way a level 4 beginner should be faster. The captain starts to shake, knowing that high-rank watches do not usually make this kind of mistake, and suddenly realizes the real danger, that if they are all chasing someone with agility that high, the boy is not running in panic but leading them. The captain shouts to his team that they have been tricked and tells them to escape right now. But it is already too late. As the invaders start to pull back, golden lightning cracks through the sky. Yuan is in position and activates his special ability, Earthquake. He slams the ground so hard that the force lifts the invaders off their feet, throwing all of them into the air and leaving them helpless. John thanks his old friend in his mind as he surrounds himself with crackling energy, telling Yuan to leave the rest to him. He then begins his attack, launching wild boar spines with perfect aim. The invaders hit the ground one after another, and one after another they die. The entire enemy squad is wiped out almost instantly, exactly as planned. Yuan can barely believe what he just saw, staring at John and asking what kind of terrifying monster his friend has become. The system reports that John has killed 5 level 5 invaders, and after looting them, he gains 2,000 experience points, enough to reach the highest possible level in the beginner zone. John reaches level 5 and realizes that from this point forward, the amount of experience he can loot from enemies will be doubled for higher explorer levels. Sui is amazed, saying she has never seen anything like this, and when Yuan asks if they are going to power up even more, John explains that he left 4 of the enemies only half alive on purpose. Those weak survivors are for Yuan and Sui to finish, so they can gain their own experience. He says that earlier he had to kill most of the enemies himself to level up fast and protect them, but now he has leveled enough. After everyone gets enough points, they will head to the finish line, and Yuan and Sui are excited because it is finally their turn to evolve. As they move through the forest looking for more enemies to level up the team, John tells the others to stay alert. He says there are still many monsters on the way to the end of the test, and that the closer they get, the stronger and scarier those monsters become, with the possibility of even a final boss waiting in the beginner area. A roar shakes the entire forest, making all 3 of them jump. They follow the source of the sound and find 2 dead human-faced monsters. Their bodies are torn apart, heavily mutilated. Sui recognizes the corpses, and Yuan nervously asks what kind of creature is strong enough to do that to monsters of this level. Curious, John activates his Phantom Eye skill to sharpen his sight and focus on the area. He notices a faint golden glow in the distance. He realizes that something covered in golden energy is what killed those 2 monsters. Sui is confused and interested, but before any of them can say more, something attacks. An energy blast fires from behind them. Yuan does not notice the attack coming as he keeps talking in fear, asking what could have done this. The energy blast hits both him and Sui, throwing them back. Right after that, the attacker charges straight at John. Yuan struggles to his feet and shouts a warning, saying that whatever it is seems strong enough to kill instantly. The creature slams into John, who does not even bother to defend. The others are shocked, but instead of being killed, John simply grabs the attacker. Now they can see what it is. It is not a giant beast but a golden hamster. Yuan and Sui are stunned. John catches it like it's nothing and calmly says that the little creature is not fast at all, calling it a fat rat. The hamster gets angry, saying it was only caught because it wasn't paying attention and claiming that it's actually very fast. To prove it, John does something unexpected and lets it go. The hamster surrounds itself with golden energy, spins up speed, and darts forward again to attack the beginner. Yuan shouts in panic, asking why John is letting it loose and reminding him that this same creature just killed 2 human-faced monsters. John simply reaches out and catches the hamster again, doing it even more easily this time and without any effort. Then he tosses the hamster down and says it is still too slow for him. To make his point, he casually starts tossing the hamster from one hand to the other in midair, not even giving it a chance to escape. Sui and Yuan stare in disbelief, unable to understand how John became this strong so quickly. At this point, John is holding a creature that just destroyed 2 human-faced monsters, and that creature cannot even break free. Holding the captured hamster, John says it seems the little beast is not going to run anymore, while Yuan, stunned, keeps saying that what John just did is unbelievable. John says he does not know if this little rat can be tamed and turned into a combat companion, but either way, they should still collect the bodies of the human-faced monsters. He also points out that his teammates are almost level 4, so they should hurry and gather more experience, while Sui looks at the hamster and says it is very cute. Yuan once again feels discouraged, because compared to all this, his martial artist abilities now feel ordinary. Elsewhere in the beginner zone, another young man walks casually through the forest. He is relaxed and pleased that he has finally reached the end of the beginner judgment. Ahead of him is the finish line, the city of Shino. He climbs the long staircase leading to the gates. When he reaches the top, the huge city gate opens, and soldiers come out to greet him. They welcome him as a new Phantom Star explorer and say they will act as his guides. Their leader, a soldier named Sha Tao, places a hand on the young man's shoulder and tells him that first place has already been taken, but ranking is not everything, since just passing the trial at all is already a great result for a newcomer. The young man says he understands he is not the first to arrive, but he proudly opens his inventory to show how many monster bodies he collected and how high his level is. The soldiers are impressed, since ranking in the beginner test is based on points, and rare monster corpses can be traded for a lot of them, and Sha Tao asks how he managed to kill so many monsters. The young man laughs and brushes it off. He explains that he is the second young master of the Hua Yuan family, and that he will soon become a high-ranking member of the Xuan Wu Guild. He says he received special training before he ever entered Phantom Star. Sha Tao then realizes who this young man is. The Hua Yuan family is connected to one of the top 10 guilds in Shino, and the soldiers congratulate him, saying that with this many points, he ranks among the best in the city. The young man barely reacts, because he treats first place in this trial as only the start. With a confident and almost cruel smile, he says that given enough time, he will take control of all of Phantom Star. Meanwhile, deep in the beginner zone, John and his team continue hunting so that all 3 of them can level. John mentions that something feels off since they have not encountered any monsters in a while. He guesses that maybe the monsters are staying away because of the hamster, who seems to like Sui. Suddenly, a roar explodes through the trees. Sharp claws flash in the darkness. More and more enemies appear. In an instant, the group is surrounded by an entire pack of shadowless wolves. Among them stands one monster unlike the rest, its claws glowing with a deadly aura, the boss of the beginner zone, the shadowless wolf king, ready to kill every human in front of it. John finally understands why they had not seen any monsters. They had unknowingly wandered straight into the boss's territory. The wolves form a tight ring around the 3 explorers. Yuan is terrified and says he has heard that the Wolf King is a creature that has never been killed in the beginner zone, and anyone who meets it is as good as dead. John grips his weapon and shakes, knowing he could probably escape alone if he ran now, but Sui and Yuan would not be able to. That means there is only one choice. They have to fight, and John tells the others that running is no longer possible, and that they will kill the Wolf King together. He charges at the boss with his spear. Yuan leaps and uses his earthquake ability to crash the ground and distract the rest of the wolves. John keeps moving forward without slowing down, while Yuan slams into the dirt and splits the area around them. Sui is also determined and boosts John's weapon by coating it with poison. John asks her to back him up and then, using everything he has at once, he hurls his spear at the Wolf King. Giving everything he has, the hero tries to finish the fight against the beginner zone boss in a single attack by throwing his spear with full force at the shadowless Wolf King. But something unexpected happens, as the spear bounces off the wolf's thick hide without causing real damage. All 3 teammates feel a wave of fear. The Wolf King roars. The entire wolf pack responds to that order and charges, and even though the wolves are lower-level monsters, they become much more dangerous when commanded by a higher mind. They attack Sui and Yuan, landing hits, and Yuan shouts, asking if there is any other plan because they are getting overwhelmed. John thinks quickly, knowing the Wolf King's defense is extremely high, and that he cannot kill all the surrounding wolves at once to protect his teammates. In the middle of the chaos, something else happens. The golden hamster, which had been sleeping in John's hood, wakes up, looks around with an annoyed expression, realizes the situation and blames the wolves for disturbing its rest. While John is still fighting for his life, the hamster flares with golden power. It leaps from his hood, shoots through the air at high speed, and creates shockwaves as it moves. Then, in a single burst, the hamster pierces straight into the Wolf King's chest. John is stunned, realizing that while he had not managed to get through the boss's skin at all, this small creature just bit through it. To confirm, John activates Phantom Eye, the focus ability that sharpens his sight. He looks at the wound and sees clearly that it is real, realizing that the hamster has opened a weak point and that they can win. His first spear throw failed because the boss's natural defense was too high, but with an exposed wound, it is different. John takes one of his wild boar spines and throws it like a bolt, surrounding it with crackling energy. The projectile flies and strikes directly into the open injury in the Wolf King's chest, and this time the boss reacts. It is hurt. John understands that his method is working, and that he can keep using Phantom Eye to lock onto the same wound and repeat the attack, but then something even more incredible happens. The projectile flashes with intense light. Against all odds, John's ultra-rare super critical activates, multiplying his damage by 200 times. None of his teammates understand what they are seeing. Yuan saw only a single hit, and then the boss began to fall. John himself is surprised. The system announces that he has defeated the boss of the beginner zone, and although he had planned to drag the battle out and slowly take control, luck triggered a 200 times critical hit that killed the boss instantly. And he also realizes that this is the first time his super critical has activated since he gained his hidden profession. With the Wolf King dead, the rest of the wolf pack panics and tries to run without their leader's command, and John asks if his teammates can still fight. Both Yuan and Sui say yes. John charges forward, saying that without the Wolf King, these are no longer hunters but just prey. Yuan and Sui think about everything the wolves did to them, the fear, the pain, the injuries. They decide they will not let any of the beasts escape. The three explorers attack together, and this time the fight is different. Yuan and Sui are no longer helpless as they tear through the pack with confidence. They are able to kill wolves without asking John for protection every second. After a few minutes of battle, it is over. The group has completely wiped out the entire pack, and these so-called beginners have not only survived the beginner zone, but also defeated the final boss. This is something almost no one can do, and John explains that he left some of the wolves weakened on purpose so Yuan and Sui could finish them and gain experience, after which Yuan asks what they should do next. Now that everyone has enough experience to rank up, their next step is simple: they will head for the finish line. Time passes as the group finally reaches the border of Shino City, the main stronghold of their country, inside Phantom Star. As they walk into the area, the hamster jumps out of John's hood and tries to run away, and Sui immediately worries that it will leave. John tells her not to worry, explaining that he never planned to trap it, and that since the creature helped them survive the final boss, it is free to do whatever it wants now. The team then enters the final reception hall of the beginner trial. An officer named Shatao congratulates them for passing the trial, and when John asks to see the newcomer rankings, Shatao agrees. Before the list is shown, another young man steps forward with a smug smile. He is the wealthy beginner who reached the city earlier, and says he did not expect to see someone from his family's servant class enter Phantom Star and survive this long, then offers to show the rankings to John. John is mildly surprised to see this boy, Huang Wei, already here. The rich boy looks at the ranking, proudly claims first place, and mocks John's team, calling them bottom feeders who somehow crawled up. Other followers join in, insulting John's group, calling them losers, and demanding to know how they dare to ask about rankings at all. Inside, John remembers his past with this boy, and how his sister worked in the Huang household just to save money so he could enter Phantom Star. He remembers how this same rich boy harassed his sister, and how he used John's sick brother to humiliate them both. Yuan steps forward in anger and tells Huang Wei to shut up, but John stops him and says it is fine. He apologizes to the others in the hall for the disruption, and calmly says that the rankings are going to change anyway, adding that his team will take the top 3 places. For a moment, the whole hall goes quiet. Then the rich boy and his followers burst out laughing, saying that John is just dreaming. John turns to his friends and says that they do not have to pretend anymore. Sui agrees. Yuan activates his wrist device and says he is ready. The 3 of them step up and publicly display their inventories to the ranking system. The bullies stare with their mouths open, unable to believe what they are seeing. All those monster corpses, and not just weak monsters, but rare ones, are in the hands of only 3 beginners. Huang Wei is shocked. He sees not only human-faced monsters in their inventory, but also shadowless wolves. Then he notices something else and panics when he sees the shadowless Wolf King, saying that it cannot be real and demanding to know how a group of nobodies could possibly kill the final boss of the beginner zone. John does not bother answering and says that the ranking will show them what is true and what is not. At that moment, a system notification appears as the rankings begin to update in real time. The numbers change as John's team takes the top 3 spots, forcing the arrogant rich boy to face the truth. That is not the end of it, as John's group has more than just monster corpses. They also place several wrist devices on display, the watches taken from the invaders from Country. One of the officials in the hall recognizes them immediately. Someone in the crowd shouts that this is impossible, claiming that beginners cannot defeat invaders, and pointing out that none of them there have ever even seen an invader in person, so John's team must be lying. He loudly demands that the leaders disqualify the so-called cheaters, and others start joining him as jealous voices spread through the crowd, claiming that what John's group is doing is fraud and that they should be punished, causing the room to turn against them. Then a new voice cuts in as a man steps forward and confirms that there were invaders and that John Kai and his teammates really did defeat them. He says that the military already knows about it and that his superiors instructed him to commend John Kai publicly, revealing himself as Lu Jun, vice commander of the military division. The jealous ones go quiet as it hits them that this is official recognition and that the group is not lying. Vice Commander Lu Jun then announces the rewards, saying that because of what they accomplished in the beginner zone, defeating invaders, protecting the border, and surviving, their compensation will be increased. He explains that the second and third place explorers will each receive a class equipment. He then announces that John Kai, who placed first, will receive S-class equipment. John, Sui, and Yuan are thrilled. Everyone else in the room is stunned, realizing that these rookies are about to start with high-grade gear. Now the story pauses to explain gear ranks in Phantom Star, where equipment is graded from rank F at the lowest, progressing through D, C, B, and A, with S as the highest rank. B and C class equipment is already considered very good, while a class and S class are what every serious explorer dreams of someday. The jealous boy cannot handle this. He placed fourth after the update, and he cannot accept it. He shouts that something must be wrong, insisting that since John comes from a poor family, it should not be possible for him to be better. John tells him to calm down, saying that the military has already confirmed the truth and warning that if he keeps insulting his family, things will get ugly. The jealous boy only gets louder, screaming that John's family is trash and mocking John's sister as nothing but a servant while sneering about his sick brother. He says John is nobody and that someone like him should not dare talk back. That is the moment John stops holding back and moves before anyone can react. The jealous boy tries to attack, but he never gets the chance. John is much faster. A deep cut appears across the young man's chest, and blood sprays. Most people in the room do not even see what happened. It was too fast, and even John's friends stare in shock. The vice commander turns and asks if John just attacked Huang Wei, the jealous boy. Someone in the hall nervously reminds everyone that Huang Wei's family belongs to one of the top 10 guilds in the country, yet even so, John has just cut him down. Huang Wei, bleeding and trembling, tries to threaten him, asking if John understands what he has done and warning him about the consequences. John answers coldly, saying that garbage like this, who threatens his family, deserves worse, and that he does not care who Huang Wei is. Huang Wei realizes something in that moment, that this is not a peaceful world but one that already resembles a battlefield, where family is all most people have left, and if someone threatens that, there is no point in trying to negotiate. John walks toward him, step by step. No one stops him. John says he will never hesitate to defend the people who matter to him, declaring that anyone who endangers his sister or brother should be ready to die and be forgotten. Huang Wei breaks down, screaming and crying like a child. In the system, a notification appears showing that Huang Wei's character is dead, and John receives 6 experience points for it, which is very little. John frowns, thinking to himself that for someone from such an important and wealthy family, that is a disappointing amount of experience, though he knows there will still be consequences, since death in Phantom Star is not permanent in the real world and Huang Wei will wake up back on Earth with his family's influence intact. Even so, the military commander is watching closely and thinks that John is reckless but also powerful, decisive, and loyal, which pleases him. The commander silences the room, stating that John acted in self-defense and that the matter ends here for now, adding that he does not want anyone discussing it further. He then turns to John, Sui, and Yuan, telling them to follow him to receive their rewards. As they walk, Yuan and Sui congratulate John, saying he handled himself with total confidence. Later, under the glow of bright lights, they gather around Vice Commander Lu Jun. He apologizes for keeping them waiting and says that the military has prepared their items. He reaches out toward a reinforced case, which opens on its own and spills golden light across the room. Sui receives her reward first, the Jade of Vitality, which is the dream of every healer. It increases mentality and physique by 15 points each, and also boosts healing power and potion-making ability. Yuan receives his reward next, in a class armor called Blackstone Rhino Armor. It increases his defense and strength by 16 points, and reduces incoming damage by 16%. Now it is John's turn. John opens his case, and his eyes light up. Inside is a set of finely crafted throwing daggers, and the system reports that the item requires an evaluation card before its full details can be read. Vice Commander Lu Jun is surprised, since items that require evaluation cards are very rare and usually indicate gear of truly superior rank. Luckily, Lu Jun has one evaluation card on hand, and he gives it to John. The card is absorbed into the weapon. The data becomes visible, revealing that the weapon grants 9 points to strength, piercing, and agility, and has a special effect that increases John's critical strike chance each time he survives a dangerous encounter, stacking up to a maximum of 90%. Lu Jun quietly thinks that the weapon might not be a good match for a rookie, believing that beginners do not deal enough damage for a high critical chance to matter much yet. One of his fellow officers argues that this is unfair to John and asks if they should let him choose something else. John refuses. He says he wants to keep the daggers, believing they are the best possible weapon he could have received. John knows something the officers do not. His class talent allows a critical hit to deal 200 times normal damage. The downside is that his chance of landing a critical hit is much lower than that of normal players and rarely triggers, but these daggers change that. The daggers increase his critical hit rate by 10% each time that special effect stacks, up to a maximum of 90%. That means this weapon is almost perfectly made for him, turning his risky, rare super critical into something he can trigger often, so he decides he is absolutely keeping it. Vice Commander Lu Jun says that since they have officially cleared the tutorial, they can now return to Earth. He also steps in close to John and warns him that someone may be coming after him soon, telling him to be careful on his way home. After that, the session ends, and John and his friends return to the real world. John is excited, not expecting to have passed the beginner test so smoothly, and eager to tell his brother and sister as he heads home. As he walks up to his neighborhood, something feels off. There are several luxury cars parked in front of his house. He wonders if some neighbor suddenly got rich, takes out his phone, thinks about taking a picture, then shrugs it off and goes inside. He calls out that he is home and starts to say that he passed his evaluation. Then he freezes. There are men in his living room he does not recognize. One man is sitting comfortably on his couch like he owns the place, while the strangers say they already heard that the kid did very well in his rookie evaluation. John realizes who the leader is, Huang De, the older brother of the boy John cut down in Phantom Star. John demands to know why Huang De is in his house. Before he can finish, something hard hits the back of his head. The door behind him slams shut. Two men grab him and hold his arms in place. Huang De talks calmly, saying his younger brother is now in a bad mental state and that it is John's fault. He insists that their family is the one being treated unfairly, not John, and claims he could keep his brother offline for a month if he wanted, but he could keep John offline forever. He raises a metal baton and prepares to smash it into John's skull. John is pinned and cannot block. Then the front door blasts inward with huge force. The broken door slams into the two men holding John and knocks them to the floor. Even Huang De is knocked off balance and falls, then, trying to get up, demands to know who just interrupted him. A man steps in, saying he told John to be careful coming home. He sounds annoyed and asks why John did not take that warning seriously. A woman enters along with an older man and shows official documents, ordering everyone not to move and declaring that this is now a military matter. The older man is Wei, the supreme commander of the city's military force. The intruders do not understand what is happening. They only came to threaten Kai, but now they have accidentally angered someone they never should have touched. Huang De is shocked and demands to know who this kid really is and what kind of background he has. John slowly gets back up after being held down. He himself can hardly believe that the supreme commander of the city's military force has personally come to his house. Because of what they did, the thugs are detained and taken to the police station. John thanks Commander Wei for saving him, but he also asks why the commander is here. Wei tells him not to be nervous, saying that John and his teammates were exceptional during the Phantom Star test. While John was offline, the military already contacted his friends and invited them to join. Wei explains that he is here to extend the same invitation to John, then sighs and exhales smoke from his cigarette. Wei then says that John has started something new, that a new profession has appeared through him, and asks if John understands what that means. He explains that there are already many existing professions on Phantom Star, and that every 20 levels an explorer can change profession, altering their attribute growth, sometimes making fighters stronger, and sometimes weaker. Most professions are useless to the military, but it is always searching for those with real combat value. He believes John's profession has enormous potential. The woman with Wei steps toward John. She asks if he would be interested in joining the military and building a future with them. She says they are not here to force him, and that they already know his family situation, since they looked into it. She also says that if he joins, the military will pay for his brother's treatment and guarantee his family's safety. The offer is very good, and John goes quiet, thinking seriously. They tell him to consider it, saying that if he agrees, he can give his answer tomorrow. He only has to speak to the woman. As they turn to leave, John stops them and apologizes. Then he says he refuses. Both Wei and the woman seem surprised. John explains his refusal. He says he knows that joining the military is, in theory, a good choice for someone with a combat profession, but he does not trust it. He asks them to remember when the drunkard profession first appeared. Back then, the military was very interested and gave support. But once they realized the drunkard profession was useless in real combat, they abandoned that person, leaving the explorer in a miserable state. John admits he cannot be careless like that. He says he will move his family out of this neighborhood to get away from the Huang family's reach, and that his family has always survived by protecting itself, not by depending on someone else's protection. The woman replies that this is not just about him, saying humanity needs strong people, and that his profession might help everyone. John says he is not trying to be noble, only that he cares about keeping his own family safe. The woman keeps trying to persuade him, but Commander Wei interrupts her, saying he understands John's point. He says that a person cannot change their entire life in just a few days, and points out that John's brother does not have much time left. On top of that, Wei says, constant fighting is not a very interesting future in a world like this. Wei then makes John an offer, telling him that the military will protect him for 1 month, during which he must make enough money to pay for his brother's surgery. If he can do that on his own, he can stay free, but if he fails to make the money in time, the military will pay for the surgery, and then John will have to enlist. John stands there in silence, thinking. After a moment, he lets out a small smile and agrees to the bet. He says that if he loses, he will keep his word. With that settled, there is no time to waste. He needs to return to Phantom Star and start earning money. Before leaving, he records a message for his brother, saying that he is returning to Phantom Star and that they cannot keep living in the same neighborhood anymore. They have to move for their own safety. He promises to come back with enough money. He then logs back into Phantom Star. Now that he has new clothes and an official registration, he can finally hunt monsters for real profit. But first, he has to register with a guild. Beginners are required to join teams because hunting alone is dangerous. Guilds exist to help new explorers survive. He wonders which guild will take him. At the check-in counter, a woman greets him and asks if he is John. Then she tells him something bad. Right now, he cannot join any guild. Because he offended the Huang family, he has been blacklisted. No guild will accept him. That means he will have to act alone. Still in the safe zone, he looks around and sees many other beginners without a guild. He wonders if his journey is already over before it even starts. Then someone approaches him. A girl asks if he is unsure where to hunt monsters, saying she reads fortunes for people and can tell him the best place to hunt for 100 coins. She introduces herself as Huan, level 29. John looks at her and does not believe her. He starts to walk away and apologizes, saying he is basically an atheist, but she keeps pushing and offers him a free reading. She says it will not cost him anything and teases that it is not too late for him to become superstitious. Trying not to overthink it, John agrees. The girl treats it like a test. A strange board in front of her begins to glow with golden light. She chants silently and focuses. After reading him, she tells him his situation is dangerous right now, but there is a way out if he moves first. She tells him to go to the Valley of Kings. The fortune teller is right, John is being watched. In the safe zone, no one is allowed to openly attack him, but the moment he leaves, hunters could be waiting. Normally, rookies begin their hunting in a place called the Ash Plains, but she says there is probably already an assassin waiting for him there. Another possible area is Victory Peak, meant for players above level 15. If he goes there now, he might die instantly, but the Valley of Kings is intended for players above level 10. It is still dangerous, but she believes that this area is his best chance. She says there should be no trap set for him there, and adds that if he has to do things alone, then so be it. John thanks her for the advice and leaves for the Valley of Kings. She watches him go and frowns, having assumed he would go with a team. She thought her reading meant he should head there with a group. Going alone might be suicide, and she hopes he at least comes back alive and doesn't blame her later. John arrives at the Valley of Kings. He wonders if the monsters here are as strong as the rumors say. A violent roar shakes the leaves, and he turns to see movement in the trees. A massive jaw filled with sharp teeth snaps down. A huge black gorilla is smashing through a group of players like they are nothing. The creature is a level 11 monster. The players fighting it are level 10 explorers. They are trying hard to hold their ground and believe that if they keep pushing, they can bring it down. The fight is fierce. John watches from hiding as both sides, the humans and the monster, prove to be strong. He quietly asks himself if he could handle something like that alone. As he is thinking, he catches a strange scent, the smell of beasts. He looks around and realizes several gorillas have already found him. He jumps back just in time as his wrist device flashes a warning about immediate danger. The weakest of the gorillas near him is level 12. Meanwhile, the level 10 explorers in the distance are still struggling against a single level 11 gorilla. They fight with effort, but eventually manage to defeat it without losing anyone. One member of their team is excited and says they are going to brag about this. Their captain agrees. Then they all hear something else. They turn and see what is happening in John's direction, finally noticing that several level 12 gorillas are chasing one lone explorer. John realizes he must have stepped into their territory and triggered them. The other team stares and wonders if they should help him. But their captain says that if they try to interfere, they will all die here. He tells his team to run and get out fast. As they watch from a distance, something unbelievable happens. One of the level 12 gorillas falls. John's new daggers were the perfect weapon. After only 5 attacks, one of them lands a huge critical hit, and the beast collapses. The other team stares in disbelief. The boy they just watched outrun a pack of monsters has killed a gorilla even stronger than the one they barely managed to defeat together. John keeps moving, running from the remaining gorillas but without panic. In fact, he is confident. He believes he can kill them too. He targets the next gorilla and strikes again. Another body drops, leaving only one gorilla remaining. John got a critical hit in just a single throw this time, and the monster falls. The onlookers are speechless. This kind of result would be difficult even for a larger team than theirs, yet the boy did it alone. John pauses, breathing hard, and admits to himself that it was still more difficult than he expected. He looks down. He now has 3 corpse cards from the gorillas, proof of the kills that can be traded for money, and feels more certain he can do this job on his own. He continues walking deeper into the valley. Once he is gone, the other team starts arguing. One of them says they should have introduced themselves and tried to recruit him. Another claims he was about to, but someone else stopped him. But the truth is, none of them actually moved a step to help John. In another part of the hunting grounds, something else is happening at the same time. A group of people gathers in the wide plains, the air tense. It is the Huang family's Falcon Squad. Every member of this squad is level 20. That means they are far above normal beginners, and they are all waiting for John to appear. They surround a woman and pressure her to tell them where she last saw him. The Falcon Squad says they are here to avenge the honor of the Huang family, which John insulted, calling him trash and ordering the woman to tell them where to find him. The woman says that the boy went to the Valley of Kings and can probably be found there. They throw her aside and say that if she is lying, they will be back for her. This Falcon Squad is known as the strongest group in the Huang family for players under level 20. John is in real danger if they catch up to him. But as they leave, the girl smiles to herself. She thinks that rude people do not deserve the truth, so she gave them what they wanted to hear, but secretly cast their fortune. believing they are actually walking toward their own deaths by chasing John. After a full day of hunting, John reaches level 6. Rumor says gorilla bodies are worth a lot because they are extremely hard to collect. If he keeps hunting like this, paying for his brother's treatment will not be a problem. While he is thinking about this, another group approaches him. They ask if he wants to join them for a hunt. There are a lot of them in total. They have 3 full teams. They say if he joins them, he can earn a share of the loot that the gorillas drop. John answers honestly, saying he does not have a hunting team and is working alone. The young man leading the others insists, saying they only need one more person. He explains that the Valley of Kings is full of cliffs and peaks, and at the top of one of those peaks, a group of people is already gathered. He points down and shows John what they are looking at. Below them is an elite treasure chest. He says they have been watching that chest for a while. It is guarded by elite gorillas, which are much stronger than normal ones. He says they need John to act as bait. John will distract one of the elite gorillas and pull it away while the 3 teams handle the others and take the treasure. And afterward John will get a share of the reward. They also mention that elite treasure chests tend to give out rare items, sometimes even better than what you get from normal monsters. John thinks about it and realizes what this plan really is. They do not expect him to come back alive. But at this point, he is already involved. He decides to go through with it. They begin the operation. Everyone moves into position according to the plan. The elite gorillas notice the intruders. The leader of the hunters signals that the job has started. John is the one who must lure one of the elite gorillas. He leaps into action. He strikes the first gorilla and grabs its attention, pulling it away from the group and leading it far from the others. The leader of the hunting teams is pleased. John does exactly what they wanted, luring an elite gorilla away by himself and becoming the bait. The leader expects John to die, which means one less person to share the treasure with. The rest of the teams fight to the death over the loot, while the elite gorilla's attacks are brutal. John knows he is taking a huge risk by running alone like this, as an elite gorilla is much stronger than a normal one. A normal explorer would already be dead, but John is not a normal explorer. He throws his daggers at the beast. Every throw hits clean. The elite gorilla staggers and finally crashes to the ground, dead. A level 15 elite gorilla is still no match for John's critical damage. Now the situation turns. It is John's turn to use the other explorers. Outside, the 3 teams are locked in battle with the other elite gorillas, struggling to hold them back. Even with their full numbers, they are barely managing to survive. Their leader keeps shouting for them to stick to the plan, trying desperately to keep things under control. John, meanwhile, moves quietly. He only needs to walk a short distance before he finds what he came for. There it is, the elite treasure chest, and getting this far was easier than expected. All it took was killing the first elite gorilla guarding the entrance, but as he reaches for the chest, a roar explodes from inside the cave. Warm saliva drips onto his shoulder from above. Another gorilla was already in the cave, guarding the treasure. It drops down in fury and nearly crushes him. This one is different. It's a level 20 elite gorilla that the other teams had no idea existed, and unlike the others, this one is actually dangerous to him. The gorilla moves to block the exit entirely with its body. There's no way out now. It's kill or die. John attacks first, throwing his daggers, but this time they do nothing. They do not pierce the monster's skin. Even hitting its eyes is useless. The system shows why. The gorilla's defense is 23 points. John's normal attacks can't break that number, and even though his daggers ignore 9 points of defense, it's still not enough. While he is thinking, the gorilla charges. John is struck hard and smashed against the cave wall. His body slams into the rock, pain exploding through him as he struggles to sit up and understand what just happened. The difference between them is too big. He is outmatched, but even so, he refuses to die here. If he dies now, he won't be able to return to Phantom Star for an entire month, which means he won't be able to earn money. And if he can't earn money within 1 month, he'll break his deal with Commander Wei and be forced to depend entirely on the military, losing his freedom, something he cannot allow. His vision starts to blur. His body weakens, and he can feel himself slipping. Then in his mind, a memory rises. He hears a voice telling him to stay awake, and then he sees his brother. In the memory, his older brother is running while holding him. The world around them is broken. They are in a ruined city, his brother doing everything he can to carry him, keep him awake, and get him to safety. A memory from 10 years ago when their home became a war zone. John thinks of that moment, remembering how his brother kept going even as everything collapsed around them. He remembers how his brother and sister saved him, and he refuses to give up. He pulls one of his daggers back into his hand. Energy spreads through his body as he forces himself to move. He will not die on the floor of this cave. Outside the memory, inside the cave, the level 20 elite gorilla lanes in, and then it swallows him. The monster lifts its head with satisfaction, believing the fight is over. But something else is happening inside. A moment later, the gorilla's face twists and it lets out a horrible sound. Its head bursts apart into fragments and blood. Its body drops like a stone, and the giant creature lies dead. John is injured, exhausted, and covered in blood, but alive. He figured out that the gorilla's outer skin was too tough, but its mouth was softer. It was just like with the Wolf King. The outside had too much defense, but the inside did not, so he killed it from within. Now the elite chest is his. He's weak, but the treasure belongs to him. Almost an hour later, the other teams outside finally manage to kill the remaining elite gorillas. They cheer and celebrate, saying that the boy who lured one away is probably dead by now, which means one fewer person to share the loot with. They then enter the cave to take the treasure, but when they get inside, they freeze. The cave is empty, and the elite chest is gone. The captain starts shouting in anger, saying the chest was supposed to be there. Someone else says that he saw the boy run inside the cave while they were still fighting, but he thought he imagined it. He did not say anything because it did not seem possible that the boy survived. Now the group turns on their leader. They complain that they have been out here for days, that their pay is late, and now the treasure is gone because they were tricked. Meanwhile, in another part of the valley, John is resting. He figures those people are probably cursing him right now, and shrugs. He opens his system screen and looks at the treasure chest he took, which he still hasn't opened. Then he opens the chest and can barely breathe. It is full of valuable items, rare minerals, and equipment. The money he can make from this is far more than what he would get from just selling monster corpses. But something else in the chest stands out even more. There is another piece of gear inside, a pair of gloves. He slips them on. Each glove has a small fire emblem. He does not know yet whether they are meant for attack or defense. But the moment he wears them, he feels lighter and stronger. His body feels faster. He thinks his strength and agility have both improved and decides to test them. He throws his daggers, and as they fly, flames appear around them in midair. This must be the effect of the gloves. On Phantom Star, there are many kinds of flames, some extremely deadly, others almost worthless. Normal flames are weak. Ordinary fire is usually only good for lighting a campfire or cooking, and isn't considered a real weapon. So John thinks that maybe these gloves are only for utility. Before he can finish that thought, the forest shakes. A heavy force slams into the ground nearby, as a giant arm crashes into the dirt. He turns and sees them, 4 elite elemental gorillas. He wonders if one of them was hit by one of his test throws, or if they simply sensed him. Either way, all 4 are now staring directly at him. Even one of these enemies is a huge problem, but facing 4 at once could be impossible. He uses the same trick as before, aiming for the mouth, and throws a dagger at close range toward the open jaw. But this time the gorilla is ready. It clamps its mouth shut before impact, and the dagger bounces off. The system reads the result, 0 damage. John realizes this is bad. They've already learned his pattern and know to guard their weak point. He runs. In his current condition, even if he manages to target the inside of one of their mouths, there's no way he can handle all 4 at once. He might die here. Then he notices something strange. One of the gorillas suddenly begins losing health as its body catches fire. He doesn't see what started the fire, but the flames spread across its body. Then another gorilla's health drops, and then another's. The health drain keeps rising. One of them bursts fully into flame, and its health bar drops by 2,000 points in a single moment. The fire spreads uncontrollably, and the elemental gorillas panic. The flames keep spreading, and though the gorillas try to run, they are already burning. John stares, struggling to understand what he's seeing. He doesn't even know how the fire is jumping from one target to the next. A tiny spark lands on one gorilla's chest fur. The gorilla slaps at the flames, but it's already too late. Its arm catches fire, then its shoulders, and soon its entire upper body. Now all 3 remaining gorillas are burning hard. John watches as the last of them begins to fall, still confused. He doesn't understand how the fire grew so strong so fast. It started as normal fire, yet now it looks like something else entirely. Then the flames fade, leaving all 4 massive bodies on the ground, completely dead. Something becomes clear. He saw the damage climb. At first, the fire was doing about 10 points, but within seconds it rose to 2,000, a 200-fold increase. He realizes the truth: the gloves create fire, but more than that, his special talent lets the damage multiply by 200 times and spread from one monster to another. The fire looks like normal flame, but it is not normal if you cannot resist it. If they cannot endure the heat, it becomes fatal in seconds. With these gloves, he can inflict 2,000 points of damage per second across groups of enemies, meaning it no longer matters if he can't pierce a monster's outer defense. He can simply burn them down. For the gorillas, this is a disaster, the worst night in their history, as fire filled the valley and nothing could stop it. No one had ever burned elite gorillas like that. They could only run and scream as the fire consumed them like dry brush. After that, John walks openly through the valley without fear. Within a range of 10 miles around him, there is nothing left for any other explorer to collect. By dawn of the second day, ashes cover the entire area. It was incredibly profitable, as he had hunted dozens of gorillas. His level rises to level 8. Thanks to the gloves, nothing below level 20 can stand up to his area damage now. On top of that, he has collected 10 elite chests and a pile of monster corpses. He's going to make a lot of money. He looks up at the sky and feels a little lonely. He misses being with his friends. He does not know exactly how they are doing right now, but he guesses that since they joined the army, they are probably all right. Back in the Valley of Kings, his former companions are frustrated. They find almost no gorillas left, as someone has wiped them out. One of them says that without John, everything is much harder. He used to help them find monsters and take them down. A senior explorer addresses the rookies and tells them not to complain. Lee, a level 38 fighter, says the area is too dangerous for beginners, which is why they aren't finding monsters anymore, and adds that even with John, this place would still be risky. All they can do now is keep searching and hope they find at least one remaining gorilla. Even so, they admit it out loud. They miss John. 3 days pass, and one of the explorers complains that all he can find now are normal gorillas, which are too easy for them. He says Huang Wei told them to focus on finding John instead of hunting properly, calling it a waste of their time and skills, but another explorer tells him to accept it. Orders are orders. The others turn and listen to what he says next. He explains that a few days ago, they saw something unbelievable in the Valley of Kings. A single person took down 3 gorillas without difficulty. The arrogant explorer scoffs, saying that might be impressive for low-level beginners, but not for real fighters. He clearly isn't taking it seriously. The group shows him an image of John. They ask if the arrogant one has seen that boy anywhere in the valley, and the others confirm that yes, he's the same person they saw, the one who killed 3 gorillas alone. They say he was just a level 5 rookie at the time. The arrogant one says that's obviously a lie and vows that when they find him they'll crush him. But then someone spots John, seeing him leaving the Valley of Kings. The arrogant one smiles. John is nearby at last. He rallies his squad, ready to finish their mission. Elsewhere, John's old supporters shake their heads, feeling sorry for the newcomers who are about to pick a fight with him, completely unaware of what they're walking into. At the exit of the valley, a crowd has gathered. People are annoyed there are almost no gorillas left to hunt. Some say a huge fire burned them all, while others insist that's impossible and that no single person could have done it. By this point, John is level 10. After defeating all those gorillas, he has collected 19 elite chests. Then he hears someone shout his name from behind and tell him to stop. He turns. It is the Huang family's Falcon squad. Everyone nearby starts whispering. They all know this squad belongs to the Huang family and wonder what John did to make them hunt him like this. John looks at them and asks if the Huang family really sent them. The arrogant leader of the squad draws his weapon, saying that John must have forgotten who he insulted during the beginner tutorial, and that now the whole squad is here for one reason, to kill him. John braces himself. He tells them that he acted in self-defense before, and asks if they seriously want to keep doing this. They answer that they don't care about self-defense, they care about the bounty. So John decides not to show mercy. His daggers fly. Some of the Falcon squad members dodge the first wave. Others are hit, and at first they laugh, saying the flames licking at their skin are weak and mocking the idea that a little fire could hurt them. Spectators nearby shake their heads, unable to believe someone is using what looks like ordinary fire in a serious fight, and whisper that it won't matter, that it's only a matter of time before John is overwhelmed. John looks at the Falcon squad and asks what they think will happen if the fire starts doing more damage. It does not take long for the first member of the Falcon squad to start losing health. His health drops by 2,000 points every second as flames engulf his entire body until he can barely be seen. His teammates panic, trying to put the fire out, but nothing works. They can't understand how such a normal-looking flame is draining life so fast. The other two, who were only lightly touched by the flames at first, now begin to burn as well. Soon they also turn into human bonfires. The rest of the squad realizes too late that something is very wrong. Before they can react, more of them are swallowed by the spreading flames. The fire devours them, their bodies burning away as they struggle helplessly to stop it. The system confirms what just happened, announcing that John has completely wiped out the Falcon squad and stolen their experience points. Everyone who saw the fight is stunned. A crowd that had expected John to be killed now stares at the bodies of an elite level 20 squad lying on the ground, taken apart by one person. The onlookers whisper, wondering who this dangerous kid is. One of them tries to scan John's information with a wrist device, but cannot read all of his details. They guess that he must be some kind of powerful fire type class, and that he is using special gear that blocks stat reading. John opens his status window and sees that he's already leveled up 2 more times from that short fight. He then asks the system why other players are unable to read his attributes. The system tells him that his skill grants many bonus attributes, making it impossible for players around his level to view his full data. He thinks this is actually a good thing. It means people will not immediately target him out of fear or greed. After that, John goes into town and walks into a shop to sell what he has collected. He tells the saleswoman that he has some items to sell and wants a price. The woman barely looks up at first, used to rookies coming in to sell small junk, and based on how plain and rough he looks, she assumes he has nothing valuable. Then he opens his inventory, and her eyes go wide. He shows her cards from normal gorillas, elite gorillas, and more. That alone would be a rich haul, but that's not all. He also shows her 19 elite chests he collected from the Valley of Kings. John asks how much all of it is worth. For a moment, the saleswoman just stares. She's not used to someone showing up with this much top-level material at once. Usually, players bring her one body card or a small item, but this guy looks like a wholesaler. She shakes her head to clear it. Now fully awake and excited, she says that she will calculate the value herself, and that she is the best person in the shop for this kind of job. She begins calculating the price, and the total is high. She explains it out loud. The monster body cards are worth 10,000 coins, and the elite treasure chests are worth 170,000 coins, for a total of 180,000 coins. Each coin in Phantom Star is equal to 10 units of real-world money, meaning his total comes to 1,800,000 in real-world currency. That is enough to take care of his brother's health. John realizes something important in that moment. He's done it. He's already earned enough to pay for the surgery, winning his bet with the commander and freeing himself from having to enlist in the military. Later, while he is walking in town, the fortune teller calls out to him. She reminds him that she gave him the fortune reading for free earlier, grinning and out of breath, as she says she was right to send him to the Valley of Kings. She says it must have gone very well, and he calmly confirms that yes, it did. Then she asks him for a favor. The girl, Hyun, says her wish is to be part of his team. She wants to fight alongside him in the future. John turns away and starts to walk off, telling her goodbye in a cold, final way, leaving her angry and annoyed at how blunt he is. Hyun changes the subject and teases him, saying the military is always the one deciding whether a profession is useful or not, then adds that if he likes getting things for free so much, maybe he wants her equipment, mentioning it might be her last time in the game. John pauses and asks if she is really that poor, and if she has already given up on making money here. She explains her story. She says that when the military said fortune teller was a good profession, she followed that path. Before that, she had been in a different class, but she says she changed her profession to fortune teller because she believed it would be valuable. But later, the military stopped supporting it, and after that, no one wanted fortune tellers on a team anymore. Now she can't join any group and spends her time alone in the game, waiting, hopping, and doing nothing but reading fortunes. She says that if she goes back to Earth for good, nothing will really improve. In fact, it might get worse. She will have to do hard physical labor and earn almost nothing. John says that's awful, thinking of his brother's condition and how his health began to fail from non-stop overwork, adding that a normal girl wouldn't be able to endure that kind of punishment. Hyun admits that she would not, but she also says she can't give up, because she has younger siblings depending on her. She can't just disappear and leave them with nothing. John is quiet for a moment, thinking of his own older brother. People have different roles, but the pressure is the same. His brother also carried the whole family alone. His brother saw Phantom Star as hope, but gave it up to keep John and his sister alive. Hyun sighs and says she really is quitting this time, that she won't return to Phantom Star again, and says goodbye. John tells her to wait. He says he's leaving for now but will be back, and tells her that if they meet again, they'll form a team for real. Hyun actually trembles when she hears that, unable to believe him, and asks if he's serious. John says he isn't lying, adding that if he is, may he never make money again. She laughs a little at that, because she knows how much he cares about money. Before he can leave, she jumps forward and hugs him tight, thanking him for the chance. He tries to push her off, and nearby players start staring at them. John goes home and tells his family the news. He tells his sister she no longer needs to work and can go back to school. His sister is stunned and asks if the money is real, and John tells her he earned it in the game, in Phantom Star. He turns to his brother and says the surgery can be done the next day, but his older brother looks worried and says it must have been very hard out there. John tells him it's nothing compared to what his brother has already done. He raised 2 orphans and took care of both him and their sister. John says his brother did his part, and now it is John's turn to take care of the family. They celebrate together, talking about a new start. As John drinks quietly, his phone buzzes. It is Commander Wei. Wei tells him he lost the bet and that John has his freedom, adding that he'll send someone to pick John up later to show him something important. He reminds John to come outside the safe zone when called. After some time, John is brought to a ruined place. He looks around at the broken, burned, empty city and realizes it's the place where he grew up as a child, now destroyed and hollow. He meets the commander in person. John asks why he was brought here. Before Wei can answer, the ground shakes. A huge impact echoes through the buildings as explosions rumble in the distance and the air tears with force. John turns and sees it. Not far away, a massive creature the size of a small building is being fought by several people. A small team of 3 fighters is battling the giant beast without fear. John asks if these people are fighting what is known as a god beast. Commander Wei explains that in Phantom Star, every 20 levels mark a new tier for explorers, with 6 main tiers in total, and that up to level 80, a player's power can only be used inside the game. The fighters continue their assault on the creature, but then Wei explains that from levels 81 to 120, something changes, an awakening occurs, and those players are called extraordinaries. They can use their Phantom Star abilities in the real world, not just inside the game. These are the people who stand between humanity and extinction. John looks at the 3 fighters again. Their eyes show no fear, their movements sharp and calm as the battle against the god beast continues. Wei says that this kind of fight is the only real way to deal with a god beast. John watches the fight and feels how strong those players are. Commander Wei tells him this isn't even a special case, that this is just an ordinary god beast. He explains that to get rid of it, they already lost 2 transcendents. This shocks John, who had spent most of his time in safe zones where people were protected, and only now sees how bad things really are outside them. Wei says he will not force John to join the army. Lightning cracks overhead as thunder rolls over the ruins. Wei goes on, saying that he already spoke to the Huang family and told them to leave John alone, which surprises John that the commander went that far for him. Wei says that he trusts his instinct. John falls quiet. Wei says his instincts tell him that John will become a strong person and that he understands John's desire to protect his sister and brother, but adds that if John joins the army right now, it would mean going to war and leaving his family behind. Wei also says that every person has a share of responsibility. Someone has to hold the line, or there will be nothing left, and as a citizen of Shino, it is his duty to fight for his country and for people like John, fully accepting that he might die in that duty soon. Wei says he will not force John to sign up, but he also says that one day, if the city cries for help, and if John is able to answer, he hopes John will fight for Shino. After resting a few days in the real world, John logs back into Phantom Star. He thinks about what the commander said. He did not expect Wei to place such high expectations on him, but now it was time to focus on his own survival. He needed tougher enemies. Gorillas were no longer enough. His wrist device shows the profile of a new kind of monster, a ghostly banshee. The banshee can kill in a single strike and terrifies its targets. It cannot be damaged from farther than 10 meters and is extremely dangerous to fight up close, which makes it even worse than the gorillas. John thinks it over. He decides that this is not the kind of monster he can face alone and that he needs a team, so he goes looking for the fortune teller. She is asleep in the street, next to a small sign that says she is waiting for the captain and does not want to be disturbed. John wakes her up and asks if she has really been waiting there since the last time he logged in. She is happy and says she knew he would come back, and John tells her that he always keeps his promises. She smiles and says she has already found someone who could be useful to them, and that if this person helps them kill monsters, their team will be strong. John adds that he hopes the person is not a drunkard. The new person introduces himself as Ryuen, and he is exactly what John did not want, someone from the drunkard class. The moment John hears that, he tries to run away at full speed. The fortune teller sighs, realizing that their captain is still very practical. She tries to defend Ryuen, saying that he is a hard worker and loyal. The boy looks embarrassed and doesn't know where to look, saying he can cook and give massages, and that as long as he can be part of the team, he won't even ask for a share of the payment. That last part gets John's attention. John immediately reacts. He grabs Ryuen's hand, raises it like he is announcing a champion, and tells him that he knew Ryuen had talent. He says he is happy to work with him and declares that, as captain, he will now take Ryuen to the hunting grounds where banshees appear. Ryuen quietly asks the fortune teller if John is always this quick to change his mind, and she answers that yes, he always is. They head out together. They return to the Valley of Kings, where elite banshee monsters appear. A level 20 banshee steps forward, hunting players. Some explorers nearby are watching her from a distance. John studies the banshee and says she is strong, adding that once she is revealed, everyone nearby will try to kill her at once, so they have to be careful. He warns that she can only be attacked at close range, meaning the only way to win is to get in close without being noticed. He tells his team to stay low and quiet and wait for a chance. Then he hears something. He turns and tells Hyuen to stop talking, but Hyuen frowns and says she wasn't talking at all. He tells them both again to be silent, but Hyuen repeats that she hasn't said a word. John turns around and finally realizes where the sound is coming from. It is Ryuen. He is asleep and snoring loudly, happily shouting in his sleep that he is drinking in honor of the captain. The banshee instantly notices them. She floats toward their hiding place. Once she is close enough, she unleashes her terrifying scream. John panics and demands to know what Hyuen did, because right now this is going wrong, and the drunkard is not helping. The banshee's scream hits all of them, as they are within range, and the scream inflicts fear. John is overwhelmed, Hyuen is also affected, and even Ryuen, who is still asleep, is affected. All three of them gain the fear status, and are frozen in place, unable to think of any way to respond, move, or fight. The banshee keeps gliding closer and closer. Then something ridiculous happens. Still asleep, Ryuen mumbles that he does not know how such a beautiful woman appeared in front of him, and then he lunges at her. He slams into the banshee with so much force that it looks like a deliberate tackling move. He wraps his arms around her and tells her, in his drowsy mumbling, that fate brought them together and he will take care of her. He even rubs her face while half asleep and says her skin is smooth and glowing. The fear status on John and Hyuen suddenly breaks, and John realizes that Ryuen's weird behavior interrupted the banshee's first control ability, which is now on cooldown, preventing her from using her scream again right away. John understands immediately that this is their opening. He cannot waste the opportunity and has to end the banshee now. Something unexpected happens. Ryuen is holding the banshee in place so she cannot dodge, still half asleep and acting as if she were his future wife. He leans in and announces that from now on they will be husband and wife, and that he is about to kiss her. Before the situation can get any worse for the monster, she explodes. A shock wave rips through the air as smoke rises from the center of the blast. Ryuen snaps out of his dream and wakes up, confused, looking around and asking where his beautiful and loving wife went. John is satisfied, and the fortune teller is thrilled, saying that the captain managed to kill an elite monster in only a few seconds. Not everyone is happy, though. Ryuen falls to his knees, crying that his true love was just blown up in front of him, saying that she was the woman of his life and that he will never be able to love again. John quietly asks the fortune teller if Ryuen is always like this, and she explains that he is from the drunkard class. When he drinks, he becomes like this, and in that state, his taste in women is unbelievably bad. She goes to retrieve the monster's card. Meanwhile, John thinks about what he just saw. The banshee's scream is supposed to terrify everyone who hears it and lock them down with fear, but the drunkard was within her range and not only resisted the effect, he actually managed to grab her. John realizes that this is not normal, since from what he knows, the weakness of the drunkard class is loss of control while intoxicated. A drunkard is unpredictable and unstable, but that same unstable state seems to make them naturally resistant to banshee fear. If that's true, then Ryuan is the perfect counter to this kind of monster. As John thinks this through, the fortune teller returns with the spoils, the chest from the elite banshee. John's expression changes to a mischievous smile, and the fortune teller notices. She wonders what exactly he is planning. The group keeps hunting through the forest. They move to another area where the banshees live, and another banshee appears, letting out a terrifying scream. But this time, John is ready for it. He now knows exactly how to fight this type of enemy. He looks at Ryuan and, like a trainer sending a pet into battle, he releases his drunkard straight at the banshee. The banshee screams again and tries to frighten him, but it does not work. To Ryuan, she isn't a terrifying ghost, but a beautiful woman thirsting for his strong and lovely body. Still dreaming, he tells her that he wants her too, and cannot wait for them to be married. While she is locked in place with him and cannot use her special move again, John takes the shot. His daggers cut through the air and strike. The banshee explodes in front of Ryuan. The system confirms that John has taken down another banshee. Still lost in his fantasy, Ryuan looks shocked, clutching his head and shouting in despair, demanding to know where his bride has disappeared to and accusing his teammates of destroying his woman again. Then he collapses face first onto the ground. John and the fortune teller don't waste time. Before Ryuan sobers up, they hurry to find the next banshee. Hours pass, and after about 3 hours of hunting in that area, Ryuan has already lost 11 wives. Time keeps moving, and by the end of the session, he has mourned 23. Every banshee they found, he tried to claim as his one true love, and every banshee exploded. The team, however, gains a huge amount from this. Thanks to Ryuan distracting all the banshees, they collect many drops and many chests. By the end, they have gathered 35 treasure chests. With all the fighting and looting, John gains a lot of experience, leveling up twice and reaching level 14. The only real cost is emotional. Ryuan says his teammates are two heartless beasts who keep blowing up his future brides. That is not all they get. The group also finds 2 skill cards. They examine the first card, which grants a skill that can create heavy rain. If the user has strong mental power and favorable terrain, the rain can become so intense that it even forms lakes. Since Hyuan, the fortune teller, is already level 29 and has high mental strength, John gives that card to her. She is overjoyed. Before now, her only profession skill was fortune telling, and this is her second real ability. For the first time, she feels like she isn't completely useless. She bows deeply to him and declares that from now on she will treat him like an older brother forever. John says she deserves it and lightly taps her on the head to stop her from being dramatic. The second skill card is unusual. It can only be used by someone with a secret profession, and when activated, it grants a one-time skill that disappears after that single use. John decides to test it immediately and activates it. A new ability appears. It is called Pickpocket Casino. The description says that any player who looks at him for half an hour will lose 1,000 attribute points, which will temporarily transfer to John before returning to their original owner once the time is up. John asks the system if that's all, and the system confirms that it is. He frowns, unable to believe that something sounding this impressive only steals 1,000 attribute points at a time, and only works if someone stares at him for that long, thinking that in practice it may not be very useful. Then Ryuan finally wakes up. He clutches his head in pain, groaning that he has the worst headache. The fortune teller smiles and asks if he remembers losing 35 wives last night. Slowly, blurry scenes come back to him. He remembers flying through the air, leaping at a ghostly woman, and yelling about eternal love. He realizes what he's done and starts shaking with shame, overwhelmed by a full moral hangover as he throws up, crying. Between sobs, Ryuan apologizes to John, saying he has only dragged the team down and that if he's causing trouble, he's willing to quit and leave the team. John does not let him finish. Instead, John hands him some clothes and tells him something different, that the real hero last night was Ryuan. He tells Ryuan that without his distraction, John might have died, and that the equipment they found belongs to him, calling Ryuan an important member of the team. Ryuan tries to refuse, saying that being allowed to stay on the team is already more than enough. John cuts him off and tells them both the same thing, that he would never mistreat his teammates, and adds that he has something for the fortune teller as well. The fortune teller is shocked, not expecting this kind of generosity. She looks at him with bright eyes, as if she is looking at the main character in a romance story. Ryuan nods quickly and loudly repeats the same praise, saying their captain is amazing and kind. Both of them bow to John and promise to follow him forever, but he tells them to stop doing that. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more awesome stories. The scene opens at the Ghost Star item trading office, where an employee announces the return of a VIP customer. An employee at the trading office is ecstatic. She joyfully informs the customer that the total price for his monster corpses and treasure chests comes to a whopping 840,000 Ghost Star coins. Zhang Kai is overjoyed. He realizes that this amounts to 8.4 million Shengyao coins, more than enough to cover the future expenses for his big brother and Ingzi. Later, in the trading office locker room, Zhang Kai reflects on his success. Not only does he have enough to live on, but he also kept 2 pieces of equipment for himself after selling the rest of the loot. The first item is a pair of F-grade night trousers. Paired with his previous cloak, they form a set that allows him to move undetected, increasing his agility by 11 and strength by 6, and enabling a 3-minute stealth mode at night. The second piece is an A-grade ghost leather armor. It provides a significant boost to his stats and has a special voiding ability that can be activated every 10 minutes to become immune to 1 physical attack, which is perfect for avoiding deadly blows. He also inspects his arsonist gloves. He's pleased to find that they allow his weapons to inherit his critical damage stats, a feature he considers a godsend for his combat style. Fully equipped, Zhang Kai emerges from the locker room. With his new gear, he feels immensely stronger, confident that he could now take on even a level 20 adventurer. A status window displays his current stats. As Zhang Kai, a level 14 gambler, his agility is now 132 and his critical hit damage is a staggering 20,000%. He clenches his fist, filled with confidence for any upcoming fight. Just then, a man wearing goggles and carrying a large wooden log runs towards him, calling out, "Captain." Zhang Kai recognizes him as his teammate, Wan Yu. Wan Yu, looking exhausted but eager, rushes forward, telling his captain to just wait and see the results of his latest project. To demonstrate, Wan Yu hurls the large log forward, which suddenly shoots off like a rocket, propelled by a powerful red energy. Zhang Kai is stunned by the sudden display of power. He jokingly shouts at Wan Yu, asking if he's still holding a grudge because Zhang Kai had blown up 35 of his wives, the treasure chests from their last mission. A close-up on Zhang Kai's face shows his utter shock and disbelief at the chaotic scene unfolding before him. The demonstration goes awry as the log flies uncontrollably towards Zhang Kai. Wan Yu panics, shouting for the projectile to return. But just as the log is about to strike, a beam of red energy shoots out from between Zhang Kai's legs, stopping the projectile in its tracks. The source of the energy is revealed to be the small life chaser knife in Zhang Kai's hand, which now seems to be pulling the log back. Wan Yu explains his modification. He noticed that Captain Kai always had to pick up his life chaser after throwing it, so he cleverly added a magnet to it for easy retrieval. Zhang Kai's face lights up. He's thrilled with the upgrade, realizing that now he can pull his life snatcher back with the magnet, and won't have to worry about how many he has left. Wan Yu proudly adds that the life chaser can now also cause damage to objects while it's flying back, making it even more versatile. Impressed by his teammates' ingenuity, Zhang Kai warmly pats Wan Yu on the shoulder, praising him as a talented modifier. Wan Yu bashfully replies that he taught himself. Feeling appreciative, Zhang Kai raises his hand and makes a solemn oath. "Of course. I swear to God." As he speaks, a flash of blue energy crackles around his hand, and his expression goes completely blank, hinting that one of his skills has just been activated by the oath. Seeing the skill's activation, Wan Yu's face falls. He looks at his sweating captain with a sense of betrayal and asks if he was lying. Before Zhang Kai can answer, the mood is broken by a sudden change in the weather. Out of nowhere, rain begins to pour down. A woman in a striking red dress appears, joyfully exclaiming, "Haha, Captain Kai. It was me." It's their teammate, Hu Yan, who proudly announces she's learned the basics of praying for rain, though she quickly dismisses it as a useless skill. Zhang Kai counters Hu Yan's self-doubt, pointing out how her rain skill is already affecting people. He tells her to look at everyone on the street below, running and hiding from the downpour she created. He explains the strategic potential of her ability. If she could make the rain heavy enough, it would seriously hinder the enemy's movements in a fight. With their movements slowed, Zhang Kai explains, the enemy would become a living target, allowing him to kill anyone he wants with ease. Hu Yan is overjoyed at the realization. Finally feeling useful, she enthusiastically promises to practice her rain-praying skill. Zhang Kai simply wishes her good luck. Zhang Kai looks on with a sense of satisfaction. With Wan Yu now able to fight, and Hu Yan possessing the rain prayer skill, their entire team has become significantly stronger. Nearby, another group of adventurers complains loudly about the sudden rain. They worry that their equipment for an expedition to the frozen island will be soaked, and that the Huang family will blame them for being late. The mention of the Huang family immediately catches Zhang Kai's attention, his expression turning serious. Zhang Kai approaches the group and politely asks them to elaborate on what they were saying about the Huang family. One of the adventurers scoffs at his ignorance. He explains that the Huang family Xuanwu Guild is taking 200,000 people to the frozen island to hunt a king-level boss, a mission that will help their country expand its territory on the Ghost Star. Taken aback by the scale of the operation, Jiang Kai listens as the adventurer continues, stating that it's every man's responsibility to know about such important news concerning the fate of their country. The adventurers decide to ignore the idiot and hurry off, fearing they'll be punished for being late. As they leave, Jiang Kai wonders if this means his rival, Huang Wei, will also be at the frozen island. Jiang Kai's expression grows grim as he connects the dots. With the beast god wreaking havoc on Earth, the only way for any nation to fight back is to obtain more resources from the Ghost Star. An infographic explains the situation. The valuable resources of the Ghost Star, like ore, materials, and energy, are all in territories occupied by powerful bosses. To obtain them, the bosses must be defeated. These monsters are divided into several tiers of power: normal, elite, warrior, commander, and the mightiest of all, the king-level boss. Among them, the king-level boss is a terrifying monster that requires hundreds, if not thousands, of people to even attempt to fight. And now, the Huang family is leading the Xuanwu Guild to contribute to this massive war effort for the country. Jiang Kai contemplates this, wondering if the Huang family has truly turned over a new leaf and started caring about the world, just as Commander Wei had suggested they might. He recalls the commander's words. Every man has a share of responsibility for the fate of his country. Someone has to stand up and fight those monsters. With a newfound resolve, Jiang Kai makes a decision. If Huang Wei is doing this, then he should also go to the frozen island and do his part for his country. The scene transitions to the Ghost Star frozen island, a vast and desolate landscape of ice and snow under a starry sky. Jiang Kai's team trudges through the deep snow, their footprints the only mark on the otherwise pristine, frozen wasteland. Completely unprepared for the extreme temperature, the team shivers violently. Huyen asks Jiang Kai why he didn't buy any cold-weather clothing, to which he sheepishly admits he didn't expect it to be this cold. Suddenly, an aggressive voice bellows, "Hey!" From a nearby cliff, a man from another team shouts down at them. "Which team are you from, you idiots?" he yells, demanding to know why they are walking on the lake before the main assault begins. Unfazed by the hostile welcome, Jiang Kai responds calmly. "This is our first time here," he says, then asks, "May I ask why we can't walk here?" The man scoffs at their ignorance, calling them newbies. He explains that it's common knowledge that a monster's lair lies directly underneath the frozen surface of the island. From a ridge above, he condescendingly warns them that walking on the thin ice will surely alert the monsters that are dormant below. But the warning comes too late. The ice beneath their feet shatters as a monstrous creature erupts from the depths, sending the unprepared team flying. A system window identifies the terrifying beast, a level 22 bipedal fishman. The team is thrown back by the force of the monster's emergence. Huyen and Ruanyu cry out in shock, recognizing the creature as a fishman. Watching from their perch, the other adventurers mock the three idiots. They smugly state that a level 22 fishman requires a full team, with every member being above level 20 to handle. The adventurer continues his lecture, explaining that it's well known that fishmen are exceptionally skilled at close-range attacks. As the level 22 fishman lunges towards Jiang Kai, the man declares that once you're entangled by such a creature, you are as good as dead. Seeing their captain in peril, Huyen and Ruanyu scream his name in terror. However, Jiang Kai remains perfectly calm. As the fishman attacks, he activates his ghost armor and uses the voiding skill, allowing him to phase through the monster's body completely unharmed. After his voiding ends, Jiang Kai lands gracefully on the monster's back. He looks down with disdain and says, "I thought it was something powerful, but it turns out he is just a small fish." With a powerful roar, Jiang Kai unleashes a fiery punch directly into the back of the fishman's head, yelling, "Get lost." The attack connects with devastating force, resulting in a massive explosion that completely engulfs the level 22 monster. The group of adventurers who had been mocking them just moments before are now completely speechless, their faces frozen in a state of utter shock and disbelief. Their minds reel as they try to process what they just witnessed. A guy who they assumed was a low-level newbie just dodged a close-range attack from a level 22 fishman, a feat that should require a full team of level 20s. Jiang Kai stands confidently amidst the dissipating smoke and embers. "Huh," he says with a smirk. "After stretching my muscles, I don't feel cold anymore." He summons his knives, calling them to return. He reflects on his newfound power, noting that his strength has now reached 76 points. He mentally calculates his damage potential. As long as a critical strike is triggered, he can deal at least 15,200 points of damage, and that's without even factoring in the Life Snatcher's own critical damage bonus. Surrounded by his floating daggers, he makes a conservative estimate based on his lowest critical hit damage. He concludes that his damage output is now firmly in the level 20 range, whether against monsters or other adventurers. He then dismisses his weapons, retrieving them into his storage space. Confident that few could withstand his critical hit, he is greeted by his excited teammates. Huyen and Ruanyu have already collected the fishman's corpse card. He thanks them and suggests they head ashore. With a newfound confidence, Jiang Kai turns to the stunned adventurers and cheerfully asks them, "By the way, big brothers, I want to ask you, do you know where Huang Wei is?" Terrified and eager to get on his good side, the adventurers frantically backtrack. They insist they aren't his big brothers, but his younger brothers. They quickly add that they know exactly where Huang Wei is and offer to show him the way. Following the directions from his new, terrified guides, Jiang Kai heads deeper into a secluded, snow-covered forest on the island. He walks alone, having decided that the coming confrontation is personal and not something he wants his teammates involved in. He scans the silent woods, actively searching for his rival, Huang Wei. Just as he is contemplating his next move, a voice calls his name, Jiang Kai. Jiang Kai looks up with a smile, recognizing the voice. His search is over. "Huang Wei," he says, finally face to face with his rival. Indeed, it is Huang Wei. Clad in magnificent silver armor and a red cape, he approaches Jiang Kai, flanked by his subordinates. Jiang Kai decides to extend an olive branch. He tells Huang Wei that he's impressed he's fighting against the boss for his country and suggests they put aside their grudges. He declares his willingness to do his part on Frozen Island as well, but Huang Wei has no interest in a truce. Without a word, he unleashes a sudden, ferocious attack, his sword crackling with blue energy. Jiang Kai is shocked by the immediate hostility, but is fast enough to dodge the lightning-quick assault. As he lands, he angrily demands, "Huang Wei, what are you doing? I'm here to make peace with you." Huang Wei, his face concealed by shadow, scoffs at the very idea. Make peace? His face contorts into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage. "You fucking killed me first." He seethes. "I've been in therapy for so long, and now you're telling me that I should make peace?" He recounts how badly he wanted revenge after Jiang Kai killed him in public, but the military had ordered his family to leave him alone, an order he had no intention of following. He reveals his true, sinister motive. He took the initiative to participate in the king-level boss fight solely to use that achievement to threaten the military into stopping their protection of Jiang Kai. Jiang Kai is stunned into silence, realizing with horror that Huang Wei's participation in this crucial mission for the country was nothing but a selfish ploy for personal revenge. "Yes," Huang Wei confirms, enraged. He's thrilled that Jiang Kai came to him on his own initiative. He declares that since the war is about to start anyway, he'll just kill him first. He lunges forward again, sword crackling with energy. He plans to take the military credit from the boss fight and use it to pay back the military for their crimes of protecting his rival. Jiang Kai easily leaps away from the telegraphed attack. "Huh," he scoffs. "So I was thinking too much. I didn't realize you're still that villainous Huang Wei." Flames erupt around Jiang Kai's hand. He coolly advises Huang Wei and his men to come at him together, reminding them that he single-handedly annihilated their Falcon 5 team before. One of Huang Wei's subordinates laughs dismissively. "Bah, you were only able to wipe out Falcon Team 5 because of the secret protection of the military. Our young master is level 10 with a set of S-level equipment. Do you still think you can kill him?" As another subordinate chimes in, he suddenly stops mid-sentence, his eyes wide with a dawning horror. "That's right, this guy, wait." He stares in disbelief at a system window displaying Jiang Kai's status. "How did this kid get to level 14 so fast when he's the same age as young master?" he stammers. Before they can process this new information, Jiang Kai unleashes his attack. A massive torrent of fire erupts, completely engulfing the charging Huang Wei. Huang Wei is caught completely off guard, screaming in agony as the flames sear him. His health plummets by 2,000 HP with every tick, and he can't understand what's happening. Why is there fire? He desperately cries for help while his subordinates watch in horror. They are confused, wondering why a seemingly normal fire is inflicting such an insane amount of damage on their master. Jiang Kai stands calmly amidst the inferno. He coolly informs the subordinates, "Your young master is dead. If you don't want to be like him, leave." But from within the flames, a charred, skeletal hand emerges. "No, I'm not dead," Huang Wei screams in defiance. He rises from the inferno, his armor blackened but intact. He reveals that his S-level equipment has a special ability that locks his health at 1%, preventing him from dying. Enraged and humiliated, he screams, "Hurry, you guys kill him for me." Still burning, Huang Wei screams his final order. He wants Jiang Kai tortured to death. His 4 elite subordinates respond in unison and advance on Jiang Kai, who stands ready to face them all alone. Continuing from the last chapter, Jiang Kai faces down Huang Wei's assassins in the snowy mountains. He scoffs at their leader, questioning his decision to send more men to their deaths. With a confident leap, Jiang Kai announces his intention to test his newly modified weapon, the Life Chaser, on the unsuspecting assassins. He unleashes a barrage of red, glowing darts that seem to miss their targets, flying past the group of assassins. The assassins mock Jiang Kai's seemingly poor aim. The captain, a level 32 warrior, taunts him, asking if his hands are shaking with fear because they are all high-level players. Believing Jiang Kai has already failed, the captain charges forward, eager to be the first to strike down the low-level player. Jiang Kai remains calm, his hand glowing with fiery energy as he begins to quote a proverb. hinting that the overconfident captain has fallen right into his trap, that the nail that sticks out first gets hammered down first. As he finishes his sentence, the real attack begins. Suddenly, the dart that had supposedly missed returns, piercing the charging captain through the chest from behind. He looks down in shock, not understanding what just happened. A massive fiery explosion erupts from the captain's body, silhouetting Jiang Kai, who stands calmly amidst the chaos. The remaining assassins stare in utter disbelief, unable to comprehend how the dart managed to fly back and strike their captain. The true shock sets in as they realize the impossible just occurred. Their level 32 captain was instantly killed by a level 10 kid. The captain's body falls lifelessly to the snowy ground, his death confirmed in a matter of seconds. But Jiang Kai isn't finished. Surrounded by a menacing red aura, he declares that the fight is not over yet. With glowing green eyes and a flick of his fingers, he commands his weapon. Return. Another dart, controlled by his skill, slams into a second assassin, catching him completely off guard. The second victim is instantly engulfed in a powerful fiery explosion, his face contorted in agony. He lets out a final, agonizing scream as the flames consume him, leaving his comrades frozen in fear. The remaining assassins are terrified by the overwhelming and inexplicable damage. One of them wonders if Jiang Kai is a hidden master, pretending to be weak. The leader of the group, Huang Wei, furiously yells at his subordinates for their incompetence, pointing out that Jiang Kai is clearly a long-range specialist. Believing he has figured out Jiang Kai's weakness, Huang Wei orders his last two men to attack together and close the distance, thinking that will nullify his advantage. Huang Wei smirks, confident in his assessment. He believes Jiang Kai is a glass cannon assassin who will be helpless once they get into close-quarters combat. However, as one of the men charges forward, he is met with yet another devastating explosion from behind, proving Huang Wei's strategy completely wrong. The assassin screams in terror as he is obliterated, his final moments filled with the shock of being outplayed so thoroughly. With the subordinates swiftly eliminated, Jiang Kai calmly walks past their fallen bodies. He looks down on them with disdain, muttering, "Humph, trash is still trash." His attention then turns to the sole survivor. Jiang Kai examines his life chaser, remarking that the number of opponents is irrelevant. In the background, Huang Wei collapses, utterly broken and stammering in disbelief at how his entire high-level team was single-handedly wiped out. Standing over the defeated Huang Wei, Jiang Kai materializes a sword of pure energy. He states that he was originally going to let their conflict go, but Huang Wei has disappointed him too much. He confronts Huang Wei directly, confirming his murderous intent. Terrified, Huang Wei can only ask what he's going to do. Jiang Kai looms over him, saying that since Huang Wei wanted to kill him, he must return the favor. He brings up their past encounter, mentioning he heard Huang Wei was traumatized by it. With a sadistic grin, Jiang Kai declares his intention to make that trauma even bigger, sealing Huang Wei's fate. A blood-curdling scream echoes through the snowy mountain peaks, implying the swift and brutal end of Huang Wei. A few minutes later, the battlefield is silent, with only bloodstains remaining in the snow. Jiang Kai checks his status screen. He notes that killing other adventurers provides a lot of experience, as taking out Huang Wei and his 4-level, 30 minions has boosted him all the way to level 17. However, his satisfaction is cut short by a glaring red system warning. He has received the Bloodthirsty Killer penalty for eliminating more than 10 adventurers from the same team. Jiang Kai stares in shock, not anticipating such a severe consequence for his actions. He reads the details of the penalty. While the Bloodthirsty Killer status is active, his location will be known to all surrounding players, and anyone who kills him will receive triple the normal amount of experience. He breaks into a cold sweat, realizing the gravity of the situation. This penalty title is notorious on Ghost Star, as it paints a massive target on your back for every other player to hunt. A cartoonish depiction shows his new reality. He has become a walking experience bag, a tempting prize for any player who sees him. The situation gets worse as he remembers his unique talent, Doubled, which has a chance to amplify system effects. He fears the worst, knowing it can increase penalties tenfold. His worst fears are confirmed. He screams in terror as he calculates the amplified penalty. If he dies, he'll lose 30 times the experience, which could rob him of all his progress and send him back to level 1. Realizing he can't go to any crowded places, he resolves to find the tears of repentance needed to remove the status and immediately flees the scene. The scene shifts to the heavily guarded Huang family station on Frozen Island, the base of operations for the powerful clan. A panicked guard rushes to deliver terrible news to his superiors, reporting that Huang Wei has been killed. The news reaches Huang Wei's father, Huang Tong, the commander-in-chief of the battle on Frozen Island. He sits on his throne, seething with rage, furious that his family's reputation has been tarnished. Huang Wei's brother, Huang De, the vice commander, steps forward to ask his father for their next course of action. Huang De proposes a ruthless plan. They will attack the king boss to gain military merit, then use that political leverage to force the military to stop protecting Jiang Kai, leaving him vulnerable for their revenge. The leadership of the Huang family gathers, united in their decision to execute Huang De's plan for vengeance. Half an hour later, Jiang Kai has successfully regrouped with his companions, Nuanyuan and Zhu, on Frozen Island. They immediately notice his new, ominous, bloodthirsty killer title. Jiang Kai tells them there's no time to explain, only that he is now an official enemy of the Huang family, and they must leave immediately. Nuanyuan tries to ask where they are going, but is cut short. Suddenly, a loud, deep sound reverberates through the entire island, stopping the trio in their tracks. They recognize the sound as a war horn. Zhu panics, and Jiang Kai wonders if the Huang family has already begun their attack ahead of schedule. Before Jiang Kai can react to the war horn, Nuanyuan cries out, pointing towards the source of the commotion with a look of pure shock. The massive frozen lake begins to crack and splinter, the sound echoing across the island as the ice gives way. The ice shatters as a monstrous, clawed foot punches through from below, signaling the arrival of a powerful entity. From the depths of the broken lake, a horde of grotesque, fish-like monsters begins to swarm onto the icy plains, ready for battle. Jiang Kai and his companions can only stare in stunned silence, overwhelmed by the sudden appearance of an entire army of monsters. At the center of the lake, a massive pillar of ice and water erupts upwards, dwarfing the surrounding mountains. Atop the newly formed ice peak, the king boss reveals itself, a colossal, heavily built fishman lord, surrounded by its shark-like lieutenants. A system window appears, identifying the creature as the king-level boss, the frozen fishman lord, currently at 100% health. Upon arriving at the desolate ice island, the group is met with a terrifying sight. As the newly emerged king-level boss towers over them, the man with black hair stares in disbelief, questioning if this is truly the boss. His companions are paralyzed with fear, overwhelmed by the immense, oppressive pressure radiating from the creature, with one admitting they are scared. A battlefield-wide announcement rings out, informing all warriors that the king-level boss has been lured out and ordering everyone to prepare for the fight. From a high vantage point, Commander Huang Tong rallies the human forces from atop his giant lion mount, promising generous rewards and control over new lands and resources if they win this battle. He raises his sword, declaring that this fight is for the future and the protection of their families, urging them to fight to the death for victory. His officers echo the sentiment, reminding the troops that once the battle starts, there is no turning back. With a final, roaring declaration, the officer announces that the king boss battle has officially begun. With a unified battle cry, the massive human army charges forward across the ice, meeting the advancing horde of fishmen head-on. Overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the 200,000-person battlefield, a terrified Zhu and Nuanyuan grab onto Jiang Kai, begging him to leave with them. Jiang Kai, however, remains perfectly calm. He gently pushes them away, telling them that they don't have to run just yet, leaving them confused. He smirks, explaining his strategy. Now that the battle has started, the Huang family will be too busy to bother him. He decides they should stay and watch, seeing it as a perfect chance to learn from a king-level boss battle. Meanwhile, the vanguard of the human army charges forward, ready to clash with the fishmen. The soldiers are immediately met by the terrifying, shadowy figures of the giant fishman monsters. A system window identifies the rank-and-file enemy as a common-grade fishman at level 25. One of the lead soldiers, full of bravado, shouts at his comrades not to be afraid, claiming they can win with their superior numbers. His confident battle cry is cut short as a massive shadow falls over him. The soldier is snatched up and dragged into the monstrous, gaping maw of a fishman, his screams for help muffled. He is devoured whole, his desperate cries for someone to save him echoing for a final, horrific moment. The nearby soldiers are frozen in terror, their morale shattered as they realize with horror that these fishmen can and will eat them alive. Watching from a safe distance, Nuanyuan and Zhu are stunned. They can't believe that a common-grade fishman is strong enough to overwhelm an adventurer, and they note with dread that there are countless more of them on the battlefield. Jiang Kai, however, analyzes the situation with a cold, strategic focus. He recalls a crucial piece of information about this kind of raid. As long as the main boss isn't dead, the army of minions will respawn endlessly. As he watches a soldier struggle against a fishman, he comes to a critical realization. The key to this battle isn't the massive clash between the 200,000 adventurers and the fishman army, but something else entirely. The battle on Ice Island has reached its climax. It is a desperate fight between the highest-ranking adventurers, the Supremes, and the formidable king-level boss. An alliance of 8 Supremes unleashes a coordinated assault against the frozen fishman lord, a colossal monster that has emerged from the icy depths. One of the Supremes, a man with fiery determination, rallies the troops. He announces that their team of 8 has officially entered the boss's territory, ready for the ultimate confrontation. Warriors from the elite team prepare their most powerful skills, their bodies glowing with immense energy as they prepare to strike. With a unified war cry, the Supremes charge forward, urged to give it their all and perform to the absolute best of their abilities. They all know what's at stake. They must do their best in this combined attack. And so, they unleash a cataclysmic barrage of attacks, hoping to deal maximum damage to the seemingly invincible boss. The onlookers, including Zhu and Nuanyuan, are left speechless by the sheer power on display. So strong, Is this the power of Supremes? Zhu exclaims, while Nuanyuan expresses her hope that the boss is about to be defeated. However, Kai, observing from the sidelines, has a different assessment. As Nuanyuan voices her concern, he senses that the situation is not as good as it seems. He activates his special ability, the Ghost Eye Focus, to see the truth of the battle that is hidden from others. Through his enhanced vision, Kai analyzes the devastating attack. He sees that while the Supreme skills are incredibly powerful, they haven't even managed to break through the boss's defense. A system notification confirms his observation. Failed to penetrate the defense. The Supremes themselves are in disbelief. They can't believe their combined, ultimate attack failed to even scratch the boss. Before they can recover from their shock, the frozen fishman lord retaliates with a single, massive swing of its arm. The elite warriors are sent flying, their powerful formation shattered in an instant. The boss lets out a chilling, victorious laugh, mocking the futile efforts of the adventurers. The onlookers are horrified, realizing the unthinkable has happened. In a single strike, the boss has killed all 8 Supremes. Kai grimly assesses the situation. He realizes the terrifying strength of a king-level boss, capable of annihilating 8 Supremes with a single blow. But as all hope seems lost, a lone figure steps forward. It is the Supreme, Zhang Fong, wielding a spear and ready to face the monster alone. His comrades cry out in disbelief and fear. The 8 Supremes died even after joining forces, and now someone dares to go up alone. Nuanyuan pleads for him not to go. Ignoring the pleas, Zhang Fong charges headfirst towards the colossal boss, a solitary warrior against an overwhelming force. The remaining adventurers watch in despair, certain that another one is about to die. Zhang Fong slams his spear into the ice, bracing himself not for a final, desperate attack, but for a calculated counter. As the boss's power bears down, he channels all his remaining energy into the spear, unleashing it in a brilliant, defiant blast aimed straight at the frozen fishman lord. Zhang Fong's spear connects with the boss. The frozen fishman lord, who was previously untouchable, shows a rare sign of shock. Kai, Nuanyuan, and Zhu are flabbergasted. Kai exclaims, "What? This person actually took the boss's attack head-on?" Witnessing Zhang Fong's impossible feat of survival and counterattack. The other adventurers are equally stunned, unable to comprehend how a single warrior could withstand the power that annihilated 8 Supremes. Standing firm, Zhang Fong reveals the grim truth behind his power. He scoffs, revealing that his teammates' deaths were not in vain. They were a deliberate sacrifice. A system window confirms his identity. Supreme, Zhang Fong, the strongest lancer in the Xuanwu Guild. He glares at the boss, declaring that it can't kill him with a simple blow. He raises his spear, vowing to fight on behalf of his fallen comrades, their sacrifice fueling his resolve. The secret to his power is revealed, his unique talent, Blessing of the Dead. For every Supreme teammate who dies, he gains a massive 25% increase in strength. Now empowered by the loss of his 8 teammates, Zhang Fong lets out a furious roar and unleashes his full, amplified power, screaming, "I'll kill you." His empowered strike lands true, and a system notification confirms the impossible. The boss's impenetrable defense shield has been shattered. The frozen fishman lord recoils in pain, wounded for the very first time in this battle. This turn of events leaves everyone, including Kai, in awe. The other adventurers shout in amazement that someone could actually break the boss's defense. Kai realizes that this hero, Zhang Fong, might actually have the potential to kill the boss. A red-bearded man, the leader of the Xuanwu Guild, smirks confidently. He reveals their master plan. The deaths of the other Supremes were a premeditated strategy to boost Zhang Fong's power. He explains that since Zhang Fong was already a powerhouse, the Blessing of the Dead from 8 fallen comrades increased his power by a staggering 200%. With this immense boost, Zhang Fong's strength is now comparable to that of 20 Supremes combined. The guild leader is certain of their victory, thinking that as long as nothing unexpected happens, the battle is as good as won. From a distance, Kai, Nuanyuan, and Zhu watch the tide of the battle turn. But their relief is short-lived. Just as Nuanyuan cheers, convinced that their victory is assured, the situation takes a dark turn. A new threat emerges. Kai and Nuanyuan look on in horror as a system window announces the arrival of a level 32 elite sea fishman. Suddenly, a scout rushes to the Xuanwu Guild leader with terrible news. He has detected a large number of sea fishmen rushing in from behind the frozen island, trapping them. The guild leader's confidence shatters. His worst fear has come true. The main army of the fishmen has been summoned, creating a pincer attack. The scout confirms their dire situation. There are hundreds of reinforcements, all elite fishmen above level 30, now surrounding them and cutting off any chance of escape. A soldier curses, noting that with the lesser fishmen being held back, their champion, Zhang Fong, can now fight the main boss without any worries. The panel shows a massive energy beam striking a giant, shadowy monster. A strategic map of the battlefield is shown. The entire area is divided into 5 distinct zones, each corresponding to a different level of fishmen: ordinary, elite, general, leader, and the final boss at the peak. By assigning a large number of adventurers to engage the fishmen in each specific zone, they have managed to create a delicate balance on the battlefield. Among the warriors holding the line is Zhang Kai, who smiles confidently in the heat of battle. However, this balance is fragile. The commander knows that if their rear is breached by a new wave of enemies, it will cause chaos in the battle. This would not only prevent Zhang Fong from defeating the boss, but on the contrary, it would lead to the annihilation of all 200,000 of their forces. A commander with pink hair shouts in panic, realizing the immense pressure. He estimates it will take Zhang Fong at least 30 minutes to kill the boss and desperately asks how long it will take for the new wave of sea fishmen to arrive. His subordinate checks a holographic screen, which flashes with red alerts. He delivers the grim news. A massive number of sea fishmen are approaching, and they will be there in at most 10 minutes. Suddenly, a powerful spell ignites on the battlefield as 3 pillars of fire converge into a massive blast. The fiery explosion engulfs an elite fishman, which screams in agony as it's incinerated from the inside out. The attack is devastatingly effective. A system window announces that adventurer Zhang Kai has successfully defeated one elite sea fishman. Not far from the explosion, 2 of Zhang Kai's companions, a purple-haired girl and a boy with goggles, look on in terror. The girl cries out, "Captain Kai, why are there so many sea fishmen around suddenly? Let's get out of here quickly." Zhang Kai, however, remains composed. He turns his head, his gaze steady as he questions the idea of retreating at such a critical moment. He surveys the vast, snowy landscape of the battlefield. He knows the situation is a delicate stalemate. If no one steps up to stop the approaching sea fishmen, it could lead to the failure of the entire battle. A close-up on his piercing green eye reveals a silent, unwavering resolve. He has made his decision. Elsewhere, a soldier grapples with his conscience. He admits that the Huang family leading them are his enemy, and he'd be happy to see them lose. But the 200,000 people fighting for the future of their country are innocent. Another chimes in, holding a cigarette. He declares that the fate of the country is a responsibility of every man, and someone has to step up and fight these monsters. Back with his team, Zhang Kai stands resolute against the sky. He turns to his companions and makes his stance clear. Huyen and Ruanyu, we are not leaving. His companions look at him, baffled. The boy, Huyen, seems particularly shocked by the decision to stay. Zhang Kai begins to walk away from them, towards the direction of the coming threat, as he lays out his seemingly insane plan. He tells them, "I also need you to lure all the surrounding sea fishmen to me." A fiery aura begins to envelop him as he makes a bold declaration, his expression one of absolute confidence. "I'll take care of all these sea fishmen by myself." His 2 companions, Huyen and Ruanyu, are left utterly speechless, their faces a mask of shock and disbelief at his proclamation. 10 minutes later, the battlefield is a scene of carnage. An adventurer screams in pain as he is run through by a fishman's massive spear, while others fight desperately around him. A bloodied and battered adventurer stumbles towards his captain, pleading with him to stop fighting. He reports that a large number of fishmen have been detected approaching from the rear, and if they get surrounded, it will be all over. Panic spreads among the adventurers as they face the monstrous fishman boss. One cries out that if he dies, he won't be able to log in for a month. Another worries that without the income, his family will be kicked out by their landlord. A consensus is reached. They must leave, or they will all die. However, their captain walks towards them with a calm demeanor, telling his bewildered men, No need to run." The captain urgently explains his reasoning. "Didn't you notice? 10 minutes have passed since we first detected the sea fishmen. We were told they would reach the battlefield in 10 minutes. He continues, pointing towards their supposedly vulnerable rear. But now none of them have appeared. What does this mean? The soldiers are shocked as the realization dawns on them. One wonders if a supreme-level player is secretly helping them, but another dismisses it, knowing the Huang family didn't deploy any troops in that area. The captain comes to a logical conclusion. There must be an incredibly powerful figure behind the scenes, someone capable of holding off that many sea fishmen all on their own. The scene confirms the captain's theory. Far away, a lone figure faces down 2 roaring monsters. Indeed, a group of powerful elite explorers, or rather a single explorer, is fighting hard. The grotesque, twin-headed monster lunges at Zhang Kai, its massive jaws wide open, ready to devour him. Zhang Kai stands his ground, completely unfazed by the creature's terrifying advance, and cocks back his fist, which glows with red energy. He smirks, delivering a cold taunt. "Heh, the last person who dared to open his mouth in front of me." He unleashes a devastating, fiery uppercut that sends a column of flame soaring into the sky. As he walks away from the explosion, he finishes his threat. Has grass on his grave a couple of meters high. Zhang Kai reflects on his progress. He's already killed more than 20 fishmen, but since they're only coming one by one, it's a bit slow. A notification confirms he has killed 2 more elite fishmen. Meanwhile, his companion Ruanyu screams for his help. She has successfully completed her mission, attracting a massive horde of sea fishmen who are now chasing her. His other companion, Huyen, has also succeeded, crying out for the captain as he's literally being carried off by a swarm of monsters he has gathered. Zhang Kai, his hands now wreathed in flames, praises their work. "Amazing. Leave the rest to me," he commands, telling them to go and hide quickly. His companions are skeptical. Guan Yu asks, Captain Kai, there are so many elite sea fishmen. Can you kill them all? Hu Yan adds that he was struggling to kill just one or two earlier. Zhang Kai looks over his shoulder at the approaching horde and calmly admits, Indeed, I was having a hard time killing one or two. He turns back to face the swarm of monsters, a confident and slightly menacing look in his eyes as he continues. But what you don't know is, without another word, he unleashes a torrent of fire, instantly incinerating the front line of the charging fishmen horde. A close-up of his glowing green eye reveals his true nature in battle, as he explains, that I'm more comfortable killing in groups than killing individually. He unleashes an even larger firestorm, engulfing the entire horde. In an instant, the battle is over. A single, massive system notification appears. Explorer Zhang Kai killed the elite fishman x100. Guan Yu and Hu Yan are left utterly astounded. Hu Yan stammers, Holy shit, he's just a little over level 10. What's with this damage? Guan Yu asks in disbelief, Is this the real strength of our captain? From the main front, the commanders see a massive explosion erupt in the distance, exactly where the rear guard was supposed to be. A soldier cries out in confusion, Why did a huge explosion happen in the back? The Huang family leader, sitting atop his mount, dismisses the idea. Military? No, it shouldn't be. I just contacted the military. How'd they arrive so quickly? He remains silent and thoughtful, his eyes narrowed as he tries to piece together the mystery of who saved their rear flank. Deciding not to dwell on it, he seizes the opportunity and bellows out an order. All right, since the military is here, let's notify everyone to balance the battlefield, so that Zhang Fong can be alone and deal with the boss in peace. His men cheer in agreement. Half an hour later, the focus shifts to the boss's location. The warrior Zhang Fong, glowing with blue energy, is locked in a fierce, high-speed battle with the colossal fishman boss. The boss roars in fury. Its health bar shows that it has 65% of its health remaining. An adventurer cheers with excitement. Awesome! The boss's health has been reduced by 1/3. We can win, but their celebration is premature. The boss suddenly moves with blinding speed, its arm a blur as it prepares to counterattack. It unleashes a furious barrage of attacks, overwhelming Zhang Fong with sheer power and speed. The leader's son shouts a frantic warning. Watch out! After losing 1/3 of its health, the boss has entered the second stage, Berserk. He explains that in this Berserk stage, the boss's attack speed becomes so fast that it's almost impossible to dodge. Zhang Fong responds by encasing himself in a crystalline defensive armor, bracing for impact. The key to defeating the boss now depends entirely on whether Zhang Fong's defense can bear the sheer force of these attacks. The onslaught is too much. Zhang Fong coughs up blood as his health plummets. A system notification showing his remaining health is a critical 5%. The onlookers are horrified. Zhang Kai and his companions watch with shocked expressions, while the Huang family leader and his son are gripped by panic. On the battlefield, the adventurers who were just cheering are now filled with despair. Are we going to lose? One of them asks. But Zhang Fong is not defeated yet. He holds up a shard of his broken armor, a defiant smirk on his face. Hey, you bastard, you think with this much damage you can kill me? He roars, unleashing his supreme talent, intentionalized armor. A massive aura of blue energy erupts from his body. With newfound power coursing through him, he screams at the boss, Come! The boss's powerful strikes now land harmlessly against Zhang Fong's body, which is protected by the glowing blue armor. A system message repeatedly confirms he is immune to all damage. Not only is he immune, but the damage is reflected back at the boss, which now receives the full force of its own attacks, roaring in pain and confusion. Watching from a distance, Zhang Kai is amazed. What a great armor. Not only is it immune, but it can also reflect damage. Is this what a supreme talent can do? The Huang family members, who were just in despair, now erupt in celebration. Amazing, with this we can kill the boss, they shout. The Huang family leader grins with satisfaction. He explains that Zhang Fong is their carefully selected trump card, whose talent allows him to rebound 50% of damage for 90 seconds while the boss is in its fast-attacking berserk phase. The strategy is working perfectly. The boss's health drops to 35%. The faster the boss attacks in its frenzy, the more health it rapidly loses to the reflected damage. The Huang family leader laughs triumphantly. In just a short while, the boss has lost 30% of its health to its own reflected attacks. He's confident that if this continues, the boss is already in the Huang family's pocket. But just as he declares victory, the boss's claw begins to glow with a sinister light, unleashing a piercing strike that looks completely different from its previous berserk attacks, instantly silencing his celebration. The boss's special attack lands a direct hit. Zhang Fong's supposedly immune armor instantly shatters into 1,000 pieces, the force of the blow sending him flying backwards. He lies broken on the ground, his body battered and his armor completely destroyed. A red, critical system notification flashes. Defense armor disabled. 1% of health remaining. Their trump card has been defeated in a single strike. Everyone watches in stunned silence. The soldiers' previous cheers turn to gasps of horror while Zhang Kai and the Huang family leader stare in utter disbelief. One adventurer voices the question on everyone's mind. Did the great Supreme Lord lose? The Fishman boss looms over its fallen opponent, victorious. A system message reveals the terrifying truth behind its sudden comeback. It possessed the armor-breaking combat skill all along. The Huang family leader collapses in despair. I was careless, he mutters, realizing his fatal error. I didn't realize that this boss has unidentified, armor-breaking skills. His son rushes to his side, but it is too late. All hope is lost. On the icy battlefield, a sense of dread spreads among the adventurers. Their greatest hope in this battle was the warrior Zhang Fong, who is currently fighting the main boss. From a distance, Zhang Kai watches with a grim expression, sweat dripping down his face. The adventurers around him are terrified, realizing that if their ace falls, this will be a losing battle. Chaos erupts across the battlefield as the Fishman monsters overwhelm the human forces. With their aces down, the adventurers are in a full-blown panic, screaming for everyone to run for their lives. Amidst the chaos, an adventurer coughs up blood after taking a direct hit from a monster's attack. A captain named Li Biao is brought to his knees, his shield shattered. He grits his teeth in regret, apologizing to his subordinates, Zhu Zi and Nan Nan, for bringing them to this deadly place. His voice is filled with despair as he confesses his selfish motive. He only brought them here to prove that he was better than Zhang Kai, a name his team always talked about. As a massive fishman looms over him, ready to strike, Li Biao screams in anguish. He laments that while Zhang Kai would never lead them to their deaths, he did, making him a complete failure as a captain. A pink-haired healer screams for Captain Li Biao as he lies motionless on the ground. Next to her, their other teammate is also heavily wounded and bleeding. The healer looks around in desperation, crying out for anyone to save her captain. Her face is a mask of despair as she admits she has no more power left to heal him. She looks on helplessly at the hordes of fishman monsters. With the boss still alive, their army will just keep appearing, sealing the fate of the adventurers. The grim realization dawns on her. If no one takes action, everyone is going to die. At that moment, a strange cracking sound echoes through the air. Captain Li Biao, who is on the verge of death, looks up in shock, his eyes widening at an unbelievable sight. A monster lets out a horrifying scream as it's struck by an unseen force. In the midst of the chaos, a desperate voice cries out, asking if there is anyone who can save them all. A brilliant beam of light flashes past Captain Li Biao as he kneels on the frozen ground, saved from a fatal blow at the last second. The massive fishman that was about to execute him is suddenly engulfed in a fiery explosion, its body blown back by the immense force of the attack. The monster is completely obliterated by the mysterious attack, its body disintegrating into nothingness before it can even hit the ground. A close-up reveals the face of the attacker. It is Zhang Kai, who calmly utters the single word, "Return," recalling his weapon. Captain Li Biao and the healer stare in disbelief. Their wounded teammate, Hu Yan, looks up with a wide grin, starting to laugh in relief and amazement. A figure engulfed in a powerful, fiery aura appears on the battlefield. The adventurers recognize him instantly, shouting out his name. It's Kai. Zhang Kai turns to Zhuzi and Nuanyuan, telling them to protect themselves. With a determined look, he announces he's going to fight the boss and dashes towards the heart of the battle. Hu Yan, still trying to process what happened, struggles to sit up. He can't believe his ears. Did Kai really just say he's going to fight the boss all by himself? An even greater shock registers on his face as he realizes something else. He can sense Zhang Kai's location with perfect clarity, an impossible feat on this chaotic battlefield. The pink-haired healer, Wanyu, looks in the direction Kai ran off, her expression a mix of awe and worry. Me too, she says, confirming she can also sense his presence. The Fishman army continues its fierce advance, a sea of monsters charging across the snow, ready to crush the human forces. However, as Zhang Kai's power surges, a strange phenomenon occurs. Other adventurers across the battlefield suddenly sense his presence, recognizing the ominous aura of the bloodthirsty killer title, making them all aware of his location. From a cliff above, Hu Yan and Wanyu shout down to Zhang Kai in a panic. They remind him of his current status as a bloodthirsty killer and question his reckless actions. The danger is immense. With the bloodthirsty killer title active, every other player on the battlefield will see him as a target. He will be hunted by 200,000 people. But Zhang Kai is undeterred. He breaks into a sprint, a menacing red aura confirming his bloodthirsty killer status is active as he charges headfirst into the fray. An opportunistic adventurer spots Zhang Kai. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he realizes the opportunity. He had been ready to die, but now he sees a chance to gain a huge amount of experience by killing a bloodthirsty killer. The adventurer rallies his group, deciding it's better to die fighting Kai for a reward than to be killed by fishmen. They resolve to kill him first and launch a coordinated assault. A massive, fiery explosion erupts on the battlefield as the adventurers' powerful attacks converge on a single point. Watching from a distance, Wanyu and Hu Yan are horrified. Wanyu cries out Kai's name, fearing that he was killed in the blast. However, the explosion was not from an attack on Kai. As the smoke clears, Kai's voice is heard, calmly stating, "It was just a critical hit from me." Moving with blinding speed, Zhang Kai effortlessly weaves through his attackers, who are sent flying by his counterattack. He coolly asks them, "Can you handle it?" The would-be assassins are left defeated on the ground. One of them coughs in agony, wondering how Kai's damage is so high, while another expresses his disbelief that a mere level 10 rookie could possess such power. Huyen and Ruanyu are overjoyed and relieved. Huyen shouts in excitement that Kai is fine and marvels at how his captain dealt with so many opponents with such ease. Leaving the defeated adventurers behind, Zhang Kai walks calmly through the snow-covered landscape, his focus already on his next objective. Captain Li Biao, who witnessed the entire exchange, is left speechless. He finds it impossible that Kai, a low-level adventurer, could escape an ambush from so many high-level players completely unscathed. Elsewhere, a subordinate runs to a heavily armored leader of the Huang family. He reports that Zhang Kai, the man who killed their kinsman Xiao Wei, has appeared on the battlefield and is heading towards the boss. A red-haired commander dismisses the report, stating they have bigger problems. He insists they should be worrying about how to reduce their losses in the battle, not about Zhang Kai. However, another commander, a man with sunglasses, looks on with a grim expression. Despite his colleague's dismissal, he has a bad feeling in his heart. He can't shake the vague premonition that Zhang Kai might actually succeed in killing the boss. Meanwhile, Kai continues his charge, effortlessly cutting through the fishman ranks. As he runs, Kai reflects on the irony of the situation. He never thought he'd find himself helping his enemies, the Huang family, to fight a boss. He admits his past self would never have done such a thing. His thoughts drift to a promise he made. He remembers the words of Commander Wei, who hoped Kai would use his strength to fight for the country if it were ever in danger. Kai's resolve hardens. The country is in danger now, and he has the power to make a difference. His promise to the commander gives him a reason to fight beyond personal grudges. With a determined glint in his eyes, Kai makes a decision. He calls upon his AI intelligence, preparing to activate a special one-time skill he acquired. A holographic AI appears and confirms the activation of casino pickpocketing. For 30 minutes, this skill will steal 0.1% of the total attributes from every adventurer who is paying attention to him. Kai clenches his fist, a smirk on his face. He had originally thought this skill was useless because it only stole a meager 0.1%. He never expected it would come in so handy. He realizes the true potential of the skill in this unique situation. Thanks to his bloodthirsty killer title, almost everyone on the battlefield is paying attention to him, making them all targets for his ability. Other adventurers across the field feel a strange, sudden drain on their power. A system window appears before him, confirming the process has begun. Initiate stealing 0.1% of total attribute points from attendees. The skill is now active, drawing power from everyone watching. While stealing a mere 1,000th of a person's attributes is a tiny amount, the battlefield holds a vast number of soldiers. As adventurers all over feel the slight drain, they spot the bloodthirsty killer, Zhang Kai. The thought process continues. If you take 0.1% of the attributes from 200,000 people and combine them, the result is an extremely huge number. Zhang Kai is engulfed in a colossal golden aura as his power skyrockets. His stats window reveals he has jumped to level 20, with his strength, agility, and spirit all soaring into the tens of thousands. The Huang family commander's son shouts in alarm, reporting to his father that Zhang Kai is making a beeline for the boss and might actually steal the kill. The red-haired commander, who had just dismissed Kai as a non-threat, yells in confusion, unable to understand the sudden urgency. His son explains frantically, pointing at his tactical watch. The data shows that Zhang Kai's attributes have become terrifyingly powerful, even surpassing those of their ace, Zhang Fong. The red-haired commander's eyes bulge in utter disbelief. He roars, "What?" Unable to comprehend how a low-level rookie could suddenly become so powerful. Now powered up, Zhang Kai charges through the battlefield, entering the dangerous territory of the warrior-level fishmen. A massive, level 51 warrior-level shark-tooth fishman lets out a ferocious roar as it spots the intruder in its territory. The giant monster lunges forward, its enormous jaws wide open, attempting to swallow Zhang Kai whole. The Huang family commanders watch with scorn. They mock Zhang Kai for not even attempting to dodge, noting that the shark-tooth fishman's bite is a deadly skill that even level 60 explorers must be wary of. As the monster's jaws snap shut, the commanders believe this is the end for Zhang Kai. But they are mistaken. With incredible speed and strength, Zhang Kai catches the monster's jaw with a single hand, stopping the powerful bite attack completely. With a shout of "Get lost!" he smashes his fist into the creature's head, the impact echoing across the battlefield. Everyone who witnesses this is left in a state of shock. From Li Biao's team to the Huang commanders, they are all speechless. With no weapons, using only his fists, he killed a warrior-level fishman. They begin to fear that his newfound power is real, and he might actually kill the boss. The higher-level fishman monsters look on with menacing grins, confident that no human can challenge their might. Having cleared the warrior zone, Zhang Kai doesn't slow down. He pushes even deeper into enemy territory, arriving at the commander-level fishman area. An enormous, level 74 commander-level fishman, towering over the others, immediately spots Zhang Kai. The monster demonstrates its terrifying power by effortlessly grabbing a nearby adventurer and crushing him in its fist. It then unleashes a powerful sonic roar, a special skill that distorts the air with turquoise energy waves, aimed directly at Zhang Kai. Zhang Kai is caught off guard by the special attack. The world inverts as he stumbles and coughs, clearly affected by the roar. The Huang commanders scoff at Kai's predicament. The red-haired leader points out that Kai is overestimating himself, as the roar requires special skills or equipment to resist, not just raw attributes. Brought to his knees, Zhang Kai seems to be incapacitated by the roar. The commander smugly declares that Kai is just an ignorant kid, and that his quest to kill the boss was nothing but a foolish dream. Seeing their captain in trouble, Guan Yu and Hu Yen scream out his name in terror, fearing the worst. Suddenly, in a bizarre turn of events, a wooden mug full of foaming beer is shoved directly into the commander-level fishman's roaring mouth, silencing it instantly. The culprit is revealed to be Kai's companion, Hu Yen. His face bright red, he boldly screams out that he has never been inferior to others in his life. In a fit of drunken jealousy, he soars through the air towards the monster. Believing the fishman is a beauty, trying to seduce his captain with its roar, he yells that he is no worse than his captain and she shouldn't only focus on him. As the fishman lets out a muffled roar, still reeling from the beer mug, Hu Yen continues his heroic, if misguided, charge. He shouts at the monster, asking if a high-quality human male like himself can't attract it. With a determined expression, he declares he will give the monster an interracial kiss, providing a bizarre and hilarious end to the intense battle. Continuing from the last chapter, the battlefield is in chaos. Zhang Fong comically tries to hold back a giant fish monster, pleading for no one to harm his wife this time. In a bizarre display of affection, the drunk Zhang Fong lovingly embraces the monster, much to everyone's confusion. His wife, the fishman commander, doesn't appreciate the sentiment and sends him flying with a powerful punch. Despite the bleeding nose, Zhang Fong is unfazed, even finding her hot-tempered personality attractive. A status window confirms he's in a drunken state, which reduces damage taken. The surrounding players are in disbelief, wondering who this man is and how he could possibly withstand the fishman commander's roar and even attract all of its hatred onto himself. Elsewhere, the team captain, Zhang Kai, observes the scene, initially annoyed that his teammates, including Guan Yu, disregarded his orders and followed him into battle. His teammates declare their loyalty, exclaiming that they would never abandon their captain. Zhang Kai is taken aback by their declaration. Suddenly, his teammate Guan Yu steps forward, unleashing a powerful spell she calls the Invincible Rain Prayer, amidst the army of fishmen. A fellow teammate urges Captain Zhang Kai to hurry, as Guan Yu can't hold on for much longer due to the large level gap between her and the fishman commander. Meanwhile, the persistent Zhang Fong gets back on his feet, still eager to confront the fishman commander he calls his wife. Zhang Kai looks on, his expression hardening with determination as he assesses the unfolding situation. A slight, confident smirk appears on his face as he resigns himself to his team's stubborn loyalty, thinking to himself that he really can't do anything about them. The other players are confused by Guan Yu's spell, questioning the use of a rain-praying spell in a battle, and wondering if the fishmen are supposed to drown in the rain. Guan Yu scoffs at their ignorance, chiding them for not understanding basic physics, while in the background, Zhang Kai tells his team he's leaving it to them. Suddenly, a player shouts in alarm, telling everyone to look up at the sky. The sky darkens ominously, and what looked like rain begins to fall between the icy cliffs. It's not rain that's falling from the sky, it's a super large hailstorm. The massive hailstones begin to bombard the entire area, causing chaos as players cry out in confusion, wondering why the spell is attacking both friend and foe. Guan Yu laughs triumphantly, explaining that by taking advantage of the frozen island's cold weather, her rain prayer naturally turned into huge hail. She boasts that she can now beat up 200,000 people at once. She reminds Captain K of their plan. As long as her rain spells hinder the enemy's movement, they'll become his targets. Zhang Kai confirms the plan is working. The hail has attracted the attention of all the fishmen, preventing them from using their roar attacks and making them easy targets before the main boss fight. The strategy is a massive success, as the hailstorm relentlessly pummels the fishman army. Guan Yu shouts a heartfelt reminder to her captain. Remember, we are a team, you don't have to fight alone. Her words strike a chord with Zhang Kai. For a moment, his hardened expression softens as he looks genuinely touched by his team's unwavering support. Thanks to their combined effort, a commander fishman is finally brought down. As the other players celebrate the hard-won victory, Zhang Fong comically weeps on the ground, crying out that they killed his wife again. With a smirk, Zhang Kai admits he underestimated his teammates, acknowledging that he doesn't want to be alone. He then adds that thanks to their help, he can now deal with the remaining nuisances on the battlefield. Zhang Kai unleashes a devastating wave of fire, incinerating the remaining lesser fishmen with ease. Engulfed in a fiery aura, He stands as the sole figure remaining amidst the defeated monsters. The leaders of the other guilds are left in utter shock, exclaiming, "What? Zhang Kai killed all the commander-level fishmen." The other players are equally stunned, shouting that it took more than a dozen of their teams just to hold the line. They marvel at his amazing and strange power. With the lesser enemies cleared, Zhang Kai leaps forward, boasting that with his enhanced attributes, a critical hit is guaranteed. His confidence soars as he declares that with his current power, not even the King of Heaven himself could stop him now. He finally arrives before the main boss, the Fishman King, casually remarking how it looked amazing from afar. Now that he's closer, however, he bluntly tells the colossal boss that it looks incredibly ugly. The boss's health bar shows it's still at 35%. The guild leaders watch in disbelief, shouting that it's impossible for that kid to have actually gotten in front of the boss so easily. The other players wonder if Zhang Kai is really going to attempt to fight the main boss all by himself. But his teammate, Wanyu, has complete faith in him, cupping her hands around her mouth to shout encouragement. "Go, Captain!" Zhang Kai responds with a confident "of course," as he lunges towards the enormous Fishman King. The Fishman King lets out a menacing growl, preparing to counter the bold challenger. A nearby player shouts a warning, realizing that the boss is about to unleash its powerful berserk attack again. Convinced that Zhang Kai won't be able to withstand the incredible speed and damage, the boss unleashes a furious roar and a devastating strike. But to everyone's astonishment, Zhang Kai effortlessly dodges the supposedly unbeatable attack with incredible speed. Zhang Kai calmly assesses the attack, noting that the boss isn't actually that fast. To him, it's clearly slow enough to dodge, unlike the previous foe, Huang family's ace. Instead of simply dodging, he questions why the previous fighter chose to take the attack head-on, just as he himself moves to block the boss's massive weapon. A confident smile plays on his lips as he perfectly executes his maneuver. The crowd is speechless. They can't believe their eyes, with one player shouting, "Am I seeing things? This guy actually dodged all the attacks from the boss." Wanyu cheers, proud of her captain's skill, while the dumbfounded guild leaders wonder if Zhang Kai's agility is actually higher than the boss's. With breathtaking agility, Zhang Kai runs up the boss's own weapon, using it as a ramp to launch himself into the air, positioning himself for a powerful counterattack. As the boss swings its weapon in a futile attempt to hit him, Zhang Kai easily evades and mocks its speed, simply stating, "Too slow," before preparing to strike from above. From the air, Zhang Kai unleashes a fiery kick, shouting, "Get lost." His attack lands with explosive force, engulfing the Fishman King in a massive blast. The boss growls in pain as the attack visibly takes a toll. A system window shows its health has plummeted from 35% down to 25%. The onlookers are completely stunned, shouting in disbelief. From 35% to 25%? That bloodthirsty killer actually took off 10% of the boss's HP in one hit. One of the guild leaders points out that even their ace, Jiang Fong, would have needed to attack for 10 minutes to deal that much damage. Another player can only stare in awe, wondering, just what kind of damage is that? Enraged, the Fishman King finally rises to its feet, letting out a furious roar as it plants its weapon firmly in the ice. The massive boss now stands tall, finally treating Zhang Kai as a serious threat. It dwarfs Zhang Kai, who stands calmly before it, completely unintimidated. The crowd is shocked once more. One leader yells, "What?" Jiang Fong couldn't even get the boss to stand up and respond. Even Zhang Kai's own teammates are in awe, while a flashback shows their ace, Jiang Fong, lying defeated before the previously seated boss. The battered Jiang Fong looks on, stunned, as he realizes that Zhang Kai has actually forced the boss to go all out. Zhang Kai smirks, taunting the giant creature. "Oh, you finally know how to use your legs?" The boss unleashes its powerful roar attack once again, sending waves of sonic force across the battlefield. But Zhang Kai is prepared, stating confidently, "Humph, I won't fall for the same trick twice," as he easily dodges the sonic rings. The boss follows up with a massive punch, but Zhang Kai has already moved, leaving the beast to smash nothing but ice. The force of the blow sends ice and players flying. The onlookers wonder if the powerful blow killed the bloodthirsty killer. But Zhang Kai reappears unharmed, looking up at the boss and stating calmly, "Death? You're targeting the wrong person." He lunges forward again, this time aiming his attack directly at the boss's massive trident. With a powerful strike, he shatters the weapon, sending fragments of it flying across the ice. The Fishman King is left stunned and disarmed, growling in frustration. Zhang Kai stands amidst a swirl of energy, coolly observing the now weaponless boss. "Ah, I see you don't have any weapon," he says before sarcastically adding, "So, you don't know how to fight." The battlefield erupts in disbelief. "What? He even destroyed the boss's weapons?" One player screams. The onlookers question what kind of monster Zhang Kai is, wondering if a boss's weapon has ever been shattered before. Declaring the fight a waste of time now that the boss is disarmed, Zhang Kai ignites his claws with fire. He lunges forward to finish it, shouting, "Let's end this quickly." He lands a devastating, fiery blow right into the boss's gut. The Fishman King groans in agony as its health drops another 10%, now down to just 15%. Without giving the beast a moment to recover, Zhang Kai winds up another punch, shouting, "Let's continue." He unleashes another explosive punch, relentlessly pummeling the weakened boss. The boss lets out a final, agonizing roar as its health drops to a critical 8%, leaving it on the verge of death. Surrounded by a fiery aura, Zhang Kai confronts the Fishman King, his voice dripping with contempt. He questions the king's audacity for still showing its arrogant face. In a close-up, Zhang Kai's expression is one of pure disdain as he declares he's long been fed up with the Fishman King's arrogant demeanor. With immense power, Zhang Kai unleashes a massive, explosive attack directly at the colossal Fishman King, engulfing the battlefield in light and debris. As the explosion rages, Zhang Kai declares that it's time for the Fishman King to meet its end. The sheer force of the attack sends shockwaves through the onlookers. The leader of the Huang clan and his subordinates stare in disbelief, while in another area, other adventurers, including a woman with pink hair, look on with a mix of awe and terror at the raging blue monster. The hulking blue Fishman King roars in fury. Elsewhere, the purple-haired Wan Yu watches the scene unfold with a confident, sinister smirk. In response, the Fishman King brings its massive fist crashing down with murderous intent, aiming to obliterate its opponent. Watching the battle from a distance, Zhang Fong stands with a calm and collected expression, observing the chaos with a sharp gaze. The Fishman King collapses to the ground, heavily wounded and bleeding from the devastating blow it just received. A system window appears, confirming the catastrophic damage. The boss's health has plummeted to a critical 1% remaining. The leader of the Huang clan looks on in utter shock and disbelief, his face a mask of outrage at what just transpired. He can't believe it. Not only did Zhang Kai defeat the boss, but he did it without taking a single point of damage himself. Meanwhile, two high-ranking military commanders, Lu Jun and Commander Wei, observe from afar. Lu Jun notes that there seems to be no need for their intervention. Commander Wei agrees with a sly smile, admitting he never expected the turning point of the battle to be this particular person. His gaze falls upon Zhang Kai, acknowledging that the young man, whom he holds in high regard, has finished dealing with the hail and is now ready to finish the boss. Panic sets in for the leader of the Huang clan. He screams that the boss has only a sliver of health left, and they absolutely cannot let Zhang Kai be the one to kill it. He issues a new command to all members of the Xuanwu Guild. They are to abandon their fight with the fishmen and focus all their efforts on killing the bloodthirsty killer, Zhang Kai. With a furious expression, he declares a bounty. Whoever kills Zhang Kai will be rewarded with 50 million Xingyao coins. Then comes the threat. If they let Zhang Kai take the boss, none of them will get a single penny of their promised reward after the battle. The guild members are stunned into silence, shocked by this sudden and treacherous command from their leader. The members begin to panic. For them, this isn't about glory but survival. One worries how his family will survive the next month without payment, while another needs the money for his child's medical treatment. The grim reality sets in. One of the members shouts that they have to forget the fishmen and kill Zhang Kai, otherwise they're all doomed. The members exchange grim, silent glances, their resolve hardening as they accept their new, grim task. United by greed and desperation, their eyes glow red with murderous intent. The members of the Xuanwu Guild turn on Zhang Kai as one, screaming for his death. Ignoring the remaining fishmen, the entire guild charges forward in a chaotic wave. They are no longer soldiers, but a desperate mob racing to claim the bounty on Zhang Kai's head. Unfazed by the charging mob, Zhang Kai looks on with a smirk. He notes how disgusting it is that the Huang family, who were incapable of taking the boss themselves, now threaten to kill him just as he's about to succeed. He then turns his attention to the wounded warrior he is supporting, Zhang Fong, the ace of the Huang family, and casually asks if he's still alive. Zhang Fong, confused and wary, questions Zhang Kai's motives. He asks what the bloodthirsty killer wants from him, wondering why he doesn't just finish off the crippled boss himself. Zhang Kai smiles mysteriously. He admits he's good at weakening monsters, but cheekily asks whoever said he was going to be the one to steal the boss kill. He explains his reasoning. If he took the boss, the wealthy Huang family would barely feel the loss. However, the 200,000 families of the regular adventurers, being held hostage for the rewards, would be the ones to truly suffer. Standing before the nearly dead Fishman King, Zhang Kai points out that Zhang Fong, despite his injuries, is still representing the Huang family. With a calm but firm expression, Zhang Kai makes an unbelievable request. He asks Zhang Fong to be the one to deliver the final blow. Zhang Fong is utterly stunned by the proposal, unable to comprehend why his enemy would simply give away the final kill. From a distance, Zhang Kai urges him to hurry. He points out that the mob is closing in to attack him and presses Zhang Fong to do him this one favor. Understanding dawns on Zhang Fong. He accepts the request, and a powerful blue energy begins to coalesce around his body as he prepares to strike. With his decision made, he takes a determined step forward towards the downed boss. With a quiet thank you, Zhang Fong unleashes his final attack, plunging his energized fist directly into the Fishman King's body. The Fishman King lets out a final, agonizing scream as the attack lands, its massive body writhing in pain. The boss's body goes limp as a system window confirms the inevitable. Its health has reached 0. It is finally defeated. The remaining adventurers on the icy battlefield look on as the dust settles, unsure of what just happened. A massive system announcement flashes across the sky for all to see, declaring the victor of the long-fought battle. The adventurers read the message in disbelief. It wasn't the bloodthirsty killer who got the final blow. It was their own master Jiang Fong who killed the boss. As the Fishman King's body begins to dissolve into blue light, its reign of terror is officially over. With their king defeated, the remaining Fishman monsters are seen diving back into the icy waters, confused and leaderless. An adventurer shouts what everyone is thinking. The massive Fishman army is finally retreating. The members of the Xuanwu Guild are overjoyed. Their own lord killed the boss, which means the bloodthirsty killer didn't steal it, and most importantly, they will get their rewards. The leader of the Huang clan, however, is furious and confused. He can't understand how they won, or how Jiang Fong was the one to kill the boss. His subordinate wonders if Jiang Kai was behind this. The shocking truth begins to dawn on him. Did Jiang Kai, the feared bloodthirsty killer, voluntarily give up the opportunity to kill the boss? The other adventurers erupt in celebration. One joyfully exclaims that they have won, and it turns out the bloodthirsty killer is actually a good guy. Another declares him a great hero for giving up the boss, vowing to go to war with anyone who dares to touch their new benefactor. The sentiment spreads like wildfire. The pink-haired adventurer, Su Nuanyuan, is completely starstruck by his actions, remarking how amazing and magnanimous Kai was. Her companion agrees enthusiastically, shouting that it was so cool. An older, high-ranking adventurer declares that seeing is believing. He is now truly convinced that Jiang Kai is the biggest hero of this entire battle. Wanyu beams with pride, boasting about how powerful and generous her captain is. She smugly reminds everyone that she was the one who picked him as the captain in the first place. The crowd's sentiment turns against the Huang family. Adventurers recall how disgusting their threats were, angry that the guild expected them to die for a failed plan and still bear the costs. The anger boils over. All around the battlefield, adventurers publicly renounce their affiliation, shouting, "I'm quitting the Xuanwu Guild," and cursing the leader as a capitalist dog. The leader's subordinate reports the disastrous news. 200,000 people are quitting the guild and posting negative comments, causing the clan's reputation to plummet. Consumed by pure rage, his face contorted in fury and his eyes glowing red, the leader of the Huang clan seethes. He swears to himself that he will remember the name Jiang Kai. He makes a tactical retreat, ordering his subordinate to leave for now, vowing that they will definitely take their revenge on Jiang Kai next time. With the battle over, Jiang Fong formally introduces himself to Jiang Kai, admitting that he owes him a big favor for letting him get the kill. Jiang Fong smirks, his curiosity getting the better of him. He admits he really wants to know just how Jiang Kai managed to get such overwhelmingly powerful attributes. Jiang Kai introduces himself and offers a simple explanation. He got his powerful attributes from a one-time use skill. Jiang Fong is amazed that such a skill could even exist. Jiang Kai downplays it, saying the skill wasn't actually that strong because it's gone after a single use. Jiang Fong begins to ask a follow-up question, but is cut off. Jiang Kai continues, revealing that his plan worked because he simply took advantage of the system's bloodthirsty killer punishment mechanism. Suddenly, before he can explain further, the ground trembles. Blue, fleshy tentacles erupt from the dead Fishman King's body and lash out, catching Jiang Kai completely by surprise. Jiang Fong shouts his name in alarm as the tentacles rapidly wrap around Jiang Kai, pulling him off his feet and dragging him back towards the boss's corpse. From Jiang Fong's perspective, he can only watch in horror as Jiang Kai is lifted into the air, completely engulfed by the writhing mass of tentacles. Jiang Kai struggles, but is powerless as the tentacles fully consume him, his muffled cries echoing as he disappears into the dark, monstrous appendages, leaving the chapter on a tense cliffhanger. Following the intense battle, Wanyu is thrown back by a powerful force, landing heavily on the cliff's edge. Huyen, seeing this, desperately shouts for their missing captain. Huyen rushes to the exhausted Wanyu's side, asking if Jiang Kai is his captain. Wanyu, kneeling in defeat, confirms with a simple yes. With a grim expression, Wanyu begins to explain the dire situation, filled with regret. He reveals his terrifying suspicion. Jiang Kai has most likely triggered the boss's death revenge skill. Huyan's face contorts in shock and disbelief. Wanyu explains that death revenge is a horrifying special skill some bosses possess. Upon death, they can inflict a terrible curse on their killer. Once the boss successfully takes revenge, the explorer is subjected to an extremely gruesome punishment. Being tortured to death is merely the beginning of their nightmare. But the true horror unfolds after the person returns to the real world. The memories of the torture are so unbearable that they often can't endure it. Haunted by the psychological trauma, many are driven to madness, begging for a release that will never come, ultimately choosing to end their own lives. The horrifying realization washes over Huyen. Her body trembles as she imagines Captain Kai suffering such an unspeakable fate. Tears well up in her eyes as she desperately pleads, "No, don't." The scene shifts to a dark, watery abyss, representing Jiang Kai's submerged consciousness. A faint cry for the captain echoes through the depths. Meanwhile, Jiang Kai is experiencing the full force of the curse. Excruciating pain racks his body as he feels like he's being crushed from all sides. His consciousness flickers. Disoriented, his mind struggles to grasp his surroundings as he weakly questions where he is. Suddenly, a horrifying sight comes into view. He is being held captive by the vengeful spirit of the slain boss, a monstrous creature with countless glowing green tentacles. The monster's face is a grotesque mask of hatred, its glowing yellow eyes fixed on him with malevolent intent. The torture begins as one of the phantom tentacles pierces his body, sending a wave of agony through him. Jiang Kai cries out in pain as he feels something foreign growing and spreading within his body, a parasitic corruption from the boss's hatred. In this moment of despair, a system window appears with a critical warning. His one-time skill, Casino Pickpocket, along with its stolen attributes, will disappear in just 20 seconds. A sudden realization dawns on Jiang Kai. He understands that the only reason he's still alive under this relentless torture is due to the support of those temporary attributes. The countdown to his demise has begun. As the timer ticks down, he knows with chilling certainty that the instant the attributes disappear, he will die. The monster's voice, dripping with malice, echoes in his mind, promising to kill him. A system prompt confirms his fears, identifying the creature as the boss's remaining shadow of hatred. With no other choice, Jiang Kai lets out a defiant roar, activating his last resort. Ghost Armor Voiding. As the countdown hurtles into the single digits, a powerful energy erupts from Jiang Kai's body. The Ghost Armor Voiding skill successfully purges the corrupting influence of the boss's hatred. The immediate threat is gone, and for a brief moment, there's a spark of hope in his eyes. He looks at his hands, wondering if his body has been returned to its original state. But the crisis is far from over. However, the monster's final attack is still coming. With the countdown nearing its end and his strength depleted, Jiang Kai knows he's too weak to dodge. He braces himself, preparing to give it his all in one final stand. A system prompt gives him a sliver of hope, instructing him to use his weapons. With newfound resolve, Jiang Kai decides to take advantage of the last few seconds of his stolen attributes. He leaps into the air, blades ready, determined to use every last bit of his temporary power to fight back and destroy the remnants of the curse. He lands firmly, bracing as his counterattack connects, unleashing a wave of energy. The Ghost Armor Voiding skill culminates in a massive explosion, obliterating the boss's shadow of hatred completely. As the light fades, Jiang Kai stands victorious, a relieved smile on his face. He lets out a sigh, believing his ordeal is finally over. But his relief is short-lived. A mysterious, ethereal woman appears before him as a system message pops up, congratulating him not only for escaping the death revenge, but also for discovering an undiscovered secret treasure zone. The system officially welcomes him to the underground Fishman Kingdom, revealing that his voiding skill did more than just save him. It transported him somewhere new. The scene pulls back to reveal a breathtaking sight, a massive, frozen citadel with towering doors, a hidden kingdom buried deep beneath the earth. Another message clarifies his location. He has stumbled upon the secret treasure hall of the frozen Fishman Lord. Jiang Kai stands in awe before the colossal doors, flanked by flaming braziers, realizing he's at the very heart of the boss's territory. The spectral guide informs him that a new countdown is about to begin. The entire hall will be destroyed in 10 minutes, and he must collect as many treasures as he can and escape before then. Jiang Kai is shocked and panicked. Another countdown? He frantically asks what the consequences are if he fails to get out in time. The system's response is grim. Failure to escape will result in death, and any treasure he has collected will disappear. The only way to keep his loot is to make it out alive. Without any further warning, the ground begins to tremble and crack. The destruction has already started, catching Jiang Kai completely by surprise. Realizing there's no time to waste, he quickly assesses the situation. The mission is simple, if not insane. Collect as much treasure as possible and escape. He braces himself to run. With his life and a massive fortune on the line, a determined glint appears in his eyes. He has no choice but to try. He rushes forward and pushes open the gigantic doors to the treasure hall, stepping through the glowing threshold into the unknown. Jiang Kai is completely stunned. The doors open to reveal a massive cavern overflowing with mountains of gold, sparkling crystals, and countless treasure chests. It's a pirate's dream come true. Amidst the glittering hoard, a system notification congratulates him on discovering a particularly valuable find. 3 Fishmen's secret potions, which can grant him a total of 60 attribute points. With the hall's destruction timer ticking down, Jiang Kai doesn't hesitate. He grabs the potions and decides to drink them on the spot. As the system asks where to allocate the points, he spills some of the potion in his haste. He gives a swift command to add all 60 points into agility, prioritizing speed for the escape. His frantic looting pays off again as he immediately uncovers another grand prize, the boss's rare treasure chest. He grins, thrilled by the sheer quality of the loot, noting that none of the items seem to be ranked lower than A rank. He quickly glances at the main timer, about 7 minutes left. Feeling a surge of confidence, He believes he can clear the place out if he just hurries. Just as he thinks he has a handle on the situation, the system throws another wrench in his plans. A friendly reminder pops up, warning him that the boss's treasure chest has its own separate, rapidly decaying lifespan of only 90 seconds. His confidence evaporates, replaced by shock. Even the treasure itself is on a timer. With the chest's 90-second timer now ticking down, Zhang Kai frantically shoves loot into his inventory. He has to be faster. In the background, his teammates are shown still valiantly fending off monsters, completely unaware of his situation. 90 seconds later, Zhang Kai is utterly exhausted, slumped over the now empty treasure chest. He managed to clear it out just in the nick of time. Just as he's about to move on, he spots a small pot left inside the chest. The system congratulates him on discovering Tears of Repentance, an item that can eliminate his troublesome, bloodthirsty killer status. He can't believe his luck. He runs through the cavern, overjoyed. Not only did he get a mountain of treasure, but he also managed to clear his negative status. He celebrates, yelling, "What a steal!" But in the middle of his celebration, his eyes catch sight of something in a dark corner of the collapsing cavern. He discovers one final prize resting on a pedestal in a hidden alcove, an ancient scroll. The system congratulates him on finding the ultimate treasure, a special job transfer scroll, which is necessary for an explorer to advance after reaching level 20. Zhang Kai is stunned into silence. He realizes that with this scroll, he can finally complete his special level 20 job change, a pivotal moment in his journey. The next day, back on the icy plains of the Ghost Star, the scene is quiet and somber. Believing their captain is dead, Hu Yen and Wanyu have created a makeshift memorial for him. Wanyu mourns, lamenting that Zhang Kai never returned, just as he had morbidly predicted. They both weep dramatically, convinced that Zhang Kai suffered a horrible death from the curse and was then driven to suicide by the trauma. Suddenly, a gloved hand appears over the edge of the cliff, struggling to get a grip on the icy surface. Hu Yen spots the movement and, assuming it's an enemy, yells to Wanyu that another fisherman is climbing up. The two immediately get into a defensive posture, vowing to protect their captain's tombstone from any monster that dares to disturb his rest. Thinking they are defending their captain's honor, they hit the climber on the head with a rock, sending him falling back down the cliff. An enraged voice echoes up from the chasm. "Which bastard is it? I almost reached the top," as the figure plummets into the darkness. Hu Yen and Wanyu are taken aback, confused by the unexpected response from the monster they just attacked. While Wanyu yells down an insult for the ugly fish, Hu Yen pauses, a flicker of recognition on her face as she realizes the voice sounds incredibly familiar. Their confusion turns to shock as laughter echoes across the ice, and they see a figure running towards them. It's Zhang Kai, alive and well, cheerfully greeting them as if nothing happened. "Long time no see, Hu Yen and Wanyu." After a moment of stunned silence, the two break into relieved, albeit slightly awkward laughter. Hu Yen admits she didn't expect to miss him after just one day. Zhang Kai's smile instantly vanishes, replaced by a look of pure fury. Sprouting dark wings, he charges at them, screaming, "You two traitors want to kill your captain? How dare you hit me?" His teammates panic, frantically shouting apologies and insisting that they didn't attack him on purpose. The scene shifts away from the Ghost Star, back to a futuristic metropolis on Earth, the Jiangzhou City Ghost Star login base. Inside, a meeting is taking place. In a high-tech boardroom, several powerful figures are discussing Zhang Kai. A subordinate reports that while they couldn't find his offline location, they discovered that his sudden increase in attributes was due to a one-time use skill, revealing that Zhang Kai's incredible feats have not gone unnoticed. In a high-level meeting, an old commander with gray hair scoffs at the idea that they need to train Supreme Ones if a level 20 kid can just change tens of thousands of attributes. A red-haired analyst beside him considers the fate of Zhang Kai. He notes that those who face the boss's revenge are already dead and wonders if Zhang Kai is still being tortured. Another colleague, a man with long blonde hair, chimes in, convinced that the kid is definitely screwed after being tortured for so long. However, the red-haired analyst warns the commander not to use common sense when it comes to Zhang Kai. The commander's expression turns serious as he considers a different outcome. He wonders if it's possible that Zhang Kai not only survived the boss's revenge, but even discovered its secret treasure. The blonde-haired man immediately dismisses the idea as impossible. He elaborates that in the 50 years since the Ghost Star appeared, only a handful of people have ever survived a boss's revenge and obtained the secret treasure, and all of them were top-tier Supreme Ones. The red-haired man agrees, adding that since Zhang Kai has only been on the Ghost Star for about a month, he doesn't believe he stood a chance. Despite their logical arguments, the commander leans back in his chair, a contemplative look on his face. His instincts are telling him something different about this kid. Suddenly, the door bursts open and a female officer rushes in, shouting for Commander Wei. She frantically announces that someone is posting items on the private trade. A comical silence falls over the room as the three men stare blankly, stunned by the sudden and confusing interruption. The blonde-haired man and the red-haired analyst look at her, bewildered. They ask who she's talking about and why it's necessary to report a simple private trade. The female officer shouts Jiang Kai's name, revealing that not only did he not die, but he has opened a private trade space on the Ghost Star. She delivers the final, shocking piece of news. The total value of the items he sold was more than 400 million Xingyao coins. The two analysts are utterly flabbergasted, their eyes wide with shock and disbelief at the astronomical figure. A few minutes later, they examine the trade records. A screen displays Kai's cart, showing the first sale, 1.8 kilograms of green ghost ores, worth an incredible 18 million Xingyao coins. The next item leaves them even more stunned. He also sold 3 kilograms of a special grade white iron crystal stone, which alone was worth 63 million. As they scroll through the list, they see more high-value items: strong iron crystal, black iron crystal, obsidian steel fossil, and more. The total quickly adds up to over 100 million. The two men scream in unison, their faces contorted in shock. They can't believe this kid really made 400 million. To sell so many items at once could only mean one thing. Commander Wei lets out a hearty laugh. He was right all along. He proudly exclaims that he told them Jiang Kai could find the boss's secret treasure, and the kid didn't disappoint. Just then, the female officer interrupts his celebration to report that the Huang family has suddenly arrived and wants to talk to him. A few hours later, the scene shifts to the Ghost Star's item trading office. Jiang Kai, having successfully sold his loot, mutters to himself about how he had so many things he had to open a private space to sell them. His companions, Huyen and Ruanyu, are with him. Huyen tells him it's not a loss, because he had so much loot it was the only way to sell it. Ruanyu jokingly calls it fun trouble. Jiang Kai agrees and smiles, telling them he also kept a lot of good things for them. He announces it's time to split the boss spoils, making Huyen and Ruanyu's eyes light up with excitement. He presents the first item to Huyen, a black ice jade. It's a B-grade piece of equipment that adds a freezing effect to her skills, potentially allowing her to cast a blizzard. Next, Jiang Kai presents a stack of old parchments, explaining that in addition to the equipment, he also got some eternal pages that can be used to upgrade skills. An infographic explains that there are 2 ways to improve skill levels. The first is using a special skill book for a specific profession, which is typically found only in monster treasure chests or from special tasks. The other method is using universal upgrade items like the ones he got from the Fishman Lord's treasure chest, the eternal pages, which can improve the level of any skill. The immense value of these pages is highlighted. As a treasure of rigid demand, a single page can sell for 500,000 Xingyao coins and will be snatched up instantly on the trade market. Furthermore, the number of eternal pages required to upgrade a skill varies depending on its strength. More powerful, combat-oriented skills require significantly more pages. Jiang Kai generously tells his friends to take the eternal pages first, leaving Huyen and Ruanyu completely speechless and stunned. As he stands triumphantly on a mountain of gold and cash, he tells them to enjoy themselves. At this moment, in Huyen and Ruanyu's eyes, Jiang Kai is a radiant god of wealth. Overcome with emotion, they lunge at him, grabbing onto his legs and crying out, "Captain Kai!" With tears streaming down their faces, they declare they will pray for his great kindness every day, proclaiming that even if he dies, his soul will go to heaven. The scene turns comical as Jiang Kai, embarrassed, tries to get them to let go, reminding them they're in the middle of the street. Their commotion attracts the attention of a passing group. The leader of the group, a burly man in ornate white armor and sunglasses, looks down on them with disdain. He scoffs, asking if Jiang Kai even knows what embarrassment is. He arrogantly continues, insulting them as a bunch of low-class people and commoner bastards who don't care about their image. Jiang Kai recognizes the man, muttering his name, Huangda. Beside him, Huyen and Ruanyu look on in confusion, asking who he is. Huangda issues a warning to Jiang Kai, telling him not to be arrogant just because he has the military's protection after going against the Huang family. His eyes glow red with menace as he declares his intention. He will mercilessly slaughter Jiang Kai in the guild challenge to prove to the military that he's a useless bastard not worth protecting. As Huangda and his cronies turn to leave, he delivers a final threat. "Once the military gives up on you, be prepared to die in my hands." Jiang Kai watches them walk away, his gaze sharp and unwavering in the face of the blatant threat. He turns to his friends, confused. "Guild challenge? What's that? What is Huangda talking about?" Huyen is shocked he doesn't know. She begins to explain that the Guild Challenge is a competition held by the military to screen out powerful guild forces. She pulls up a holographic bracket, explaining that the challenge has a minimum entry of level 21 and is divided into 4 level brackets. Guilds send teams of 5 to compete, with the top 3 in each level being decided. Because the military gives out generous rewards to the top 3 in each level, many powerful guilds participate every time, making the competition fierce. Jiang Kai is still puzzled. In a chibi-like thought bubble, he wonders why Huangda would challenge him, since he didn't even participate in the challenge. Deciding not to dwell on it, Jiang Kai says goodbye to his friends. He tells them he needs to go offline for a while to visit his family, and they happily wave him off from a balcony. Inside the hospital room, Jiang Kai, now back in his everyday clothes, greets his older brother who is recovering in bed. He cheerfully explains that he brought some nutritional supplements, worried his brother wouldn't recover well after his surgery. His brother, however, seems at a loss for words, starting to question just how much Kai bought. The answer is revealed to be a ridiculously large mountain of lavishly wrapped gifts and supplements, so much that it has to be wheeled in on a dolly. All his brother can think to himself is that this is way too much. In a comical chibi-style exchange, Jong Kai innocently asks if the amount of supplements is too much, while his brother Riley comments that the hospital room now resembles a grain warehouse. His brother's expression turns serious with worry. He reminds Kai that he's already in the most expensive hospital and frets about the spending, declaring he'll get back to work as soon as he's discharged to help with the financial pressure. Jong Kai smiles warmly, telling his brother it's okay. He reminds him of his dream to become a transcendent and fight against the beast god for humanity. He encourages him to pursue that dream after leaving the hospital and just become an explorer, leaving his brother stunned and speechless. Looking downcast, his brother dismisses the idea. He questions how he could possibly become an explorer in his current physical condition and mentions the prohibitive cost of going to a ghost planet, saying it's enough that Kai alone can go. In response, Jong Kai simply taps his watch, activating a function. He projects a holographic display showing his bank balance, a staggering 419,623,047.16 Shengyao coins. He tells his brother there's no need to worry about money or work anymore. His brother's jaw drops in utter disbelief. In a panicked chibi reaction, his brother stammers, unable to comprehend the number. Kai, where did you get so much money? This is hundreds of millions. Jong Kai explains that it's all money he earned honestly on the ghost planet. He tells his brother that after years of working hard for him and their sister Ingzi, he can finally live the life he wants. A flashback shows his brother, then just a mortal, bravely carrying a young Jong Kai and Ingzi through a fiery battlefield. Jong Kai says he remembers how his brother saved them. Jong Kai smiles, full of conviction. He believes that if his brother becomes an explorer, he'll be able to save even more people. His brother is deeply moved by the faith Jong Kai has in him, breaking into a nervous sweat. He clenches the bedsheets, his mind racing. Could someone like him, with his current body, really become a superhuman? A symbolic image appears. An apple, held in two hands, is cleanly split in half, representing a shared future and a new path. Jong Kai extends half of the apple to his brother, his voice filled with gentle encouragement. Brother, you can definitely do it. Leaving the hospital, Jong Kai feels a wave of relief and happiness. His brother has finally regained his dream. He decides they must celebrate after he picks up their sister, Ingzi, from school. Lost in his happy thoughts as he walks away from the hospital, he is suddenly startled by a loud noise. A military jeep screeches to a stop beside him, and the man from the commander's office, Lu Jun, leans out yelling, Jong Kai, come here. Follow me. Jong Kai recognizes him. Brother Lu Jun, are you here to see me? He tries to wave him off, saying he doesn't have time as he needs to pick up his sister from school. Sitting in the jeep, Lu Jun's expression is grim and urgent. He tells Jong Kai, I came to see you because of your sister. Your sister Jong Ying got into an accident. The words hit Jong Kai like a physical blow. His world stops, and his eyes widen in pure shock and horror. The chapter opens on a scene of chaos. A bus lies overturned on a city street, its metal frame twisted and broken amidst smoke and debris. A desperate cry cuts through the noise as Jong Kai screams his sister's name, his face a mask of pure terror. He sprints frantically through the wreckage, pushing past the crowd, his eyes darting around as he continues to shout for Ingzi. Watching from the sidelines are two men, Lu Jun with his red hair and glasses, and his blonde-haired companion, both observing the scene with grim expressions. Suddenly, Jong Kai's expression shifts. Tears of relief well up in his eyes as he spots something, or someone in the crowd, murmuring the word brother. From amidst the crowd, a cheerful voice calls out. It's his sister, Ingzi, waving her hand high in the air to get his attention, looking completely unharmed. Jong Kai rushes to her side, grabbing her shoulders in relief. He asks what happened, and Ingzi explains that her school bus was in an accident. She quickly reassures him, pointing towards someone else. She says a big brother saved her, and that he even claimed to know Jong Kai. The man who saved her steps forward. It's Zhang Fong, with his distinct white hair and red eyes. He greets Jong Kai with a calm smile and a wave. Jong Kai is stunned. He recognizes the man, questioning how the Huang family's supreme, Zhang Fong, could possibly be here. Just then, Lu Jun and his companions approach the group. He addresses Jong Kai with a grave tone, telling him the most important point is that his sister's bus crash was no accident. Both Jong Kai and Ingzi are shocked as Lu Jun reveals the truth. The accident was secretly orchestrated by the Huang family. Lu Jun explains the motive. Jong Kai has embarrassed the Huang family multiple times, and their hatred has grown. Now, they've used the military merit they gained from defeating the Frozen Island boss to force the military to stop protecting him. The scene flashes to an image of Commander Wei, sitting alone in the dark. The military merit was too significant, and he was forced to compromise under pressure from above. But Lu Jun adds, he still left a chance for Jiang Kai. In a flashback, we see Commander Wei during the negotiation. He brought up the upcoming guild challenge, proposing a condition. If the Huang family could defeat Jiang Kai in the challenge match, only then would the military agree to their request. A close-up on Commander Wei's face shows his inner turmoil. He hopes Jiang Kai will give in this time, as it's the only way Wei has an excuse to protect him from the Huang family's wrath. The flashback shows the conclusion of that negotiation. A handshake between a representative of the Huang family and Commander Wei, sealing the manipulative deal. Back in the present, Lu Jun looks at Jiang Kai grimly. He tells him that this is the limit of what they can do for him, and that today's incident was the Huang family's way of forcing him to participate in the challenge. An ominous vision fills the screen, illustrating the threat. Monstrous figures from the Huang family loom over a helpless Ingzi. If he doesn't comply, his family will suffer. The full weight of the situation crashes down on Jiang Kai. His eyes widen in a mixture of shock, disbelief, and a rising cold fury. Lu Jun apologizes, explaining that the Huang family is extremely powerful and their military merit has swayed people in high places. As long as they don't attack directly, the military can only turn a blind eye to this kind of intimidation. The blonde-haired man speaks up, lighting a cigarette. He lays out the first option. Jiang Kai can agree to the bet with the Huang family and face them in the challenge. Jiang Fong then presents the alternative. The other option is to join the military as soon as possible and receive official, direct protection. Ingzi, frightened by the whole ordeal, peeks out from behind her brother. She worriedly asks if the military can truly offer them protection against such a powerful family. Lu Jun explains that at present, Jiang Kai's new profession is a valuable asset. If he joins, Commander Wei will have more avenues to protect them, at least allowing them to avoid a lot of immediate trouble. Jiang Kai looks down, deep in thought, with Ingzi holding onto his arm. He quietly questions the path laid out for him. So I've to join the military first? His mind flashes to a horrifying vision of the future. He sees himself being held down, helpless, as his loved ones are attacked. A desperate cry echoes in his thoughts. Big brother. Ingzi. No. In this dark imagined future, a voice mocks him. Jiang Kai, did you think you could sit back and relax after joining the military? You are nothing but a worthless gambler. A waste. The words reflect his deepest fears of being powerless. His fist clenches in defiance of that vision. A resounding no echoes in his mind, rejecting that potential fate. Back in the present, Jiang Kai's internal monologue continues. He realizes that relying on the military's protection is a fragile piece. If his career development is poor, he could be abandoned, leaving his family even more vulnerable to the Huang family's oppression. He soberly assesses his situation. He acknowledges that the Huang family is a massive enterprise, and in terms of resources, wealth, and power, he is currently no match for them. But then, he remembers his ace in the hole. A system screen detailing his unique double talent appears in his mind. It doubles all his system rewards, giving him nearly twice the attribute points of others at the same level. He visualizes himself in battle, his superior stats giving him a significant advantage in total attribute points and critical damage, allowing him to overwhelm opponents of the same level. Furthermore, he knows that with the right strategy, this advantage allows him to even defeat opponents of a higher level, turning seemingly impossible fights in his favor. He puts the pieces together. Because gambler is a brand new profession, the Huang family has no idea of his true strength. This secrecy, this unknown factor, is his greatest advantage. A fire ignites in his eyes. He makes his decision. Instead of passively seeking shelter and waiting for death, it's better to take a gamble. He'll use this opportunity to make the bet with the Huang family a widely publicized event. His strategy becomes clear. If he can defeat the Huang family in a public showdown, the military will be forced to acknowledge his new profession's power and continue to protect him. At the same time, the Huang family would have to consider public opinion before daring to make a move against him again. Misunderstanding his silence, Lu Jun places a hand on his shoulder and says, "Okay, since you don't have any other opinions now, I will help you prepare the application materials for joining the military." Jiang Kai cuts him off before he can finish, turning to face him and calling out his name with newfound resolve. Brother Lu Jun. With a confident smirk, Jiang Kai lays out his own plan. The challenge match must be a 5-person team, right? I only have 3 people in my team now. Can I borrow Zhu and Nuan from the military? Lu Jun is taken aback, sweating as he tries to process the sudden change in direction. Jiang Kai, what do you mean? He exclaims. Jiang Kai stands firm and declares, I've made up my mind. I'm going to participate. Lu Jun argues back, warning him not to be impulsive, reminding him that he'll be facing the giant that is the Huang family. Jiang Kai turns toward the setting sun, a sense of peace on his face. Brother Lu Jun, don't worry, he says calmly. I am now very clear-minded and very grateful for your plans for me, but everyone has his or her own path to follow. He holds his hand up to the light, as if grasping for something. The path I choose, he declares, is to take control of my own destiny. His expression hardens with determination, a stark contrast to his earlier fear. He clenches his fist and makes his ultimate goal known. I want to defeat the Huang family in the guild challenge. Zhang Fong, Lu Jun, and the blonde-haired man look on. The blonde man, Haitian, speaks up, telling Zhang Kai he thinks he's being too impulsive. But then, Haitian's demeanor completely flips. A wide grin spreads across his face as he says, "Good. Kid, you've got guts. I support you. I'm starting to like you." Lu Jun is stunned by his companion's abrupt change of heart, turning to him in disbelief. Haitian steps forward, his earlier caution replaced by a confident grin. He reveals his powerful identity, announcing, "My name is Haitian. Even the Huang family doesn't dare to mess with me. I promise to help you and lend you people." Riding this sudden wave of powerful support, Zhang Fong also gives his firm approval. He praises Zhang Kai's courage and acknowledges the favor he owes, offering crucial protection. "I'll keep an eye on the Huang family for you," he promises. "If they try to mess with your family again, I'll let you know." Even Ingzi, in a cute chibi form, pumps her fists in the air, enthusiastically declaring, "Brother, I support you too." Lu Jun, however, is the lone voice of reason, running a hand through his hair in frustration. He turns to the other two, exclaiming, "Hey, you guys are not kids anymore. Why are you following Zhang Kai and acting on impulse?" Zhang Fong and Haitian just smirk back at him, retorting, "So what if we are both like this? What about you?" leaving a flustered Lu Jun standing between them. Sighing in defeat, Lu Jun relents. All right, I can't stop you both by myself. Anyway, Commander Wei told me to help Zhang Kai more." He then makes a promise to Zhang Kai. "So, I'll take care of your family's safety. Just focus on preparing for the challenge." Zhang Kai lights up, overjoyed by the news. Really? The deal is sealed with a firm and reassuring fist bump between Zhang Kai and Lu Jun. With his three powerful new allies, Lu Jun, Zhang Fong, and Haitian, plus the unseen support of Commander Wei, Zhang Kai now has a formidable support system. Zhang Kai bows respectfully, making a formal gesture of thanks. "I, Zhang Kai, would like to thank you all for your care today. If you need any help in the future, I will definitely help you." Later that night, the scene shifts. Zhang Kai has brought his sister to a wealthy, modern-looking suburb. Ingzi looks around, confused. "Brother, are you sure you want to come and see the house so late at night?" Walking down the clean, tree-lined street with Ingzi on his arm, Zhang Kai explains. "Well, the Huang family has completely revealed their true colors. You and brother can no longer live in a slum with poor security." They arrive in front of a stunning, multi-million-dollar villa. Ingzi is in awe, asking, "Brother, did we come to the wrong place? These are villas worth hundreds of millions. We can't afford them." Zhang Kai calmly reassures her, "No, we're not at the wrong place," as he pulls out a sleek, black VIP card and holds it up to the security scanner. With a soft beep, the high-tech door unlocks and glides open. Ingzi can only stare, her mind struggling to comprehend what's happening. He turns to her with a wide, proud grin, revealing the glittering, modern marvel behind him. "This is our new home." Ingzi's face becomes a mask of pure, unadulterated shock. "Kaya, this is our new home," she shrieks, her excitement bursting forth. She immediately starts exploring, her eyes wide with wonder as she looks out at a beautiful, sparkling private swimming pool. Her tour continues. She marvels at the massive living room, exclaiming that it's bigger than their entire old house. Then she sees the dining area, wondering aloud how many dishes could possibly fit on such a long table. Next, she discovers a personal gym. She playfully teases her brother. "Brother, look. Big brother is weak. He can exercise here in the future." Finally, Zhang Kai leads her to one last door. Her excitement gives way to curiosity as she asks, "Brother, this is..." She peeks her head into the room, her eyes widening as she takes in a beautifully furnished bedroom, decorated just for her. "My room," she whispers in disbelief. Zhang Kai looks at her with a gentle, knowing smile. "Of course, Ingzi. Do you like this new home?" Tears of joy well up in her eyes as she struggles to find the words. "I like it. But brother, am I really not dreaming? This place is so beautiful. Is this really our new home?" He gently pats her on the head, his voice soft and reassuring. "Ingzi, it's true. This is our new home. But everything now is just the beginning. From now on, with me here, you and big brother don't have to worry about life anymore. The three of us will have a better and better life, overcome with happiness and relief." Ingzi gives a bright, heartfelt smile and hums in agreement. The scene transitions to the next day, overlooking a lush, mountainous forest. A voice speaks, setting the stage for a new meeting. "Nuanyuan, do you think we were abandoned by the military because of our poor performance?" The two figures are revealed to be a burly man in armor, Zhu, and a pink-haired girl, Nuanyuan, both crying. Zhu laments that their captain said a new one would take over, but it feels like they've just been abandoned. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out to them. "Zhu, Nuanyuan, I'll take care of you now. Why are you two so sad?" They look up in unison, startled. Zhang Kai stands before them, looking confident and strong. Zhu stammers in disbelief. "Kai, you are our new captain?" To which Zhang Kai simply replies, "Yes, that's me." Their sadness instantly turns to joy as they rush to greet their old friend, asking what's going on and if he's decided to join the military. Zhang Kai clarifies the situation. "No, I didn't join the military. I just asked the military to borrow you temporarily to cooperate with me in the guild challenge in a month. He proceeds to explain the entire situation, how the Huang family used their military merit to threaten him and his sister's safety, and how Commander Wei created the guild challenge as a way to help him fight back. His expression hardens with determination. So this time, I must win and completely shut the Huang family's mouths. He looks them in the eyes and asks, Zhu Nuanyuan, are you willing to help me? They don't hesitate for a second. Zhu explodes with rage. Of course. How dare those dogs from the Huang family touch Xingzi? I watched Xingzi grow up. Nuanyuan clenches her fists, agreeing. They're so bad. After his initial anger, Zhu's confidence wavers. But Kai, he asks hesitantly, are you sure you want to team up with us? Jiang Kai is confused by his sudden doubt. The scene cuts to an infographic explaining the military's sophisticated evaluation system, where newcomers are given an initial rating from E to SSS based on their performance. Zhu explains their situation. If a newcomer maintains an E rating for 6 months, they're abandoned. He confesses that while Nuanyuan received a C rating, he was so frightened during his evaluation that he received the worst possible score, E. Overwhelmed by insecurity, Zhu looks down. Sai Kai, I'm afraid I'll hold you back. Nuanyuan sadly agrees. Me too. But Jiang Kai is unfazed. It's okay, he reassures them. When the time comes for reevaluation, I will make sure that your score reaches at least an A. Still skeptical, Zhu points out that team captains usually need to be level 15 or higher. He looks at his friend with doubt. Kai, are you level 15 now? Before he can answer, a new, confident voice cuts in from off-screen, dismissing the question entirely. Level 15 is nothing. 2 new figures appear. A woman in a striking red dress makes a shocking announcement. Captain Kai has already reached level 20. He is now trying to change his job. Jiang Kai gestures to the newcomers. By the way, I haven't introduced them to you yet. They are our new teammates. The 5 members of the newly formed squad stand together for the first time. The woman in red gives a cheerful salute. Hello, everyone. My name is Hu Yan. My profession is a fortune teller. Hee, I've heard Captain Kai talk about you too often. Next, the stout man with goggles on his head introduces himself with a friendly smile. This is Ruanyu. His profession is a drunkard. Nice to meet you, I'm Ruanyu. The 4 teammates, Zhu Nuanyuan, Hu Yan, and Ruanyu, all greet each other with warm, happy smiles. But as they smile, the gears in Zhu and Nuanyuan's heads slowly start to turn, processing the information they just heard. The realization hits them like a lightning bolt. Their faces contort in pure shock as they scream. Wait, holy shit, we're only level 9, and you're already level 20, Kai. Jiang Kai simply smirks. That's nothing, he says. My goal is to bring you all up to level 20 before the guild challenge starts. Only then will we be able to deal with those dogs from the Huang family. Zhu and Nuanyuan are completely floored. Level 20. Us, they stammer. Zhu adds, if you can bring us to that level, then you're simply a god of leveling up. Hu Yan casually puts her arm around Nuanyuan, her faith in their new captain absolute. I don't know about others, she says with a confident smile, but I believe Captain Kai can do it. In a forest clearing, the newly formed team discusses their identity. Nuan, the pink-haired girl, suggests they should think of a team name. The blonde man, Hu Yan, proposes the Vulcan Squad, symbolizing that the 5 of them are full of fire and power. Jiang Kai, the team's leader, agrees with a confident smile. He officially christens their group the Vulcan Squad, and declares that after a night's rest, they will head straight into monster territory. The entire team enthusiastically shouts yes, in unison, energized by their new name and the mission ahead. The rest of the Vulcan Squad waves goodbye to Jiang Kai for the day, heading off into the woods. Let's go first, one says, while another adds, Kai, see you tomorrow. Jiang Kai watches his new teammates leave, his expression turning thoughtful as his mind drifts to the past. The scene flashes back to the novice trial. A younger Jiang Kai and the muscular warrior, Zhu Zi, are seen from behind, watching Nuan walk ahead of them in the woods. In the flashback, Jiang Kai turns to Zhu Zi with a cheerful expression, asking if he's nervous about the real challenge they'll face when they log into the Ghost Star in Shengyao City. Zhu Zi looks downcast, a bead of sweat on his face. He admits he's not nervous, but rather preoccupied with whether he'll ever be able to activate his unique profession talent, martial art. Jiang Kai tries to reassure his friend, reminding him of his great performance over the last 2 days and how he protected both him and Nuan during battle. Zhu Zi looks up, his expression pained. He confesses that even though he tries his best, deep down he's still afraid, suppressing his fear because he's worried about his friends getting hurt. He clenches his fists, explaining that to truly activate martial art, he needs to be fearless from the bottom of his heart and believe himself to be an invincible warrior. Looking away in frustration, Zhu Zi admits, but I can't do it. Jiang Kai is visibly shocked by this confession. Back in the present, Jiang Kai recalls the details of Zhu's warrior's heart talent. It provides additional attributes upon job change or level up and can grant effects like knockback and armor breaker in battle. Jiang Kai thoughtfully analyzes the situation. He understands that the talent's additional effects are tied to the user's courage and confidence. Since Ju's confidence is low, he can only utilize weaker abilities like the Earthquake Stomp. A look of determination appears on Ju's face as he is engulfed in a powerful aura. The purpose of this leveling is to stimulate Ju's courage and fully activate his professional talent. But before focusing on his teammate, Zhang Kai decides to improve his own strength first. He recalls giving away some eternal fragments, leaving him with 50 to upgrade his Ghost Hand flying cards and Ghost Eye focus skills. Zhang Kai summons his system's holographic AI. AI, he commands, please upgrade the 2 skills of Ghost Hand flying cards and Ghost Eye focus for me. The AI responds with a simple OK. The AI floats in a digital space, processing the upgrade as 2 cards representing Zhang Kai's skills materialize before her. A system window appears, announcing that Ghost Hand flying cards level 2 has been upgraded to the top level. When throwing items, it now has a 30% penetration effect, which increases to 250% for card-type items, though at an increased cost. Zhang Kai is pleased with the result. He notes the penetration effect has increased by 10% when throwing items and 50% when using cards. The 110% increase in consumption is an acceptable trade-off for the power boost. Suddenly, the system reveals an additional unlocked state for the skill, Gambler's Time, leaving Zhang Kai intrigued. The system provides details. Upon entering Gambler's Time, attack speed increases by 100% for 10 seconds. However, it comes with a hefty 220% increase in resource consumption and a 60-minute cooldown. A small, chibi version of Zhang Kai appears, exclaiming in shock. Attack speed increases by 100%. Isn't that equivalent to doubling attack speed? Next, a system window confirms the second upgrade. Ghost Eye Focus has also been raised to its top level. The upgrade boosts his visual range and eye-tracking ability by 60% at the cost of a 120% increase in mental energy consumption. Zhang Kai voices his approval of the enhanced tracking ability, accepting the increased mental cost. Remembering the bonus state his other skill received, he eagerly asks the AI, does Ghost Eye Focus also have an additional state? The AI continues its explanation, stating that in a high-stakes game, a gambler must not only have flexible hands, but also be able to confuse their opponent, preventing them from reading the truth in their eyes. Just as the AI finishes, a system notification pops up, congratulating Zhang Kai on unlocking the additional status for Ghost Eye Focus. The cheating state. The system explains the cheating state. It allows Kai to influence an opponent's judgment through his eyes for 10 seconds. The effect's potency depends on the mental strength gap between them, and it comes at a high mental cost with a 60-minute cooldown. The AI clarifies that no matter how mentally strong the opponent is, Kai can still influence them, though the effect might be small. Zhang Kai realizes that while its effect may be diminished in cross-level battles, it's still a good ability, and he can't wait to try out his 2 newly unlocked skills. Bokhua, outro panel/creator credit. 2 days later, the scene shifts to a vast, scenic landscape featuring a sparkling river flowing through a valley surrounded by lush trees and mountains. The Vulcan squad has arrived at their destination. Hu Yen, the purple-haired diviner, announces that they are at the meeting point between the King's Valley and the Taiping Mountain Road. As the team looks out over the misty, alien-looking landscape, Hu Yen dramatically concludes her sentence. And also, the territory of the armored lizard. Zhuzi looks alarmed and asks Kai if there will be a lot of armored lizards, voicing his concern that they are level 25 or higher. Zhang Kai cryptically replies, not just a lot. Hu Yen elaborates, explaining that armored lizards are social beasts and that their team can expect to face no less than 100 of them in this territory. She adds that she's also heard rumors of warrior-level armored lizards, monsters above level 50, residing here. Zhuzi is utterly terrified by this revelation, screaming warrior level. The thought of facing a warrior-level monster, a rare and powerful foe, sends a chill through the team. They are almost all under level 20, making a direct confrontation seem suicidal. Wan, though nervous, expresses her faith in Kai's ability, remembering his feat on Frozen Island. Still, she questions the safety of taking their underdeveloped team against such a massive number of high-level monsters. Zhang Kai addresses their fears, explaining that this mission is about more than just experience. It's about training their teamwork. He believes that only real danger can unlock their potential and force them to improve rapidly. Furthermore, Zhang Kai reveals another crucial objective. The materials needed for job transfers often drop from monsters in the territories of warrior-level beasts. He details the potential loot. Warrior-level lizards can drop transfer materials for priests and drunkards, while the black armored lizard might hold the blood of the warrior, the very item Zhuzi needs for his level 20 job transfer. The revelation hits the team like a lightning bolt. Zhuzi, Hu Yen, and Ruanyu are stunned, shouting in unison, level 20 job transfer materials? Hu Yan's eyes glow with intensity as she studies their leader. Captain Kai, she says, you seem very confident. Do you have a trump card? Zhang Kai turns his head, a sly smile playing on his lips. A trump card? You can say that, he replies coolly, adding, it's a secret. With their objective clear and their spirits lifted, Jiang Kai rallies the team. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. The silhouettes of the Vulcan squad move cautiously through the dark, menacing forest. Jiang Kai spots tracks on the ground and warns everyone to be careful. The team affirms. As they walk, a nervous Juzi turns to the blonde man, Wan Yu. Brother Wan, I heard you're not even afraid of the elite ghost banshee. How did you overcome your fear when you saw them? Wan Yu casually replies that he didn't need to overcome his fear because he didn't have any in the first place. An amazed Juzi immediately asks Wan to teach him his ways. Wan Yu then offers Juzi several flasks. He explains that the wine he brews has special effects, and that this is a second-level batch with better effects, which may be helpful. However, Wan Yu cautions Juzi that as a martial artist, it's best not to drink during a fight. Juzi gratefully accepts the wine and the advice, saying, "Okay, I'll remember it." "Thank you, Brother Wan." Suddenly, Jiang Kai's eyes widen in alarm as he detects movement. He leaps into the air, shouting a warning to his team below. There is something under the rock ahead. Everyone scatter. The Vulcan squad immediately disperses. With a deafening crack, the ground erupts as something massive bursts forth from beneath the rock. A giant, roaring armored lizard emerges, shattering the earth. As the team scrambles away, a system window identifies the monster as a level 25 ordinary level armored lizard. Jiang Kai lands gracefully, readying himself for the monster's attack. To his surprise, the armored lizard completely ignores him, charging past with a ferocious look in its eye. The beast lets out a mighty roar, setting its sights not on Jiang Kai, but on the rest of the terrified Vulcan squad huddled together. The team screams in pure terror as the monster charges them. Huyen cries out for Kai, while Wan Yu yells for their captain to be careful. Jiang Kai stands his ground, his hand poised and claws extended, seemingly ready to spring into action to save his team. But he stops himself. This is the moment he was waiting for. He realizes that Juzi's timidity is what holds back his talent, and facing this enemy head-on is the perfect opportunity for him to practice and overcome his fear. Kai quickly assesses the situation. The lizard is an ordinary type, and while Juzi is only a level 9 warrior, he won't be killed instantly. The risk is calculated. Confident in his ability to use Ghost Step to intervene if needed, Kai commits to the gamble. He wants to help Juzi realize that he is not weak. Seeing that their captain isn't moving, the rest of the team panics, desperately yelling for Kai to make a move as the lizard bears down on them. Huyen looks on in horror as the massive shadow of the armored lizard falls over her, the sound of its attack echoing through the forest. Seeing his friends in mortal danger, something inside Juzi snaps. An explosive golden aura erupts around him as he screams, "Ki, I'll save you," and charges forward. With a powerful battle cry, Juzi leaps and smashes his fist directly onto the armored lizard's head, unleashing a devastating earth stomp attack that craters the ground on impact. The rest of the party, consisting of Wan Yu, Huyen, and Nuanyuan, watches the final blow with expressions of pure shock and disbelief. With the dust settling, the team's leader, Kai, looks on with a smirk of satisfaction. He commends his teammate. "Well done, Juzi." The giant armored lizard lies motionless on the ground, defeated after the intense battle. The scene flashes back to a moment during the fight, where Juzi cried out in terror as the monster counterattacked with terrifying speed, forcing him to call for help. Despite his fear, Juzi had managed to land a powerful blow, causing a huge explosion on the creature's body. From the sidelines, Kai had directed him, revealing that he had successfully penetrated the monster's weakest point and urged Juzi to press on and finish the kill. Enraged and wounded, the armored lizard let out a threatening hiss, its eyes glowing with fury as it faced its attackers. Juzi's face was pale with fright, his teeth gritted as he trembled before the terrifying might of the monster. But channeling his courage, Juzi summoned his power, his sword crackling with energy. He brought his glowing blade down in a final, decisive strike that ended the creature's rampage. Returning to the present moment, in the darkness after the battle, Kai's voice calls out, checking on his teammate. "Juzi, open your eyes. It's over." A system notification confirms the kill. One level 25 armored lizard. Juzi stands over the corpse, panting as he processes their victory. The armored lizard, it's dead? The adrenaline wears off, and Juzi shouts in delayed fear, exclaiming how the creature's sudden appearance had scared him to death. In a cute, chibi-style moment, Kai lightly scolds him for spacing out, reminding him he could have been bitten. Juzi retorts, reminding Kai of his promise to protect him. Dropping the playful tone, Juzi looks at Kai earnestly and admits his own weakness. "Kai, I am timid, don't you know?" But the team rushes to his side, full of praise. Nuanyuan, the pink-haired girl, is amazed. "Juzi, you were so brave. Back in Captain Li Biao's Tiger Squad, you rarely dared to take the initiative." The others chime in, praising his powerful ground stomp skill. Juzi, now beaming with pride, boasts that it's merely average, only ranking 3rd in the world, earning a comment that he is indeed a true martial artist. Kai quickly brings them back to the mission. He instructs the team to continue towards the location of the warrior-level armored lizard and tells Juzi to use a loot card to collect the corpse. As they proceed, they encounter more monsters. System windows pop up, identifying multiple elite armored lizards, all at a formidable level 35. From a vantage point, the team spots 3 of these elite lizards gathered outside a stone forest in the distance. The team looks on grimly. They speculate that these elite lizards are guarding the even stronger warrior-level lizard they're hunting for, and that there may be even more dangers lurking nearby. Kai reflects on a past encounter on Frozen Island where he only succeeded thanks to a single-use skill. He resolves that this time, he must be more cautious and strategic. Putting a plan into action, Kai quietly instructs Huyen to use his rain-praying skill to mask their scent from the lizards. He estimates it will take about 10 minutes, and Huyen confidently agrees, stating his skill has been upgraded and is ready for the task. With the stealth approach settled, Kai assigns the remaining roles for the ambush. He orders Nuanyuan to prepare her poison for emergencies, while Ruanyu is tasked with protecting both her and Huyen as they execute their skills, setting the stage for Kai and Juzi's attack. Kai finalizes his instructions for the upcoming ambush. He tells Juzi that once the rain starts, they will rush the forest together. Juzi's only job is to use ground stomp for crowd control. Kai will handle the rest. Juzi agrees with a determined yes. As planned, Huyen's rain-praying skill takes effect, and a downpour begins, shrouding the forest and masking their approach. An unsuspecting armored lizard lifts its head, its red eye glowing in the gloom. With the rain providing cover, Kai gives the signal. Juzi, now's our chance. Let's go. The two of them immediately sprint towards the forest, kicking up splashes of water as they charge. But as they enter, they are greeted by a horrifying sight. A massive horde of armored lizards, far more than they initially saw, roars in unison, their red eyes piercing through the rain. Kai's suspicion was correct. As expected, there are many more armored lizards hiding, he shouts, turning to his partner. Juzi, cover me. Though visibly repulsed by the swarm of creatures, Juzi steels himself and prepares to unleash his skill, shouting, "Ah, they're so disgusting." He slams his foot down, unleashing his signature move. Earth-shattering stomp. A brilliant column of energy erupts from the ground, sending several of the lizards flying. With the lizards stunned, Kai sees his opening. He recalls his own skill, which can increase his attack speed by 100% for 10 seconds, and decides this is the perfect time to test it in a real battle. His eyes begin to glow with fiery energy as he activates his ultimate ability, Roaring Gambler Time. Under the effect of Gambler Time, Kai becomes a blur of motion. He instantly appears next to a lizard, his flaming dagger plunging into its neck, killing it instantly before moving on to the next. He weaves through the battlefield like a whirlwind of fire and steel, his daggers finding their mark on lizard after lizard with blinding speed. A cascade of system notifications floods the air, announcing the defeat of multiple elite armored lizards of varying levels, from 35 up to 37. Watching from a safe distance, Wanyu and Huyen are blown away. It felt like the souls were being bombarded by Kai's endless darts. Huyen exclaims. Wanyu adds, "This is the first time I've seen Juzi and Kai's skills working together. It's so strong." Nuanyuan confirms their strength, remembering that they used this exact cooperative strategy during the newcomer trial. She notes that the lizard's armor is so tough that even their former captain couldn't kill one instantly without exposing its weak belly. The battle concludes with a final, decisive strike, as a sword slices cleanly through the last lizard's neck. Amidst the victory, a brilliant light envelopes Juzi. He looks down at his status window in joyful disbelief. "I leveled up?" he shouts, seeing that his martial artist class is now level 10. "Whoa, I'm level 10 now." Kai gives Juzi a knowing smile. "I knew you could do it." As he speaks, his wrist device automatically collects the loot from the battlefield. 65 normal grade and 6 elite grade armored lizard corpses. The rest of the team regroups with the duo. Wanyu compliments them. "Wow, Captain Kai, Juzi. The teamwork between you two just now was so cool." Huyen agrees, feeling more and more confident in their Fire God squad. Nuanyuan is particularly impressed by Juzi's rapid growth, noting that it's been less than an hour since they set out, and he's already leveled up from 9 to 10. While she knew Kai and Juzi were strong together, she didn't expect their leveling speed to be this fast. Looking at their powerful combined form, she thinks to herself, "Oh, I also want to be awesome like them." Sensing her eagerness, Kai smiles and calls out to her. "The elite treasure chest should be in the rocks or cracks in this area. Come over here, Nuanyuan. Let's find it together." Excited at the prospect of finding treasure, Nuanyuan enthusiastically replies, "Coming." After securing the area, the entire team stands together, looking ahead at a daunting stone forest. Kai states with certainty, if nothing unexpected happens, the warrior-level armored lizard should be inside this stone forest. Juzi, ever considerate, turns to Kai with a concerned expression. "Kai, do you want to rest for a bit? You must have consumed a lot of energy just now." Kai acknowledges the toll of the last fight, but reassures him. "I indeed used a lot of energy, but it's not to the point where I can't move." He adds grimly, "And there may be more than one entrance to this stone forest, and the noise we just made was quite loud." He elaborates on his urgency, stepping forward as he explains that if they delay, The warrior-level lizard inside might summon reinforcements from the other entrances to protect itself. With no time to waste, Kai rallies the group. Hunting warrior-level beasts requires striking while the iron is hot. Let's go. The team follows him with determined expressions, ready for the final hunt. 10 minutes later, the team ventures deeper into the stone forest. The path is eerily silent, prompting Nuanyuan to wonder aloud. It's so quiet. Is there really a warrior-level lizard here? The oppressive silence puts Kai on edge. Finding it strange that he hasn't noticed any suspicious traces, he activates his special skill, his green eye glowing as he focuses his ghost eyes to scan the surroundings. Despite his enhanced vision, Kai is perplexed. His ghost eye can't see any presence of a warrior-level lizard. He starts to doubt his own judgment, wondering, did I estimate wrong? Just then, Juzi shivers, an inexplicable chill running down his spine. I don't know why, but I suddenly feel goosebumps all over, he mutters. Kai turns to him, asking what's wrong. Wanyu playfully leans in and teases him. Hee Juzi, I think you are too nervous, she says, poking fun at his constant state of alert. Unseen by the group, a massive, invisible force exhales, sending a gust of wind rustling through the trees, as if the very mountain itself is breathing. Kai's eye widens in sudden realization. It's not Juzi's nerves. He understands the chilling truth. No, it's not that he's overly nervous, it's that there is something wrong with where they are standing. Panic grips him as he whirls around, shouting a desperate command to his unsuspecting teammates. Juzi Huyen Wanyu, stop now. Startled by his sudden outburst, Juzi Huyen and Wanyu stop and look back at him, confused by the sheer terror in his voice. Their confusion turns to horror as the large, rocky mound they were standing near begins to move. A massive, scaly tail unfurls, revealing that the rock was the camouflaged body of a colossal beast. The ground erupts as the monster awakens, throwing the party members into the air with a single, powerful movement. Kai can only watch as his friends are scattered by the ambush. The entire team is thrown back, their faces etched with shock and disbelief at the sudden and overwhelming appearance of the true boss. The creature reveals its full form, a monstrous lizard-like dragon that lets out a deafening roar. A system window appears, identifying the terrifying boss, a phosphorized warrior-class lizard dragon at level 58. As they land, Juzi gasps in terror. Phew, I almost lost my life just now. Wanyu, equally shaken, adds, why is this guy's color so similar to that of a rock? He's really good at camouflage. Wasting no time, Kai prepares a counterattack, his specialized gauntlet glowing as he loads 3 sharp darts, ready to strike back. He leaps into the air, taking aim at the colossal beast. As he prepares to fire, he shouts to his teammate, Wan data. Though trembling with fear, Nuanyuan reacts instantly, her finger tapping a holographic screen to pull up the vital information on their new enemy. The data panel flashes a dire warning. The level 58 monster is not just a warrior-class lizard, but a phosphorized mutant, also known as a white lizard dragon, weighing up to 2.4 tons. Juzi yells in shock, realizing the first warrior class they encounter is a far more dangerous mutant. Kai unleashes his 3 darts, which fly like guided missiles straight towards the lizard dragon's armored back. The darts strike the monster's thick hide. While they don't seem to penetrate deeply, 2 blue markers flash, indicating that he successfully landed 2 critical hits. Juzi cheers, shouting, great, we finally hit it. Wanyu agrees, equally excited, reasoning that if 1 critical hit causes considerable damage, 2 must be even better. Kai, however, maintains a grim expression. He knows that while mutant warrior-class monsters provide richer collections and better treasure, their strength is also far greater than that of ordinary monsters of the same class. A text box explains the sheer defensive power of their foe. The skin on its back not only has a defense rating of over 35 points, but is also heavily phosphate, making it resistant to high temperatures and corrosion, and extremely difficult to penetrate. The data readout continues, revealing that the monster's defenses are even more formidable. Not only its back, but its chest and abdomen are also covered in a phosphide protective film with a defense of around 20 points, granting it high temperature and corrosion resistance. The team reacts with collective horror. Huyen, Juzi, and Wanyu stare wide-eyed, shouting in disbelief as they realize the devastating truth. What? It didn't break through the defense? Nuanyuan stares at her data panel, her face pale with shock. She reports that previous data on normal warrior-class lizards of this size showed their spiritual power between 100 to 150 and agility between 150 to 170. But the stats displayed for this mutant are astronomically higher. Its strength is between 380 and 420, and its physique is a staggering 440 to 480. Before they can fully process the information, the lizard dragon roars and violently swipes at Kai, who is still in midair. A critical warning flashes across Kai's vision, a red alert repeatedly stating that the beast is rated extremely dangerous. The rest of the team can only watch in horror, screaming out warnings to their captain. Kai, Captain Kai, watch out. The beast shakes its massive head, Kai's critical hits having done nothing more than annoy it as the darts fall harmlessly from its impenetrable hide. Kai is slammed into the mountainside, but quickly recovers. I'm fine, don't worry, he calls out, analyzing that the creature's armor is so tough that even a critical hit can't cause damage, and is simply repelled. He reflects on his narrow escape, knowing he was fortunate to dodge in time. A direct blow with the creature's strength of over 400 would have crushed him. He credits an agility potion he found in the Fishman Lord's treasure haul for his survival. A new, risky plan forms in Kai's mind. His agility is high enough to attract the monster's attention without being instantly killed. He sees a golden opportunity. If I can take this opportunity to motivate Juzi and make him activate his class talent, Armor Breaker, then he also prepares a contingency. If the plan fails, he'll simply continue to draw the monster's attention and lead it away, finding another chance for the team to escape. But if he succeeds, he could awaken Juzi's true potential. Weighing the risks, Kai decides to commit, standing firm as the monster lets out a terrifying roar, ready to become the bait. Putting his plan into motion, Kai puts on a convincing performance, screaming in fake terror. Zhuzi, save me. Believing his captain is about to be devoured, Juzi screams back in a panic. HHH. Kai, I'm coming. Fueled by adrenaline and the need to save his friend, Juzi leaps high into the air, charging with energy to unleash his ultimate attack, the earth-shattering stomp. The attack lands directly in front of the lizard dragon, unleashing a massive shockwave of golden energy that tears up the ground. However, the monster merely braces for impact. The powerful shockwave does nothing but push it back a few feet, leaving it completely unharmed. Juzi lands in the crater his attack created, staring up at the unfazed beast in complete disbelief. Oh no, Kai, he stammers. It doesn't seem to have any effect on it. Realizing his plan has backfired and put Juzi in immediate danger, Kai's expression turns to genuine fear as he screams. Zhuzi. Run. The lizard dragon now focuses on the closest threat. It lunges forward with terrifying speed as Juzi turns to flee for his life, screaming. Wah, it's so scary. Just as the monster's jaws are about to clamp down on Juzi, a completely unexpected figure flies in, delivering a powerful kick directly to the beast's snout, shouting Ruhar. In the chaos, Kai manages to grab Juzi and pull him to safety. He quickly decides on a new course of action. Now this warrior-class armored lizard will definitely be focused on me and Juzi. Let's lure it away first. As he drags his terrified friend away, Kai glances back, confused by the timely intervention. Who was that just now? The girls, Nuanyuan and Ruanyu, scream out the unbelievable truth. One shouts, Captain Kai. Ruanyu, he's drunk. The other adds a dire warning. Kai. The saliva of the phosphorized warrior-class lizard can quickly corrode most equipment and cause skin damage. The chapter ends on a bizarre cliffhanger as Ruanyu, in a drunken stupor, mistakes the giant monster for a beautiful woman and charges in for a kiss, his eyes filled with hearts. Juzi and Kai can only stare in disbelief at the unfolding madness. Continuing from the last chapter, the party is hunting for monsters. Ruanyu skillfully uses his ice shield to parry a vicious strike from a large armored lizard. The monster is relentless, immediately following up with a ground-shattering lunge. Ruanyu is forced to retreat, narrowly dodging the attack. Instead of backing down, Ruanyu slams his fist on the ground, preparing a counterattack with a determined look on his face. Suddenly, Ruanyu's demeanor changes. He takes a swig from his bottle, and with a blush on his face, correctly identifies the creature as a phosphorized lizard. From a distance, the team leader, Zhang Kai, watches in disbelief. He's shocked because usually when Ruanyu drinks, he starts seeing monsters as beautiful women. He wonders why it's not happening this time. His companion, Huyani, explains with equal surprise. She reveals that Ruanyu drank a newly brewed second-grade wine, and she's amazed that it seems to have eliminated his usual drunken state of distorted aesthetics. But the relief is short-lived. A manic grin spreads across Ruanyu's face as the wine's true effect kicks in. He declares that, as a male armored lizard himself, he's finally found a worthy female mate. His eyes sparkle with deluded love as he points at the giant monster. He tearfully thanks the heavens for answering his prayers, declaring he's finally found the one among all the lizards. The phosphorized lizard can only stare back, utterly bewildered by the tiny, love-struck creature in front of it, completely overwhelmed by his newfound love. Ruanyu is surrounded by hearts and steam, shouting, "Ah, my dear, let's not waste this beautiful moment." Watching from the sidelines, a pink-haired girl, Su Nuanyuan, is mortified. She can't believe that Ruanyu now thinks he himself is an armored lizard. Blinded by love, Ruanyu charges headfirst towards the monster, yelling, "Ah, my lover," as it unleashes a powerful fire blast at him. He crazily dodges the attacks, getting more excited by the struggle. "Come on. The more you struggle, the more excited I get. Tonight is our wedding night," he screams, as the monster continues its barrage. Zhang Kai realizes the situation is dire. Ruanyu is too hard to control while drunk, and they're losing their chance to kill the lizard while also trying to protect their crazed teammate. Ruanyu continues his romantic proclamations, now wanting to warm his wife's broken heart with his strong chest. Zhang Kai grits his teeth. With Ruanyu now unconscious, they can't fight the lizard and control him simultaneously. He yells for Juzi, telling him they need his armor-breaking talent to get them out of this predicament. A muscular man, Yuanju, also known as Juzi, appears, ready for battle while Jiang Kai draws the monster's attention. Watching the chaotic bravery of Ruanyu, Juzi is in complete awe. So this is what is called having no fear? He asks, calling his teammate a divine being. Later, Ruanyu smugly claims he wasn't scared at all. The amazed Juzi eagerly asks his brother Wan to teach him his secret to fearlessness. Jiang Kai reveals the secret to Juzi, presenting a holographic image of a mug of beer, implying that drinking is the source of Ruanyu's bravery. Eager to learn, Juzi accepts the lesson. Okay, here I come, Kai, he says, chugging the drink while thanking Ruanyu for the demonstration. Immediately after drinking, a system window appears in front of the now blushing and love-struck Juzi. He has obtained the cognitive confusion status. A system warning flashes, indicating that he is now in a state of serious confusion. Just as the system warning flashes, the monster roars and launches another devastating attack, sending Ruanyu flying and the bottle of special wine hurtling through the air. Jiang Kai, Huyani, and Su Nuanyuan can only look on in horror, screaming Ruanyu's name as he is thrown back, seemingly defeated and in mortal danger once again. The bottle of potent alcohol smashes on the ground, its magic now flowing through a new host. With his eyes glowing with drunken power, Yuanju roars, now fully under the influence of the cognitive confusion. I, Yuanju, am the strongest warrior in the world, he declares. Filled with this newfound, albeit fake, confidence, he fearlessly charges the massive phosphorized lizard, unleashing a powerful, glowing sword strike. Jiang Kai watches, a look of dawning realization on his face. Did Juzi drink Ruanyu's alcohol and achieved armor-breaking attack? He understands now that the drink unlocks their hidden potential. The mechanics of the power-up are revealed. Juzi's cognition was confused after drinking, which pushed his self-confidence to an unprecedented height. This blind confidence, in turn, activated his professional talent, giving his attacks an armor-breaking effect. The narrator explains that just like previous boss monsters, their party couldn't break the lizard's armor. But now, with his eyes crackling with energy, Yuanju, the self-proclaimed world's strongest warrior, is ready to shatter that defense. However, even with his newfound power, the lizard is overwhelmingly strong. Juzi is hit by a massive wave of energy from the monster's tail. The impact sends him flying, and he coughs up blood. The strongest warrior is still no match for the sheer brute force of the level 58 beast. As Juzi is knocked back, the monster raises its tail for another devastating blow. But the creature is distracted, focusing on the apparently defeated Juzi, leaving itself open for a critical attack. Seizing the opportunity, a smirking Jiang Kai thanks his teammate for creating the opening. Juzi, thank you. Next, with incredible speed, Jiang Kai leaps onto the distracted monster's back, his sword glowing with power, ready to strike the spot Juzi's attack had weakened. Let me help you get revenge. Jiang Kai yells as he swoops in, targeting the broken armor on the lizard's back. He unleashes a flurry of devastating strikes on the monster's weak point, dealing massive damage with each hit, as indicated by the 2000 HP markers. Jiang Kai lands gracefully, a confident grin on his face. Good. This armored lizard is defenseless after being attacked by the armor-breaking skill. Juzi, I leave this final blow to you. Hearing his leader's command, Yuanju steadies himself, planting his sword in the ground to prepare for one final, mighty swing. With a furious roar, he channels all of his drunken power into his final attack. I'm the greatest warrior in the world, who dares to challenge me, he screams, ready to end the fight. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more awesome stories.